All the academy students gather here for one big moment, awakening their classes. The second the principal announces the start, huge magic circle appears below students. And in an instant, everyone, including our MC Qiao Yu, is teleported into a special dungeon meant for the awakening. Just then, Qiao enters the inner world for the first time. Our boy prays hard to his ancestors to let him get a good class. As the process completes, Qiao Yu becomes the luckiest man when he gets a hidden mage class known as a Necromancer. The reason why Yu has hit the jackpot is that Necromancer is the rarest class, with only a few possessing it in the entire world. A Necromancer can summon a huge amount of high-grade undead from the gates of hell with just a staff swing. As long as there is enough mana, a Necromancer can fight an army of thousands all alone. One would be considered extremely lucky to draw this kind of class. High-spirited, our boy looks at his attributes, and to his disappointment, his mental point is 0 despite being a Necromancer. The initial attributes are randomly distributed according to the player's class. Not to mention that the most important thing for a mage is having mental points above 5. Our poor fella dramatically cries about his damned luck and begins drawing his initial talent. With his mental point being 0, he finds it hella useless to even draw a talent. Even so, Qiao Yu gives it a try, and once again, fate seems to be on his side when he obtains the talent Mage's Brave Heart, which will help him earn free attribute points. Freaked out, Yu wonders if he's in his right senses since free attribute points are extremely difficult to level up. The passive effect of this skill increases his attribute points when he fights an enemy in a close combat situation. Our guy gets a bit ahead of himself and feels that if he uses the active effect of the skill now, he can become an omnipotent fighter with all attribute points at 10. A beginner with all attribute points at 10 would be the only one in history. Since his passive requires him to fight in close combat, our fella presumes that close combat doesn't need strength. Wait, actually it does. At that moment, Qiao commands the system to put all 10 attribute points into his strength. This decision will later make him monstrously strong. After that, our boy decides to complete the beginner course because only then will the class change be completed. Soon, Yu teleports to the beginner mission level, and there, he meets his beautiful guide, Elaine. Even Qiao is mesmerized by her, wondering if she's really just an NPC. Nonetheless, she begins guiding him and hands him the beginner gift pack, an old robe and a starter staff. Overwhelmed, our boy also receives an F-class ability book, Skeleton Summoning Magic. Qiao wears the robe that feels like an ornament. Sand, speaking like a true magician, he declares that he can't use summoning magic with 0 mental points. But still, he can't help but swoon over the sturdy stick and imagines how great it would be to use it to hit someone with his 20 strength points. Just then, our fella asks Elaine what his beginner mission is. The guide elucidates that Qiao's mission is to escape the Misty Cavern. She politely reminds our boy not to kill the soldiers when escaping the cavern, but to escape using his fastest speed. Before Elaine can warn him about the consequences, she finds herself talking to herself since Qiao has already taken the leap as he steps inside the cavern. Our dude then recalls that the NPC said something at the end, but he ignored her. Feeling hella confident, he believes the mission is a walk in the park. Just as Qiao notices piles of bones everywhere, suddenly an undead monster bursts forth to stab him. Fearless, our boy spots the skeleton soldier, and with his stick, he beats the crap out of the undead. Qiao Yu finds it hard battling without magic, but he gets 1 free attribute point for killing a monster through close combat, and even gets an A-class passive ability. Through his ability, Great Power produces miracles. Each strength point the player has can be converted into 2 points of attack power. Simply put, strength decides power, while defense decides damage reduction. Utterly thrilled, Yu determines that if the enemy's defense is 0, 1 punch from him causes 40 points of damage. Suddenly, more skeleton soldiers burst out of the ground. Deciding not to escape, Yu kills those low-level monsters. With that, he levels up in a short span of time and is rewarded with 5 free attribute points. Plus his strength is already at 30 points. Our fella flatters himself, reminding himself that a normal beginner who can reach these points in 1 single attribute is considered a genius. But then a thought clouds his mind and he wonders if this misty cavern only has skeleton soldiers, as that would be too simple. Well, just as he suspected, the skeleton soldier leader pops out. Qiao learns that its strength is at 15, so if he strikes the monster only once, it will definitely be pierced. As our boy strikes the skeleton soldier, he misses the target. Qiao learns that this skeleton can use its shield to block and counterattack at the same time, not to mention it easily cracks the ground. Shortly, he seizes the opportunity as soon as he sees an opening and swings his weapon with brute force, hitting the monster's head. The impact sends a violent tremor through its skull. With that, our noob necromancer kills the skeleton leader. He realizes that it was indeed a strong opponent and a difficult beginner's mission. At that moment, Qiao stumbles upon a soul core. He recalls that the headmaster said killing monsters has a small chance of dropping these, allowing players to obtain random rewards. He eagerly anticipates what it's going to be and gets D-class skeleton gloves, a one-time use item. While he feels bad that it's not a permanent item, Yu hears some noises and witnesses endless skeletons eager to get him. With his health points decreasing, he realizes that if he gets stabbed even once, he's done for. Qiao slashes the low-level skeletons and keeps gaining EXP points. The scene then takes us outside the school, where the students are discussing what classes they got. They are happy that they can finally bring honor to their ancestors. Nonetheless, almost all the students are done with their beginner-level mission. Given that the headmaster hasn't announced the results yet, they assume someone is still inside. One of them even jokes that if someone failed and died inside, he'd laugh his ass off. Among them, a student wonders if something happened to Chao Yu since he isn't out yet. Inside the cavern, our boy believes he has killed all the skeleton soldiers when abruptly, someone warns Chao that he has gone too far. Strangely, all the skulls whirl like a sandstorm, merging to form one giant skeleton king. Furious, Yu thinks that this mission wants the beginners to die by forcing them to fight a boss monster. The skeleton king fiercely attacks our hero, leaving him dumbstruck. Our guy stands alone against the skeleton king and dodges the deadly attack. To his luck, the agility of the monster is low, which is Yu's advantage despite the monster being powerful. Given that the monster has 60 defense, our necromancer questions his abilities, wondering if he can pierce through its shell. Chao attacks the skeleton and analyzes that it did have an effect, although it was only 32 points of damage. This means if he attacks the undead king 10 more times, it'll die. Right at that moment, our boy bombards the monster with relentless strikes. Chao understands that this monster isn't really that scary, and, with 200 health points left, he thinks it's time to end this. But before he can proceed, unexpectedly, the Skeleton King speaks up. The monster, being the guard of the Misty Cavern, expresses that he's never met a player like Chao Yu who clears a mission like this. Enraged, the Skeleton King has grown weak since so many of its soldiers died at the hands of our hero. The real threat to the king is that Yu, being a beginner, is able to break through his defenses, so there's no way in hell he'll let our guy out alive. The fierce determination is evident when the skeleton increases both in power and speed, leaving Yu a bit surprised. He realizes that charging up front would be useless, so it's better to restrict its movement. In the meantime, as the skeleton becomes adamant about killing our boy, Chao notices a dangling big boulder behind the monster that's about to fall. Hence, our fella distracts the monster, provoking it to attack him. Just as the skeleton dude leaps at him, Yu bounces and strikes the boulder using his stats. Unfortunately, his health is almost empty, plus the boulder is barely grazed. Things get intense when Chao is caught in the moment, giving the Skeleton King chance to end him. Our boy scampers away while some of the rocks do manage to topple onto the skeleton monster, decreasing its health a bit. With his stamina being so low, Chao decides to act in the heat of the moment before the monster gets up again. While planning to kill it in one hit, our hero uses the skeleton gloves to get a 100% crit rate for the next hit. With that one deadly hit, Chao ends the Skeleton King for good and completes his beginner mission. Mage Chao is rewarded with 30 free attribute points after killing the Misty Cavern's boss, also leveling up consecutively. With a great kill comes a great reward. Our fella is rewarded with a boss item, the Skeleton King's Ring, a C-grade item that enhances the first attack by 50%. Chao seems happy since it's an item he can use repeatedly, even though it can't be compared with the skeleton gloves. He feels hella lucky and plans to sell the C-grade item for at least 10,000. Later, he ponders on his first kill achievement, realizing that no one has ever killed the Skeleton King before. But for now, he decides to check out of the portal. The moment Chao steps out of the portal, his friend Yang Xiangdi aggressively hugs him. Yang lets out his concerns, as he thought Yu had died inside, mentioning that it has been 3 hours since the last person came out. Chao then gets to know that Fat Yang Xiang has gotten the mage class, and finds it odd since they went to the same dungeon. Shortly, they're interrupted by a condescending dude, Ma Fei, who mocks Chao for being the last one out. While everyone is obsessing over Ma Fei's perfection, he goes on to brag about the class he got. In the meantime, the headmaster announces that everyone has completed the inner world registration and should form groups to participate in the beginner trial. Just then, everyone begins to introduce their class. When it comes to Ma Fei, the class president and a B-class sword cultivator, the others swoon over his talent, calling him the one chosen by the heavens. Even Headmaster Shuijin is impressed by Fei. The next one in line is our boy, Chao Yu, with his class being Necromancer, but he refuses to disclose further details. The thing is, even our fella doesn't know what grade he's gotten. Upon hearing this, everyone freaks out as they realize that Necromancer is a hidden class, recalling a Necromancer who once wiped out an entire guild. But Ma Fei can't digest this since he's a cocky jackass. To convince himself, the sword cultivator thinks that necromancers' bodies are weaker than normal humans. Since summoning time is extremely long, if there are no teammates protecting the necromancer, classes like assassins and sword cultivators would be like bosses to them. But the other students seem very fond of our hero and think his silence is the demeanor of a genius, that despite getting a hidden class, he's so humble. They call our fella calm and collected, but inside his mind, Chao feels overwhelmed because the truth is that he can't even cast a spell, let alone summon an undead. It's just that he's stronger than an average human. The headmaster Loki feels proud of Chao Yu and can't wait for him to enter the top academy after the beginner trial ends. With that, the class ends after everyone is done introducing themselves, while Yang Xiang calls our hero a cow standing upside down, over the top cool. Meanwhile, Shangdi brags about having 8 mental points and other attributes. Our fella gives an awkward smile since his 76 attribute points make him invincible compared to Yang. Later, Chao arrives at his home. As he announces his arrival, he realizes the house is empty. His house was left by his parents, who went missing. All he has are memories of his parents when he was 6. During that time, they said they needed to make a trip to Jingdu. After they went missing, Chao became an orphan. It has been 12 years, and our boy still wonders where they have been. He decides to get into the Academy of Jingdu to find the truth about behind his parents' mystery. The scene then switches to the next day at the Sioux City 4th Academy. The headmaster warns the students to exit the dungeon immediately if they feel they can't make it. It's better to fail the trial than to die inside. Headmaster Shueijin assures everyone that normally beginner dungeons are not dangerous, but there's the exception of an anomaly. He then mentions a major incident in a beginner dungeon that annihilated a whole class of 40 people, and to make it more peculiar, no corpses were found. To this day, no one knows how terrifying that dungeon is. The only known info about the dungeon is its name, the Village of Nightmares. With that, the timer begins and the students enter the dungeon for the trial. The people are creeped out by the eerie dungeon, but Ma Fei, acting high and mighty again, assures everyone of their safety. Ma Fei grabs attention and affirms that he'll lead everyone to success. Deep down, Fei's arrogant ass looks down on Xiao Yu. He's determined to prove that he's the most suitable leader, calling himself the strongest man in the class. Meanwhile, our boy finds this beginner's world strange, given that there are no system prompts. Abruptly, a weird creature pops out and remarks that it's such a pity these students are so young. Confused, the kids question the weird guy about what he means. That's when the man reveals that this is the Village of Nightmares, when shortly the system panels materialize in front of everyone. They are instructed to leave the dungeon alive and find the secret at the core of the village. Upon hearing the name of the village that killed 40 people, a wave of panic ripples through the students. They run away and refuse to complete the mission. Ma Fei, on the other hand, takes the spotlight again and assures them he'll lead them out. However, Chao realizes it's not possible to pass easily since an E-level world requires an early stage level, and they are all just disciples between level 1 and 10. As mayhem breaks out, the students find themselves in another dilemma when they bounce back from a translucent wall. The creature of the village tells them to stop struggling because once they enter, they can never leave. This instills fear in everyone, and in a state of panic, they plead to be let out as they do not wish to die yet. At that moment, it occurs to Xiao Yu why that previous class was wiped out. He understands the mission objective is to find the secret at the core of the village. Our boy ponders that this uncle is mysterious, but he doesn't seem malevolent. He believes the man shouldn't be their enemy. The weirdo uncle tells everyone not to get too worried. Since they're here, they might as well get comfortable. Ma Fei, acting like he knows it all, asks the guy if he wants them to relax and face this confidently. But the uncle gives him a death glare and clarifies that since they're here, they must accept the fact that they'll all die. As silence creeps in, the old man stops toying with the young players and asserts that he's the head of the village, Wogan. Wogan bluntly states the 2 requirements for living in this village. First, they can reside in the empty houses, but they cannot touch the black stones on the doors under any circumstances. Secondly, they are warned to return before dusk, also to close all windows and doors. Curious, Chao asks the reason for these precautions, to which Wogan responds that he'll understand once night falls. Therefore, all of them decide to follow the village head's command and form groups. After they all find a house, Chao's group heads to the 2nd floor for safety. Shortly, a girl named Zhao Ziyue comes to our boy. In a seductive manner, asks Chao to protect her since she's a healer who can benefit him. To call out this shameless act, Ziyue's friend, Zuo Yu, comes rushing over and gives her an earful while their classmates watch. It immediately turns into a fight when Zhao tells her friend it's none of her business. The response from Zuo Yu is rather humorous when she asks Ziyue if she thinks looking like a cow is something to be proud of, referring to her bosom. This triggers Ziyue and she fires back, saying anything's better than having nothing at all. In the next moment, one of the students, a boy in the class, is caught in a strange occurrence when he sees his granny's ghost outside the window. The boy is triggered emotionally when his granny asks him to open the window because she feels cold and scared. Being a total dumb fuck, the boy opens the window and Chao screams to let him know it's not his freaking granny. But it's too late. The ghost turns malicious and attacks him. Yang Sheng acts immediately, holding off the nightmare monster with his sand-binding magic. The students are shocked that even a normal monster is that cunning, and that the monsters in an S-ranked beginner's world are so perverted. Abruptly, the nightmare leaps at Yang, who freaks out and warns the monster not to eat such fatty meat or it will get high blood pressure. The mage, Zuo Yu, steps in to halt the monster. She asks Ziyue to heal her. Also, she instructs Chao to summon the undead. While Ziyue casts her healing magic, Zuo believes that as long as everyone works together, they'll be able to deal with the nightmare. But Zuo is delusional for relying on Chao to summon the undead, not knowing that he can't. Nonetheless, our guy still contributes as he intervenes with his staff, holding it the other way around. While his fat friend is confused, Chao breathtakingly hits the nightmare monster so hard it's killed in an instant. Eventually, the dead monster turns into a black stone and dissipates, showing a symbol similar to the stones on the doorframe. The students gasp in disbelief while Zuoyu asks our boy if he noticed anything strange. Our boy says he didn't, but deep down, he's confused as to why he didn't get any stat points for the kill. The next day, the students praise Chao Yu and Zuoyu for killing the monster. The teammates decide to stay close to Chao, given that he dealt with the monster in a split second. Upon hearing these heroic tales, Ma Fei has a hard time digesting them. He ponders that he would never let a girl like Zuo tank the damage. Ma Fei gets into action mode, draws his sword, and decides to defeat the nightmares with a single strike. Promptly, Chao and Yang walk out only to see the determined class monitor training early. While the two of them are being sarcastic, Fei snaps out of his dramatic thoughts. Ma Fei asks Zuo to stay in a house with him tonight, and assures her she won't take any damage. This sounds utterly absurd to Zuoyu since her role is a tank. Ma Fei, being stupid, promises her he will face a nightmare on his own, trying to throw shade at Chao. While Zuo schools him for his stupid thinking, the village head, Wo Gan, arrives fiercely with his men and weapons. The village head commands his men to kill all the students, tie them to a pyre, and let the flames burn away their sins. Ma Fei intervenes and questions Wo Gan if there has been a misunderstanding. It is then the village head mentions the deed they did last night. Our boy notices the men of the village are the same in number as their class, plus their ages don't differ much either. On the contrary, Ma Fei supposes Wo is talking about them killing a nightmare, but the head corrects him, calling those ghosts the protector spirits of the village. The village head assumes the students broke the rules and the protector spirits tried to punish them. He's afraid the villagers might suffer alongside them. Worried, Ma Fei asks if there's a way to save a spirit if they've accidentally killed one. Nodding, Wo Gan lets out there's a way and dares the person who angered the spirit the most to remain outside when night falls. That's when Chao Yu fearlessly agrees to stay outside until dusk, admitting he killed the spirit. Freaked out, the class monitor thinks Chao is trying to steal the limelight. He apologizes to Wo Gan for his slow-witted classmate, but our boy is serious and tells Fei he needs to verify something that might help them escape the village. Chao Yu is locked up and tied to the pyre while the class monitor asks him to elaborate on how this helps them leave. As Zuoyu assumes he must have found the secret at the core of the village, our guy decides to wait until night. Later, night falls. Danger creeps in as a nightmare sneakily crawls towards our tied-up Chao. Chao Yu is ready to accept his fate as he's being attacked by the nightmare, when his mates show up in order to protect him. Young Xiangdi uses sand binding to slow down the nightmare and signals Ma Fei to act, since he can only control that nightmare for a second. Ma Fei, being overconfident as usual, claims to handle it as a true swordsman. His cocky ass believes that one sword can conquer all enemies in the world, but seeing the monster move faster than he expected, he can't help but wonder if Chao really killed something like this while being just a mage. With that, he uses a technique called a defense-breaking strike, while the others rush to liberate Yu from the chains. They conclude only Fei can break these chains, but to their surprise, our boy gets rid of the chains pretty easily. Their attention is diverted back to Ma Fei, who's struggling to fight the enemy. That's when both the tank and the healer decide to help him. The class president, however, thinks he doesn't need any help and is confident that he can fight alone. Yang warns him not to fight it one-on-one, suggesting that he tries hitting its head since he believes it's the weak point of a nightmare. Chao, on the other hand, informs Fei that's not the case, but he doesn't believe him and thinks he's doing that because he's scared he'll surpass him. He alerts Yu to watch his next strike carefully as it will be very handsome, but as he strikes the nightmare on the head, it doesn't get affected much. This makes the class president doubt if what his fellow told him was true or not. His mates don't think it's right since they remember how the nightmare was one shot when Yu attacked its head. Xiangdi thinks it's an issue with the person as he remarks that Fei isn't as good as Yu. This triggers something inside the class prez, who sprints towards the nightmare while his friends are left warning him to come back. Ma Fei strikes it with a defense-breaking strike, which causes a lot of damage. As soon as he's about to land one last blow to it, Chao steps in to end it. The class prez makes a fuss over his limelight being stolen by our boy as his mates try to calm him down. Yu, on the other hand, is busy inspecting the dead monster when two more nightmares show up. He instructs everyone to go inside the house as there's no need for them to fight them anymore. It seems that Chao has come up with a way of passing. They enter inside and his fellow members are curious as to what's the way to pass. Yu lets them know that they'll get to know it tomorrow when the time comes. The next day we see the head of the nightmare village lashing out at the humans. He calls them despicable outsiders as he gave them the chance to redeem themselves and yet, they killed another protector spirit. He informs them that they all will die today no matter what. That's when Chao calls him out and asks him if they're really the villagers of Nightmare Village. Wo Gan thinks it's all rubbish since they've been living here for generations and believes our boy is trying to stall the time of his death. Yu decides to reveal the truth of the Nightmare Village now that it has come to this point and points out all the villagers. He tells them that every single one of them are not the original inhabitants of Nightmare Village, but rather, all 40 of them are the class that was wiped out in the village previously. They were all trapped in this fantasy realm ever since they entered. Hence, they had no way of leaving the other world. This makes the villager's head burst into laugh. He's certain that Yu is lying and that he's just scared of death. Nonetheless, he tells him to bring him evidence. That's when Xiao pulls out the so-called Protector Stone. This angers Gan even more since the Protector Stones are high-level holy objects that protect you from being attacked at night. He gets scared that the Lord will lay down heavy punishment if anyone tampers with them. But Yu breaks it to him that this isn't any Protector Stone. The entire fantasy realm is made up of these black stones and the mysterious symbols in them. He concludes that as long as they shatter the black stone, cracks will appear in the fantasy realm. Just like that, with the stones being shattered, the fantasy realm is shattered too, and all the inhabitants now remember that they were humans. The mission is successful and everyone celebrates their little victory as they are transported out of the world. Qiao's friends are busy praising him when promptly they all receive a notification. It seems that they have a new mission in which they've to retrieve the Heart of Nightmares, and it has an E-rank difficulty. The students are confused, wondering if they still haven't passed the test. On the other hand, on the 4th college campus on Earth, the students return after passing the Nightmare Village except for Qiao and a few others. The principal is skeptical about it and is curious if they triggered a hidden mission. He considers the possibility of that being the case, and believes that they'll be able to pick any university in the country based on that achievement alone. However, beginning a hidden mission is usually extremely dangerous. The fact that it's the Nightmare Village's hidden mission to boot, with all of them being newbies, is concerning. Meanwhile, in the Nightmare Village, Qiao and the others debate on what to do. They assume that with them being only level 3, with how weak they are now, entering a hidden mission would be suicidal. Plus, they don't know anything about this Heart of Nightmares, hence they don't know where they would go to retrieve it. Zhu asks Yu if it might be possible that they only need to awaken the village heads who remained. Also, if there's really a need to break the black stones in the first place. Our boy gets nervous and that's when Yang interrupts them, claiming that he knows in the other world, a hidden mission is an opportunity they can only stumble upon but not look for. Hence, he guesses that Qiao must have known all along and wanted them to break the stones along with him. Sheng can't help but admire his friend's effort while Ma Fei is also taken by surprise since he didn't think Qiao would be willing to share this opportunity with them. Nonetheless, he decides to complete the hidden mission before him no matter what. After a while, we see 4 nightmares charging at them at once, and that intimidates the kids. Zhu instructs Ziyue to prepare to heal her and Xiangdi to restrain it while she signals Fei to attack. Fei lands a strike but manages to do only 10 points of damage with one hit. The healer struggles to heal as she's running out of mana. It is then when Qiao makes an appearance and defeats 3 nightmares at once. As expected, it gives high rewards for defeating them. He receives a little fairy's necklace that increases skill damage by 5%, but decides on giving it to Yang since he can't unleash any skills yet. After taking a look at his stats, Yu realizes that he needs to kill 1 more nightmare and he'll be able to level up to level 6. Plus, he'll have a very high chance of having equipment appear for himself. They all intend to move forward, assuming that they can't go wrong killing nightmares in order to retrieve its heart. Just then, they slip into a hole and it seems that they're now underground. Qiao lands on Shang's butt and gets up as soon as he realizes that. They all are confused as to why the smell is so strong here. That's when Ziyue calls them out. It turns out to be the smell of the Nightmare King's breath, a rare boss in a sleeping state. He's at least a level 10 monster and awakening him will incur its frenzied hunting. Our boy feels nervous as he witnesses the rare boss while Yang is in disbelief as he realizes that they have to take the heart of that very thing. Zhu suggests that they find a way to quit this mission, knowing that it will be able to turn her and her shield into meat paste. They all give up, but it seems that Yu has a plan to fight it. He has 100 strength points and 200 attack points. Along with the 50% damage increase from the Ring of the Skeleton King, he determines that his first hit will be able to take away 1/3 of the Nightmare King's HP. He plans on attacking its weak points 3 or 4 times and believes that it's not entirely impossible to kill it. Xiao grabs everyone's attention. Even though he knows that the Nightmare King's stats are high, he concludes that its obvious weakness is defense. He believes that by using their strength against its weaknesses, they might not have a 0 chance of winning. Zhu catches up to his plan, concluding that Yu wants them to draw the Nightmare King's attention. Our boy swears to kill it, even though he's well aware of the risks it comes with. Hence, they have to work together. Ma Fei warns Yu not to show off and recommends running away from it if they can't defeat it. After resting for a bit, Qiao makes the first move and leaps on the asleep Nightmare King. He's aware of the first hit being the most important and looks for the weakest spot on its body. Just then, he spots a point. Assuming that it's the weakest point, he swings his staff and lands a powerful blow to it. Everyone is left shaken as they witness the amount of damage a mage can do. That's when the nightmare wakes up. They all get ready according to the plan they made and face the fearsome monster head-on. Qiao signals Ma Fei to attack the Nightmare King and draw its aggro. As he uses his defense-breaking technique, he barely manages to injure it. Nonetheless, Fei stays determined to continue attacking as long as he's doing damage. This angers the Nightmare King as he threatens the class prez that he will be the first one to die. Even then, Ma is confident about not being scared of death as he stands firm. As the Nightmare King is about to attack him, he calls out Yang and Zuo to use their powers. With the help of Yang's sand binding and Zuo's shield of light, the attacks are weakened by 2 levels while Ziyue continues to heal Fei. Even with all that, Ma Fei is barely able to hang on as he signals Chao to show up if he's ready. Chao steps in, landing a powerful blow which lowers the Nightmare King's HP significantly. It seems that it is about to activate the Realm of Nightmares. It casts its spell which reduces the HP of the students. Hence, they are unable to block it. Yu knows that he can't give the Nightmare King the chance to use it, because he realizes that Wogan and the rest were stuck here for that long because they got hit by this attack. With the Nightmare King's HP remaining at 128 out of 1,000, our boy decides to land one last hit in order to end this. He leaps towards it while Ziyue lets him know that he can't get hit since she can't heal him right now. Our boy lands a powerful attack on it, successfully killing the monster. The system congratulates him for being able to defeat the Nightmare King for the first time, also obtaining free stat points. The hidden mission is now cleared, and Yu has leveled up as the system distributes the rewards according to the player rating. Ziyue has received a D rank rating. The D rank talent has been awarded to her. Zhu receives the same D rank talent. Ma Fei receives the D rank talent, separating the world with one strike. Meanwhile, Chao gets A rank rewards and a B rank skill book. Our boy thinks it's a bummer that he can't use this talent for now. He was expecting to hit a jackpot from the Nightmare King's soul. Just then, a B rank dragon-piercing sword is dropped, which increases attack by 100 points, ignores 30% of an opponent's armor, and increases sword damage by 20%. However, Yu is disappointed as he sees the sword and wonders why only a B-ranked sword was dropped. He flings the sword at Ma Fei and lets him know that it's all his. This catches Fei by utter shock, as he is curious as to why he's giving him a B-rank sword just like that. Our boy reminds him that he's the only one using a sword right now. Fei contemplates if he even knows the value of B-rank equipment, because if he were to sell this, he'd be able to get a house in the capital. Yu is busy inspecting the Nightmare King's soul in hopes of finding something good. He clarifies to him that he doesn't care about the sword. At last, he realizes that the monster dropped only one piece of equipment. Nonetheless, he decides to take a look at his stats page. His strength increased, but he finds 70 HP a little too low because if he were to get touched, he would die. Our boy now possesses the talent the Mage's Brave Heart. Now whenever he kills an enemy using melee attacks, he will gain free stat points as a reward. Although there's a restriction that before using the main effect, only one stat can be selected. With that, the players are transported back to the real world, where everyone is so glad to see them safe. The principal rushes towards them and asks them what happened since they've been gone for 2 days. After getting to know everything, Shui lets them know that they're really lucky since all the top universities will be fighting for them. The other classmates are also taken by surprise as they discover that geniuses from their class are now wanted by the top universities. One of them praises Chao, while Ma Fei is determined to defeat him the next time with the sword he gave him. He's confident that with such an OP piece of equipment, he'll definitely be able to beat him once. Just then, the manager comes running in, informing the headmaster about the arrival of people from Huaqing and Jingdu universities. Jinlong realizes that he hasn't even reported it yet. Yet strangely, the elite universities already have that information. He sees the hope of his career as a teacher having a happy ending before he retires. The principal greets teacher Peng and Pei from Jingdu and Huaqing respectively. Firstly, Peng Liangji introduces himself and proposes that their school is in desperate need of geniuses like them. Hence, he's willing to send over the acceptance letter tomorrow. Pei interrupts his proposal and emphasizes the fact that they're not even conducting a test. Peng thinks of it more like a trust thing and claims that he was only showing sincerity. He demands to start conducting the test if Pei is not ready to trust them. With that, Pei Xingguo of Huaqing University gives a proper introduction of himself. He assures the kids that the test is only to determine their role and ability to adapt to situations. To test if their various stats meet the criteria to enter the school, Chao, who can't use his skills, ponders that he must enter Jingdu University and follow the clues related to his parents. As the test begins, Ma Fei announces he will get tested first, being as confident as ever. Peng is impressed by the fact that Fei is at level 5 despite having only completed the beginner's training and having a B-rank talent. He thinks he's the best fit for Jingdu University. Meanwhile, Pei, who's testing Fei, instructs him to hit him. Pei is the disciple of Gum Nam, a level 25 teacher with his strength being 300 and his HP being 500. Fei charges at him using the world-separating strike and manages to break his defense. Even though Xingguo's strong suit isn't defense, a kid being able to break through his defense leaves him stunned. He praises Fei for the extremely rare technique he used and believes it can increase the attack power of the tip of his sword. Peng adds that even if his strength were concentrated in one area, his strength stat must be extremely high, at least 35 points. Judging by the speed of his attack, he thinks his agility is quite high too. The students, as they learn that, are mind blown by the fact that their fellow student is such a great swordsman. Both the teachers desperately want to recruit him, as they offer Fei everything they can. Fei implies that he needs time to think about it, but he actually wants to see where Chao is going so he can follow him there in order to outclass him. Next up is Ziyue, who can heal the whole party despite only being level 4, which quite impresses Pei. Then we have Zuo, who has such a strong defense despite being level 4. A part of the attack inflicted on her shield will be reflected. The white-haired girl reveals that her D-rank talent, damage reflecting armor spikes, can reflect 20% of the damage she receives. With that, Xiang is up next, who declares himself to be a mage. The fact that a 300+ pound fatty is a mage shocks Pei. The test begins, and the teacher is baffled as to what the kid is doing since he hasn't felt a bit of magic at all. That's when the ground explodes, catching Pei off guard. It seems that this talent somehow can't be detected at all, but just explodes from under their feet. Even he, despite being level 25, lost 3 HP without noticing. The talents he witnessed utterly intrigued the teacher, as he plans on getting someone to pay close attention to Xuejin Long. At last, we have our boy, who claims to be a level 7 necromancer with his talent ranking being unknown. Peng is surprised as he witnesses a kid being 2 levels higher than all 4 he saw earlier. He wonders if his talent ranking is so low that he doesn't want to say it. Nonetheless, they decide on carrying out the test first to see what the results are. Pei is curious to see what kind of undead creatures Chao can summon. He knows that he can't afford to be injured by a student again, and gets all cautious. Yu charges at him at full speed, and seeing him do that, the teacher is left confused as to what he's doing. At first, he thinks he's using close-range explosive necromancy techniques, but seeing the position of his hand change into a fist, he realizes that he's going for a right hook. He chooses to let him hit him, and when Chao lands a blow on his face, Pei goes flying back and hits the ground. Everyone there is left speechless as they realize that Yu managed to knock out a level 25 teacher with one hit. Peng is in disbelief as he sees his fellow teacher being reduced to such a state by a level 7 necromancer. It's believed widely that necromancers are physically the weakest ones. Xingguo is taken aback as he wonders what kind of a monster he just witnessed. Even Peng is intimidated by the newbie as chaos erupts among the students. Chao wonders if his test is over while Peng lets him know that he has passed the test. But since he hasn't demonstrated his undead magic, they can't give him a score. Yu thinks it's fine and reveals that he wants to major in physical fighting like what warriors do. He can't use his magic anyway, therefore getting into Jingdu University is more important for him. The teacher from Jingdu is in utter shock as he hears that since it's without precedent in the entire history of education, he takes a moment to call the principal and ask about it. Upon picking up the phone, Peng explains the whole situation to the principal about the terrifyingly talented necromancer he just met, and how he wants to join the physical fighting major meant for warriors. Gu elaborates it further. Meanwhile, Pei is desperately trying to call the principal of Huaking, who doesn't seem to pick up. The principal instructs Ping to do whatever it takes to recruit the kid. The next thing we see is Principal Ji Pingyang appearing through the screen as he greets Chao. He invites our boy and offers anything he wants, to which Yu announces that he will be joining Jingdu. At the same time, the principal of Huaking picks up the call, but it seems that he's too late. Pei doesn't give up and plans on fighting for the rest of the kids. But Ji invites the other kids to Jingdu as well, and that pisses him off really badly. He butts in and objects to the decision, while Peng feels proud of himself. That's when Yu asks Ji if he knows his father, Chao Anqing. Ji is taken aback after he hears that, wondering if our boy is the son of Chao Anqing and Bai Shixia. It hits him as he now realizes why he felt a sense of familiarity from him. Chao asks him if he knows where they are, but it seems that he doesn't know about their whereabouts even though they were both his students. What he can tell though is that they both were very talented individuals. It seems that the two of them disappeared without a trace for over 10 years and Ji fears they are already dead. He lets Yu know that he hasn't been able to get much information about them since they graduated, but he does remember that they would often talk about a private world. He thinks that our boy should go to his private world that might contain something his parents have left for him. Principal Ji claims he will send the acceptance letter to all of them once they've created it. He recommends the students should try and pass the worlds related to their roles before school starts. 1 week later, after passing the beginner's training, the 4th college separated its students into classes according to their roles in the other worlds. In the 4th college mages class, the students will be entering a world specially designed for mages. This world is usually a test of their mental ability, basically a logic or riddle-based world. San believes as long as they work together, the sum of their thinking will be more than its parts. He then continues to tell them about the criteria for passing. Meanwhile, we see Yang and Chao, who don't seem so sure about entering the specialized mage's world. Yang is pretty confident about nothing going wrong. According to him, the more people that go, the more dangerous it is. He tries to reassure our boy and informs the lady No that they will be going to a specialized mage's world. The system retrieves a world for 2 players, and it turns out to be the Cave of 10,000 Poisons. Yu is about to enter when Shangdi reminds him that they have to listen to the instructions first. Turns out, our boy didn't know there was such a thing, which makes Yang wonder how he passed the Cave of Skeletons. He realizes that he killed all those skeletons back in the first mission and calls him a simpleton. It's then revealed that the Cave of 10,000 Poisons, an evil tribe in Qiandongnan. The people of that cave are known to be vicious, merciless, and they are so good at using poison worms that they can poison them without them even knowing, and the poisonous worms will reproduce in their body, eating their flesh, until the host dies. The mission objectives are to firstly find the evil tribe of legend and to destroy all the poisonous worms. Mission rewards, on the other hand, are to be decided based on the way the player completes the mission. A gentle reminder is given to them that the cave requires 5 players to start, Upon entering the world, our boy and Yang spot the other 3 players. One of them acts very rude at first, to which his sister, a girl named Fang Yuan, scolds him and tells him to be polite. She introduces herself as a fire mage. She then mentions her other brother, Long Chang. As a response, Yang also introduces himself and Xiao Yu. They all come across a gate that is supposed to open after solving a riddle with the help of the 5 words written on a pillar. Long Chang chooses to break it down instead of following the instructions. But as he uses his magic, his attack does not affect the door at all. Fang guesses that the door is immune to magic and that spells can't damage it. Hence, she suggests that they take a look at those words. The 5-word riddle states that morality and integrity provide peace. It appears that Fang knows the answer to that. She announces the answer, but her words are cut off when Chao breaks open the door using his fist. Chang is in utter disbelief as he witnesses our boy one-shotting the door. At the same time, the system declares that the answer is correct and that the door has opened. Yu clarifies that he wanted to check if he could push open the door physically. However, he did not think it would be so weak. As they enter, they spot another door, and finding themselves surrounded by flowers, they find it kinda strange. Chao warns everyone to be cautious of them since they look unnatural, but it's too late because Xiangdi is already affected by them. Turns out, it's not just him, but everyone is poisoned, and that's significantly affecting their HP. Our boy feels the need to get out of there quickly, because if this goes on, his HP won't even last half an hour. He rushes towards the door while Long makes a fuss about having to solve a riddle yet again. They're short on time and can't really solve these riddles. That's when Chao breaks open the door. Luckily, they all manage to escape the poisonous trap. The system congratulates the players for completing Mission 1. Now they are left with finding the evil tribe of legend and the cave of 10,000 poisons. They're busy wandering around the place when a girl named Xiaodong shows up. She realizes that they've all been poisoned from the Bian flower. The little girl instructs them to follow her to the cave of 10,000 poisons to get treated. Xiao wonders where she came from, and Fang suggests that they should get treated first since they don't know what to do. Xiao announces her arrival along with the guests she brought. Her mother wonders who these people are, and Xiaodong explains to her that they're outsiders who have been poisoned. She requests her mother brew a pot of 5 poisoned soup for them. After a while, bowls of the soup are served, and seeing the look of it, they are all disgusted. Chang implies that Yang drink it first since he has a more robust physique, but he refuses to drink it. Our boy pours the whole bowl into his mouth and decides to get it over with because he has only half of his HP left. As he drinks it, he claims the soup tastes great, also reveals that his poison status has disappeared. He motivates his fellows to do the same and heal themselves up. Yu asks Xiao about the history of the cave of 10,000 poisons, but it seems that she doesn't know the origins of the tribe either. She reveals that their patriarch asked them to avoid the world and banned them from using their poison magic unnecessarily. Unexpectedly, Xiao's mother requests the kids leave quickly because they aren't very welcoming to outsiders. But the little girl doesn't listen to her mom and lets them know that they can stay for as long as they want. Chao informs them that they'll be staying if it's not too much trouble because they just got poisoned and their bodies aren't in the best shape. But he's low-key curious about Xiao's parents' behavior. With that, Dong leaves with her parents to let them rest. She anticipates that there's a full moon today, muttering, "It's going to start soon." With that, Xiaodong leaves with her parents, excited to see the full moon. Later, in the middle of the forest, we see the tribesmen praying to the great insect swarm and offering human flesh as a sacrifice in order to be protected from the disease. That is when one of them drips blood on the stone. Suddenly, the swarm of insects comes flying towards those helpless humans, eating their flesh until what's left of them is only their bones. It appears that Xiao Yu and the others discreetly witness this horrific ritual, while our hero thinks that it's best they escape for now, since it'll be difficult to fight the poisonous insects on top of so many tribespeople. But the real trouble is that our boy doesn't have a single AoE track despite having high attack power. The moment of danger arrives when the matriarch of that tribe, who reeks of malice, somehow detects Chao and his team. She orders her man Jushi to play nice and keep them alive. On the other hand, Fang Yuan gets concerned about what they should do next, given that the tribespeople who are acting so pious have evil intentions towards them. Plus, if they get to know that they are here to exterminate the insects, best believe they will be served as food to these insects immediately. Suddenly, they're disrupted by a noise, and the next thing they see is that they are surrounded by countless insects crawling up to them. The Fire Mage siblings use fiery enhancements to deal with the insects, while our boy goes for melee attacks to kill the insects. He's aware of the fact that he won't gain any stat points by killing these weak opponents. Yang Xiangdi combines his 2 talents together, ground explosion magic and sand binding, to get rid of the insects so effectively that even Xiao is impressed by him. But using these talents in succession uses up almost all of his mana. In the meantime, the tribesman Zhu Xi sneaks up on them and gets furious at them for using their demonic magic to kill the insects of their cave of 10,000 poisons. She warns them that they'll become feed for the insect larvae and die with insects eating them alive. Nonetheless, Yang uses his ground explosion magic with the intention to harm Zhu Xie, but he remains rather unaffected and thinks how arrogant they are to use such petty tricks against him. It is then known to them that Zhu Xie is a normal NPC with outstanding stats. Unlike a wild monster boss, NPCs in the other world will have their personal stats hidden unless they take damage. Fang Shun concludes that this mission can't be accomplished by newbies. Meanwhile, Qiao Yu has some suspicions, wondering if this specialized world is different from others in some way. To test it out, our guy fearlessly dashes towards the big guy while Zhu Xie is provoked by Qiao for daring to come at him with his tender white fists, mentioning that his thigh is bigger than Qiao's arm. But all that talk goes in vain when Z is thrashed away by a single punch that shakes him up. Enraged, the big guy's ego is hurt to think a mere human could beat the shit out of him like this. He then increases his stats to make sure no one damages him. While it may appear our boy is in grave danger this time, in the next moment, Qiao Yu beats the pulp out of that poor tribesman so badly that even his teammates are scared of Yu's hidden strength. Qiao then questions Ixi about who that matriarch is and the sacrifice that was conducted just now. The tribesman reveals that it was the insect sacrifice which is conducted by the matriarch every month. The Cave of 10,000 Poisons had signed a contract with the insect's queen mother, so they have to pay respect to them on the night of the full moon. Further, Jushi unveils that the queen mother resides and reproduces in the ancient greenstone well. Listening to this, it becomes clear to Yang Xiangdi. The reason why Xiaodong cured their poison was only to offer them as sacrifices later. Nonetheless, our guy then asks Zi why Xiaodong called it the Cave of 10,000 Souls instead of Poisons. Confused, this name doesn't ring any bells to Zhu Xi. He reveals that there's only one name with Dong in it, and that's the matriarch, Shundong. With that, Qiao finishes the interrogation and kills that NPC for good. Our fella is rewarded with stat points and even levels up. To his surprise, he gets an S-rank item, Sage's Protection, for killing an NPC for the first time with melee attacks. Sage's Protection is a one-time use item that negates one fatal blow, and our fella couldn't be happier to get such a high-ranked OP item in the other world. Fangshen lets out his concerns that the tribespeople will eventually know that they've killed the NPC, while Longchang thinks they can't just rely on Qiao to take them all on. That's when our boy reminds them that their only mission is to exterminate the insects, so there's no need for them to fight the villagers head-on. Qiao believes that the best thing to do is to blow up the greenstone well where the insect's nest is, emphasizing that they must act before the matriarch realizes what's happened. They make their way to the well when they find the dead bodies of Xiaodong's parents, realizing that they are killing their own tribespeople. Our fella understands why these people were acting so strange and feels bad for them. Without wasting any time, they head towards the greenstone well to destroy it. All the mages use their talents to destroy the insect's nest and successfully blow the well underground, or so they thought, as Yang wonders why the panel hasn't materialized yet to notify them of the mission completion. In that moment, the matriarch, Shundong, makes an entry along with the backbone of the tribe, Kuang Mang. Given that these naughty rats are here, the matriarch assumes that Zhu Xi has died. Our boy exposes her, thinking if he should call her the matriarch of the Cave of 10,000 Poisons, or Xiaodong. Smirking, Xiao asks Qiao if he doesn't like her current form, and, using her shape-shifting ability, she turns into little Xiaodong. No wonder everyone got deceived so easily. Dong finds it a pity since she had a desire to continue her bloodline with Qiao Yu, but he's killed so many insects that if she doesn't sacrifice them, the Queen Mother will be very angry. Our fella then asks Dong why she killed her own tribespeople, to which she heartlessly responds that they were useless, disobedient pieces of trash. Upon hearing such nonsense, a surge of anger gushes through Qiao. Dong tells Big Bro Qiao not to be so mad since he'll see them anyway. That's when the matriarch sends the swarm of poisonous insects to attack Qiao, while the other team members assure him they'll be backing him up. Kuang Mang, Dong's bodyguard, launches an attack that hurts Long Chang, and he warns them not to interrupt the matriarch, but to fight him instead. Meanwhile, our boy struggles with fighting against too many insects. If they keep fighting, it'll be a suicide mission. He decides to increase his agility and defense to make it through with ease, using the active talent of the Brave Heart, but remembering that he can still revive once using Sage's Protection. This means killing Zhendong, because if he succeeds, these insects won't be controlled. With that, Qiao Yu leaps forth and manages to create a hole in the matriarch's stomach. Dong is left wide-eyed and the panel shows up, revealing that she's a rare NPC. Qiao wonders why Xun is a rare NPC even though her stats are lower than Zhu Xi's, and gets convinced that she's mad. Dong's agility increases in no time, while Yu's attack doesn't do as much damage as she fervently stabs her fingers into his chest. Our fella is caught off guard as he didn't know agility could increase in a split second. While his HP decreases drastically, Dong wishes to skin him and keep him as a souvenir once he dies. At that moment, Yang Xiangdi witnesses his friend Qiao's life in jeopardy and runs to help him. However, he's halted by Kuang Mang, who doesn't let anyone interrupt the matriarch's fight in any way. Kuang is sick of their useless tricks that don't work against him when, strangely, red sand whirls around him, scaring the hell out of him of that tough guy. It turns out to be Yang's ground explosion magic in his fat-burning state. Fat Xiangdi turns into a handsome boy after the fat-burning state, and without wasting any time, he dashes to save Qiao Yu. Even our fella is surprised to see Thin Yang and asks him what the hell happened to him. It is then that the mage reveals that the moment he got anxious, all the fat on his body burned away, and now he has almost 300 spirit. Chao then tells Shangdi to use his ground explosion magic to deal with him and Sundong together. Suddenly, our hero grips tightly onto the matriarch, while Yang opposes the idea since there's a high chance that Chao is going to die in the process. However, the necromancer assures his friend to do as he says. Gripped by fear, Shundong begs him to let her go as she doesn't want to die yet. But it gets too late when an explosion occurs and the atmosphere charges with suspense. Well, it turns out that Chao activated the S-rank equipment, Sage's protection, and the intensity of the damage was negated. Thanks to Yu's courage in the face of death, he is rewarded with an A-rank passive talent, Strong Contract, in which every point of strength increases HP by 10 points, and vice versa. Our fella hits the jackpot with the items again, and gets convinced that this system doesn't really want him to die. Now, Chao's HP increases to nearly 1800, which means he shouldn't worry about being killed in one hit by a boss now. In the meantime, Shangdi is left in utter disbelief since his powerful attack didn't affect Chao. Our necromancer sarcastically asks Yang if he's sad that he's not dead and wonders if Shundong dropped anything after he killed her. Baffled, Mage Yang realizes that the system didn't notify them that he'd killed her, which can only mean one thing, that the matriarch is still alive. Well, it turns out to be true when Shundong shows herself in her true insect form. Our guy believes that she's gotten stronger and requests Zhangdi to cast ground explosion magic on her again. However, the mage's spirit is back at 48 points, which makes him unable to cast the magic. It appears that the increase in spirit due to fat burning was temporary. Suddenly, the system warns the players to leave this world immediately. It appears that the players have not defeated the Queen Mother of the Cave of Thousand Poisons. Our fellow recalls that Principal Jipingyang especially told him to pass the custom world. He gets adamant to kill Zundong once and for all. Smirking, the vicious insect monster says confidently that these disgusting humans can't injure this body, threatening to skin them alive. Chao, stout-hearted, bursts forth to attack while this bravery instills fear in Shundong, who thought he'd died. The fact that our guy is only level 8 and he can do more damage than her makes Dong question who's the boss here. She wonders how the hell a mage like him is so freaking strong. That's when it occurs to her that only Bai Zhe can create a monster like Chao, since he created Dong after all. Meanwhile, our guy reveals his name. In that split second, he slashes her. Upon hearing this, Dong's death flashes before her eyes while she ponders on Yu's surname that sounds familiar. That's how Chao successfully defeats that insect through melee attacks and gets rewarded with stat points. The Cave of 10,000 Poisons anomaly gets resolved and the 5 players complete the specialized world for mages. The system then assesses the players' ranking. Our guy, who contributed the most, levels up to S rank. While Chang can't believe they passed, Chao Yu is rewarded with 100 plus EXP, 10 free stat points, and the A-rank talent book, Door to Acre. All the other players are rewarded with free stat points and EXP. Our fella has now reached level 10, but only after entering the early stage can he say that he's an otherworldly player who can go solo. Soon after, he stumbles upon the soul's core. When opened, it gives out a B-rank Wild Spider's breastplate that increases a player's HP by 800. Secondly, there's also a mysterious Rubik's Cube that activates as soon as it's bound to its host, who is Chao. Our guy then obtains the ability to assess the abilities of humans within 10 levels of himself. There's also an unknown locked ability, and the necromancer is astonished since he never thought the cube would bind to him. Shortly, the beautiful elf guide appears through the gate. As an extra reward, she increases all the players' spirit by 20%. While Shangdi's eyes light up after getting an amazing reward, it appears useless for Chao since his spirit is already at 0. After that, Fang Yuan thanks our necromancer for carrying them through the specialized world. It is then decided by Chao Yu and Shangdi that they've secured their spots in Jingdu University. The scene then takes us to the college canteen, where Ma Fei learns the shocking truth that our necromancer has reached level 10, the same as him. While Zhu Yu and Ziyue have a hard time believing that Xiangdi has become more handsome than Fei, the class monitor can't seem to accept Chao's success since a warrior's specialized world has many more monsters than a mage's. On the other hand, handsome Yang tries to get back his fatty body to feel safe the next time he enters the other world. Now, since they have all secured spots, the mage wonders if they are still sitting for the otherworld examination. It is revealed to us that in Kaiji, the most important day of the year is the day of examination, because it means selecting the next generation of talented individuals. The students who have secured spots at universities will still take part for a common goal, to be the top scorer. The most appealing part is that the person will not only become famous, but be rewarded with A-rank equipment. Ma Fei, sounding pretty determined, decides to take part in the exam because, according to his father, this time the top scorer will get an S-rank piece of equipment. After that, Chao Yu seems to be walking in an alley. He's also pretty adamant on becoming a top scorer to get the S-rank item. In the meantime, our guy is being followed by 2 early-stage assassins. Promptly, they reveal themselves and corroborate if he's Chao Yu. Our guy asks them what the matter is, to which the assassin mentions that our mage killed Shundong of the Cave of Thousand Poisons. At that moment, Chao has his suspicions and recalls the word Bai Zhe Dong mentioned. He speculates that they're not a person but an organization. Although our guy feels like a simpleton for not questioning Dong about this back then, He cunningly bamboozles the assassins into believing that he's Ma Fei. The dumbass assassin falls for it since he believes that Chow isn't strong enough to be a mage. The fellow assassin slaps his teammate for buying this bullshit. The two of them then leap towards our fella, who remains firm without even flinching. While they suspect that Chow is lying since he's not even dodging, our guy knocks right at the level 16 assassin's gut so hard that even the wall bears a crack. Witnessing such strength and defense, the level 18 assassin is left slack-jawed and gets convinced that our guy isn't a mage. As Chow thinks it's time for round 2, that assassin justifies that they bear no ill will towards him, and they've mistaken him for someone else, calling him Ma Fei. The assassin reveals that he's just a cog in an organization ranked somewhere in the 7,000s in terms of strength. Chow is astonished to hear that a level 18 assassin is ranked that low. Anyways, he plans to let the assassins report back to the organization, or else the revenge will be harsher. Also, our guy does succeed in fooling them into believing that he's Ma Fei. It is then known to us that Baizhe is a legendary divine beast with a snow-white coat and a horned head. It's as strong as a lion and flames run along its 4 limbs. It has been worshipped as the divine beast of demons for a long time. Later, our guy tries to find some info regarding the organization Baizhe but fails to find anything about them. He's aware that his identity is going to be exposed sooner or later, so he can't stay in the house much longer. Therefore, to save himself, Chow gets more eager to take part in the examination, knowing that an organization like Baizhe wouldn't dare to act against an examinee. It would be a heinous crime. He thinks that he'll be safe once he gets into Jingdu University, since Principal Ji Pingyang, who's the best swordsman in the world, is there, known as the Sword God Pingyang. Nonetheless, he comes across that mysterious Rubik's Cube again from the soul core he found in the Cave of Thousand Poisons. He wonders if this is the part that makes the specialized world different from a normal one. Questions flood his mind. He dwells on the possibility that they left this cube for him, and knew that he was going to pass that world. The scene flips to the roof of a building where a senior member questions the 2 assassins who went to find Xiao Yu, the person who killed Xun Dong. The level 18 assassin confesses that their info was wrong and that person was very strong. It turns out he was not a mage. Nonetheless, that woman calls them useless. She accentuates that they'll be focusing on organizing their actions in Sioux City. Several days later at the 4th college, our boy goes to speak with the principal and shows him the Rubik's Cube he found in a specialized world, which seems to have been sealed. He asks Headmaster Xuejin if there's any way to open it. In case they don't have the password, Xuejin supposes they can only use the key of all locks to open it. Baffled, Chow asks the headmaster where he could find that key. As a response, he learns that the seal on the cube is not that strong. Hence, the key will be able to remove the seal without damaging the content. Su Jin reveals that he can find that key in the E-rank world, Kingdom of Machines, but he warns you to be careful of the people there who might try to sabotage him. The scene takes us to the Kingdom of Machines, where Chow arrives and remembers what the principal told him. A huge war occurred between humans and machines because the latter gained sentience. The two ended up signing a peace treaty, and the area they lived in became known as the Kingdom of Machines. Our fella seems to have arrived in the human area known as the City of Machines. He first decides to meet up with landlord Hua Jun to get a hidden mission from him in order to get the key of all locks, as instructed by the principal. Just as Chow wonders how he'll find that guy, a crazy old scientist bumps into a muscular guy. It appears the hoodlum was looking for a fight and demands compensation from the scientist for injuring him, even though there's no injury to be seen. Things get intense when that big guy holds the old man upside down, trying to pull money out of him, because to them, this old fogey surely doesn't look broke. It is then that our boy enters the scene. He calls out the 2 gangsters for extorting the old man in broad daylight, calling himself an upstanding young man who can't bear to watch this. That bastard warns Chow to mind his own business, but our fella states that evil cannot escape the law. That's when our fella gets into action and teaches those hoodlums a lesson. Those guys even agree to make amends with him and the old man. After that, the old man thanks Chow and reveals that he doesn't have much money to pay him. But our fella requests him not to speak of him in the same breath as those gangsters. Our boy straightforwardly reveals that he's looking for the city's landlord to get the key. The old man agrees to help him in that matter, adding that it won't be easy to get equipment from the landlord. Chow assures the old man that he hasn't seen his power yet, admitting that he only used 1% of his power just now. Later, the big guy from earlier talks about Xiao Yu's strength, claiming that he's never met such a strong young man before. Meanwhile, in the Kingdom of Machines, Lady Mond commands her servant Blitz to bring Professor Hua Jun to her. Later, the old man arrives at the landlord's mansion along with Chow. In the next second, the old man escapes the scene and Chow bangs open the mansion's door to find the landlord by himself. What our boy witnesses next makes his jaw drop, as that old man turns out to be the landlord of the City of Machines, Hua Jun. Moreover, the 2 gangsters from earlier were his strongest bodyguards. Well, it appears the landlord put on a show to find someone stronger than his bodyguards, and that person is Xiao Yu. Landlord Jun agrees to give our boy the key of all locks on the condition that he helps him with something. It is then that the hidden mission is issued. Hua Jun unravels that he'll hold an academic seminar tomorrow to publicize his research on machines and organic life. It is speculated that the robots in the kingdom want to steal his research and won't let this chance slip away. While Qiao assumes that the landlord wants him to protect him, Hanagun wants Qiao Yu to defeat the queen of the kingdom of machines and destroy her mechanical heart. Qiao Yu takes this mission as a piece of cake, thinking they're just some robots. The scene then switches to the seminar hall where the professor gives a speech about organic life. He rhetorically questions if robots can truly grow, since they might be sentient, but they can't procreate. In the audience, our fella is bored as hell and doesn't understand a thing. Just as he impatiently waits for the robots to show up, suddenly, Blitz the robot pierces through the hall, making quite a statement. He asks Professor Jun to cast aside that pathetic human shell to embrace machinery instead. The security stands alert and the landlord's bodyguards warn Blitz to leave the place. However, the robot bursts forth at the speed of light and beats the crap out of one of them. That robot single-handedly beats the crap out of the security guards and calls them foolish. As the robot laughs hysterically, Qiao couldn't help but admit that it's such a disrespectful sight. The landlord, knowing the robots are here for him, agrees to go with them this time, betting everything on Qiao Yu. Blitz flaunts his strongest physique and, shortly, Mond appears to take the professor with him. The queen of the kingdom ties the professor with chains, and Hua Jun asks the queen to tell his people to stop and he'll come with them. Meanwhile, Blitz asks Lady Mond to take the professor and leave first since he'll play with the humans a little longer. It is then that our fella shows up and asks Blitz if he's the one bragging about his strongest physique. The robot goes on and on about the power of mechanical transformation, offering Qiao if he wants to join the glorious mechanic evolution. Our guy ignores that bullshit and goes to attack first. With a single punch, Qiao creates a hole in Blitz's wholly mechanical body that leaves him in absolute shambles. A mere human was able to punch through his biochemical physique. Being sassy, our fella simply responds that he raised his hand and punched him. That's all. Blitz's cocky ass gets humbled real quick. He asks our boy how his mortal physique is as strong as a mechanical one. Qiao plays around and reveals that he possesses the ancient holy physique of the human race. Our guy, who clearly has the upper hand, tramples over the robot and commands him to take him to the kingdom of machines. Qiao travels on Blitz like a rocket, while pondering that Lord Hua Jun got caught on purpose. It appears that he wanted Blitz to guide Qiao to the kingdom to destroy the mechanical heart. Meanwhile, the robot is confused that Qiao had such terrifying power but still let the professor be taken away. Nonetheless, Blitz wishes to report this urgently to Lady Mond. On the contrary, in the kingdom of machines, the professor is held captive. He takes a vows in front of the queen of the kingdom that he'll never betray the human race to join the robots. Mond asks the landlord not to be so stubborn and shows him the mechanical heart. It can be said that its biology is engineered. The queen emphasizes that this heart with biological functions combines the human spirit and the power of the machine. It's safe to say that it can no longer be called a robot. Lady Mond calls it ascension, stating that flesh is weak and the machine is elevated. Professor Hua Jun finds it ironic that a human like Mond works for robots like a dog. It's not an exaggeration to call her a traitor. Suddenly, that mechanical heart shows its evil, heartless side when the machine brutally consumes a number of humans, ripping them apart and consuming their flesh. At the same time, on the other side, Qiao Yu, after dealing with Blitz, hits the big time when he finds an army of robots and gains free stat points by defeating them. Eventually, our guy awe-strikingly rips apart all the robots that were meant to protect the queen. Inside the kingdom, Professor Jun finds it preposterous as he witnesses such a traumatizing occurrence and calls Mond a literal monster. The queen of the kingdom shamelessly admits that this mechanical heart, named Marta, was a failure. It is then that Mond unravels the unsettling truth, muttering that they accidentally created this life-devouring monster. At first, Marta used to eat 1 or 5 humans, but now even the queen doesn't know the limit. Now Manda wants the professor to solve this problem. The traitor bastard robot eases Professor Jun, saying that he can surely turn a blind eye to this. However, this will come at the price of the fresh humans who die every day in Marta's mouth. Deep down, the professor impatiently waits for Qiao Yu. Well, his prayers are heard when a robot frantically rushes in, reporting to Lady Mond that a human who possesses an ancient physique has infiltrated the kingdom, the one mentioned by Blitz earlier. Before they could process the situation, our fella barges into the kingdom like a monster. Qiao shows up and the landlord couldn't be more relieved to see him. Mond wonders if he's the human boy with the ancient holy physique that Blitz was referring to. He welcomes him to the kingdom of machines and admits that he did not expect Yu to defeat Blitz, since he's one of the top warriors of his kingdom. Our boy asks him if he wants to avenge him, and that's when 2 low-level robots attack him. Qiao easily defeats them, and as Mond witnesses this, he realizes that what Blitz said was actually true. He plans on persuading him to join their side and undergo mechanical changes. Yu checks up on the old man and he shows him the mechanical heart, Marta. The landlord reveals that they're using humans to feed the machines. Our boy is determined to destroy the mechanical heart, even if he hadn't gotten his commission. Mond, on the other hand, is ready to win over the ancient holy physique at all costs. He proposes to Yu to abandon his weak body and join the glorious evolution. But seeing him not listening, he wonders what he's planning to do. Just then, Qiao leaps onto the mechanical heart and starts demolishing it. Mond warns him to stop and tries to butt in, but our boy lands a powerful blow to him. As a result, he's sent flying back and smashes into the wall. As he witnesses this amazing strength, Monde's decision to keep Yu in the kingdom of machines strengthens. Chao continues to smash Marta, and at last, he manages to successfully destroy it. The system awards him with free stat points for defeating Marta via melee attacks. This makes Monde furious as he sprints towards Yu. Our boy, seeing the amount of blood, is curious as to how many humans he's fed this machine, and informs him that it's his turn next. Monde tries to convince him to give up and become a part of their kingdom. He brings up Her Majesty the Queen, and reveals that even if he destroyed Marta, the Queen won't blame him for it. Instead, she's going to give him a chance to redeem himself. He wants Chao to follow him to meet Her Majesty the Queen and join them. Yu wonders if Monde himself isn't the leader of the kingdom. That's when the old man butts in, warning him not to be fooled. Our boy assures the landlord, while Monde is confident that he will change his mind once he meets the Queen. Chao agrees to meet the Queen. He follows Monde, who secretly installs a mechanical bug on our hero, which infects humans and gradually transforms them into machines. Monde conspires to infect this ancient holy physique, Qiao, with the parasite in order to be rewarded by the Queen. His plans are ruined when Yu spots the bug and whacks it. He then punches Monde as he realizes that he was corrupt. Our boy is aware that his opponent is hard to deal with since Monde is a level 15 NPC. Monde wonders if he doesn't want to meet the Queen, while Chao lets him know that he doesn't need him to lead the way. The wicked human warns Yu of the outcomes if he refuses and threatens to break his limbs to get him to Her Majesty the Queen if he has to. He uses the mechanical fist but takes a critical hit from Chao, who wonders if he hasn't had enough yet. Monde is taken aback as his full-on attack was utterly useless against him. That's when Yu lands another powerful hit and headbutts him, leaving the guy unable to move. After being hit severely, Monde takes on his true mechanical form and decides to make him pay. He uses the mechanical Lord Fist and Chao gets serious, utilizing an ordinary fist strike. This lands a critical hit on Monde. At last, he's defeated by our boy. Yu is awarded 15 free stat points and is leveled up to an early stage mage. With that, our boy completes the hidden mission, also obtaining the key to all locks. He decides to finally meet the Queen of Machines and hopes that she's going to give him some high-quality equipment. After a while, we see Chao struggling to enter the code as it is wrong every time he enters it. On the other hand, the Queen of Machines awaits him. She wonders why a human would come to her place if they've already completed the mission. Just then, the door of the room bursts open and Chao appears from behind the now broken door. He spots a human girl and ponders if there are humans imprisoned here by Monde. Yu asks the girl her name while the Queen is taken aback as she finds this human different. The girl declares that she's the Queen of the Kingdom of Machines, which catches Chao by surprise. It's revealed that the Queen of the Kingdom of Machines is at level 48 with her HP being 100,000. Chao realizes how strong she is and apologizes to the Lady Queen, making an excuse that he's taken a wrong turn. Hence, he'll take his leave. As he turns around to leave, the Queen pulls him back with chains that trap our boy. She pulls Yu closer while he can't move at all, assuring him that she won't hurt him. With that, she barges into his memories and witnesses what the outside world actually looks like. She confirms that the world she is in isn't real, and that this is a virtual world, one of countless others. The Queen believes that as long as she remains in this room, she can escape the world's resetting. She doesn't remember how many times it has happened, but after countless resets, only Chao appeared before her. Therefore, she decides not to let this chance go so easily. She releases Yu, who ponders if she saw through his memories, to which she informs him that it was an exchange of her memories with his. Our boy now understands why she had such a high level and stats, even as a boss in a D-rank world. He asks her if she wants to leave, and that's when the Queen reveals that she indeed does. Chao tells her that she might as well kill him since he's a level 11 nobody. There's no way he can go against the rules of the world. The Queen ensures that there's no need for him to go against the rules. With that, she pulls her heart out through her chest. Yu is baffled as to what she's doing, to which the Queen implies that they can use the rules of the other world he spoke of. The kingdom's queen requests our boy take her heart with him, and as long as he carries it, it will grow into another version of her. She reveals that once it grows, she will have a clone that can experience the outside world. Chao is curious if she isn't worried about him going back on his word, since he's aware that she can't control what he does outside of the other world. The Queen refuses to worry, confessing that she didn't find a single instance of him breaking a promise in his memories. She adds that she wants to see for herself what the outside world is like. After giving him a moment, she asks Chao if he has made his decision, and he gives in, admitting that he has no choice. She thanks him and gives him permission to leave. The system congratulates Yu on passing the world, the Kingdom of Machines. Our boy is awarded 50 plus EXP, a B-rank talent book, a C-rank mechanical tool, and lastly, knuckle dusters. The mechanical knuckle dusters increase the critical hit rate, which makes Yu delighted. With that, he decides to return to the principal and open that Rubik's Cube. He returns to the original world, but after finding no one in the principal's office, he uses the key to all locks to open the Rubik's Cube. The cube opens. To his surprise, it turns out to be an evolved weapon called the Green Dragon Crescent Blade that unlocks. Yu wonders if this is what they left for him, and is curious why it is a weapon with no attributes at all. Just then, Principal Shui bursts into the room who catches Chow off guard. Our boy informs him that he just opened the Rubik's Cube, but the principal hastily reminds him of the exam he's about to miss. Realization hits Yu, and cursing himself, he rushes over to the hall. Meanwhile, in the examination hall, students from the first college ask the examiner if they can start the exam. Shangdi interrupts them and informs them that they're still missing someone. The students from the first college assume that the fourth college students are all good for nothing. They believe it doesn't make a difference if they take the examination or not. It seems that the first college has always had the highest selection rate, hence the reason why they're bragging so much. They insult Shangdi and his fellows, saying that if that person hasn't shown up, it means he's too scared to come. Yang claims that his friend can take all of them down with a single punch. The blue-haired dude challenges him to come forward and prove it. He decides to teach him what it really means to take someone down with a single punch. Zhu wonders why Chow isn't here yet, as the examination is going to start anytime now. Ma Fei declares that he's going to put an end to the first college's winning streak, admitting that his only true opponent is Yu. He's low-key concerned about his classmate not being here yet. Meanwhile, Chow hurries to the examination hall as he's almost there. The examiner emphasizes starting the examination, whilst the teacher from the fourth college is worried that Yu won't make it in time. That's when our boy shows up and announces his presence. His friends are relieved to see him, while he confidently lets out that their father has returned. The guys from the first college wonder if they were waiting for a nobody like him and call it a waste of their time. As Zuo argues with them, they admit they're in a rush to put them in their place and get first place in the examination. Chow ignores them and wonders which hole they crawled out of, to which Xiangdi clarifies the situation to him. That pisses off the blue-haired dude as he threatens them, but Yu doesn't stop and claims that first place belongs to him. The dude from the first college says something, but is interrupted when a guy walks in and shuts him up. It seems that they're intimidated by that guy, who reminds them that first place is their only goal. Just then, the main examiner, Jin Tong, announces that it's time for the examination to begin. He makes it clear that this examination will use a points system. If they win, they'll get 2 points. If they lose, they'll lose 1 point. Consecutive wins will get them another point, but consecutive losses won't cost extra points. After the rounds, the 10 students with the most points will have a showdown to decide the first place winner. With that, Jin declares the beginning of the SU City examination. The parents there cheer for their kids to win, while in the mages arena, we see Chow being up first. He's aware that this examination uses similar rules to a dueling ground, and the lowest their HP can go is 1, hence, they won't die. Which means that our boy doesn't need to hold himself back. The teachers of the first college ask Long Xiang, the winner of last year's examination, who he thinks will get first place this time. Xiang is confident that person will naturally be from their first college. Round 1 in the 108 arena is between the blue-haired dude, also known as Long Meichen from the first college, versus Chow Yu from the fourth college. Meidian finds it unexpected that they've met in the first round itself, and Yu jokes about his name having a certain ring to it. That triggers Long, who's ready to smash his face when the examiner asks them if they're ready. He asks both parties to introduce themselves, and they both wonder what kind of rule this is, as they just want to start fighting. Nonetheless, Meidian introduces himself as a student from the first college, level 9, an electric mage disciple. Yu introduces himself as a student from the fourth college, level 11, and an early-stage necromancer. Hearing that, both Meidian and the examiner are caught by surprise. The examiner thinks our boy is the prime candidate for first place and gives them the signal to start. Long decides to ignore the fact that he's up against an early-stage mage, determining his electric magic can counter the undead. He uses Thunder Barrier and Thunder Encircling to attack Chow. As the audience witnesses the power of an electric mage, they're amazed since it's believed that only 1 in 10 have a chance of becoming one. Plus, they're known to be the strongest type of mage. However, they notice that Meidian is using his powers for defense, and electric mages are usually not good at defense. They wonder if Yu is really a match for him, seeing an electric mage do that. Long is ready to face the true power of a necromancer, but he's baffled as to why Chow hasn't taken out his staff yet. The principal of the first college asks Shuijin Long if his student, the one Jingdu University offered a spot at that time, does not intend to act. He remarks that Yu is a bit overconfident, and even though he's of a higher level, electricity is more effective against the undead. He concludes that our boy might lose if he doesn't start summoning the undead, but Yu is confident and quotes that one does not simply predict the action of gods. He reminds himself that Chow is an anomaly who sent a teacher from Jingdu flying with 1 punch. Shang also looks forward to seeing how Yu's necromancy matches up to an electric mage's power. Meanwhile, Meidian is confused why our boy hasn't started summoning the undead. He witnesses Chow walking in through his thunder barrier, and that catches him by utter shock. Long is taken aback, and this makes him wonder what kind of monster he's dealing with. Yu continues to walk through the electric barrier, which continues to reduce his HP. Everyone there is surprised to catch sight of the scene since they were expecting an exchange of spells between mages. Our boy pulls out the mechanical knuckle duster, thrilled to use his new toy on his opponent. With that, he lands a critical hit on the blue-haired guy that wildly reduces his HP. The effect of the punch makes Meteon go flying back and smash into the wall. An uproar is caused among the audience as they witness a necromancer being able to withstand an electric attack by himself. Meanwhile, the principal of the first college lashes out on Jue. He understands the fact that Chao endured the electric attack and is ready to ignore the fact that he pulled out a knuckle duster, but he can't digest that our boy did over 1,000 damage with a single punch. He's convinced that Yu is not a necromancer, but Jinlong clarifies to him that he's been training since he was young and is exceptional at what he does, hence he finds it completely reasonable. That doesn't satisfy the old man, but his student, Xiang, seems to be quite intrigued to think that a necromancer could do that. He's curious about how strong his necromancy would be if he's that powerful alone. On the other hand, one of the students of the first college informs a guy that Meiteon has been defeated. The mysterious fella seems to be expecting that. He decides to give a little trouble to Qiao since the winner must belong to the first college. The people start gossiping about Yu, and he just thanks everyone for the support. Just then, the examiner shows up and asks our boy to take a walk with them. Qiao wonders what's the matter when shortly it's revealed that his actions just now were so impressive that someone accused him of cheating. Hence, they need to conduct some tests. Our boy is in disbelief as he hears that he's going to be tested just because he performed too well. He questions which law allows that, and the examiner asks him if he can explain how he, a mage, could do that much critical hit damage. He reasons that he's naturally strong, but that doesn't convince the guy as he orders his men to take him away. The people wonder why the necromancer kid is being taken away while the old man from the first college mocks Shui, but Jinlong is satisfied because he knows what will happen. Meanwhile, Ma Fei couldn't help but consider the possibility that Chao was also cheating in the Nightmare Village. The students are confident that our guy had been cheating, and are looking forward to hearing the announcement about it after they conduct the tests. Shangdi warns them to wait and watch since they'll be crying when not only his friend comes back, but also snatching the title of the valedictorian. On the other hand, Chao is given a test to pass, and he confidently walks in, knowing that people only ever doubt a true genius. The examiner instructs Yu to firstly pass through the detection array. As he walks through it, no anomalies are detected, but Jin insists that he do it again. Nothing is detected, but the old man doesn't seem to be satisfied, as he orders his men to check if the detection gate is malfunctioning. It's revealed that the detection gate is working properly, and Jin finally starts to acknowledge the fact that our boy can actually deliver over 1,000 points of critical damage with his bare hands. He's shocked since the birth of the Otherworld. There's never been such a mage. The other examiners contemplate if they should send Chao back to take the major exam. Tong suggests that they send him for a drug test first, now that the data check is clear. They need to check if he's taken any banned substances, and if the drug test is clean, he orders them to send him back for the major exam. The scene is then shifted to the examination hall, where the second round of the exam begins. Gusu assumes that our boy won't be back for a while. As soon as the time is up, he'll automatically be disqualified. The waiting contestant wonders why his opponent hasn't shown up yet and asks the examiner what would happen if he doesn't come. It's revealed that his opponent will be declared the loser and he'll win if Chao doesn't show up. The audience realizes that the missing contestant is the necromancer kid, and that makes them wonder if he actually cheated. On the other hand, one of the supervisors follows Chao into the restroom and he's confused about why he's following him inside. The examiner informs him that according to the rules, he must supervise the entire sampling process. Yu warns the guy that he'll scare him, but the guy is pretty confident since they've all undergone professional training. After a while, we find the examiner completely traumatized while Chao tries to console him, saying that he warned him and that he shouldn't cry as he can't be blamed for this. The supervisor informs Jin that our boy's drug test came back clean. Given the results, the old man allows them to send him back to the major exam. Tong discovers that he's the son of Chaoan King and concludes that a mage with an attack power over 500 is guaranteed admission to Kyoto University. Conversely, Shangdi is worried because if Chao doesn't show up soon, he'll really be declared the loser. The guys from the first college see this as an opportunity to mock them and remark that Yu might have been expelled from the exam. Zhu remembers that the examiner told them that someone had reported Chao and asks them if it were them who reported him. The males act clueless and wonder if she has any evidence of the allegation she's putting on them. Plus, they state that even if it were them who reported him, they wonder what she can do about it. They don't stop there and continue to insult them when Yang shuts them up. He defends his friend, knowing that he'll be back soon. Ma Fei realizes that they're really scared of Chao stealing the first spot in the exam. His cocky ass announces that their plan will fail since even without our fella, the top spot in the exam will be his. At that moment, our main character makes an appearance, catching everyone by surprise, including Fei. The examiner is about to announce the winner when Chao shows up, and the battle begins. His appearance makes it clear that he didn't cheat, and the audience is impressed as they realize how strong he is. The fellas from the first college are speechless as they see him, while the contestant who has been waiting refuses to introduce himself because, since Chao has arrived, he pretty casually admits that he gives up. The guy confesses that he doesn't want to get hit with a punch dealing over 1,000 damage. Chao tries to convince him to get punched just once, but the guy leaves and the examiner announces that the 4th Academy's Yu wins 3 points. Our boy wins 2 consecutive matches and now has 5 points. The scene shifts to the Shadow Mage as his underlings inform him about our necromancer's return. Gusu states that reporting him was just to annoy him a little since he did not cheat. His return was expected, but it seems that he has plenty of ways planned to make Yu fail during the major exam because they have to take the top spot in the exam no matter what. Just like that, a series of contestant fails against our hero, until the 8th round, when the guy from the first college points out Chao's consecutive 8 victories. That's when Gusu tells him to use their connections and make it so that the second academy's student Xiaorong will face Chao in the 9th round. The guy wonders if she'll do what they say, and the Shadow Mage lets him know that it's the major exam, hence it's not up to her, because as long as she wants to score well, she must give it her all. In the 9th round, student Xiaorong from the second academy is up against Yu. The men go crazy as they see the pretty student while Xiaorong makes a proper introduction. She declares to be from the second academy, a level 11 early stage ice mage. The principal of the second academy assumes that since Yu is up against Xiaorong, he's in trouble. Xu Jinlong informs him that they all really don't understand his student. As Qiao introduces himself, he's surprised to see his opponent not giving up. He gets all thrilled to finally fight someone who won't give up. While the males from the audience threaten him that if he hurts Xiaorong and used the same trick from earlier, they'll not let it slide. Our boy assures them that he won't be using that trick against someone so pretty. With that, he pulls out a spear and leaps towards the purple-haired mage. The ice mage feels intimidated since she's never seen a mage like him. She uses Ice Wall Prison to keep distance from Chao, and believes that her abilities should be able to trap him even if it's just for a moment. Yu jumps over the Ice Wall Prison, and Xiaorong sees this as an opportunity to stop his winning streaks. She draws Eternal Ice Wall, and our boy is stuck in it as he freezes. All the contestants who gave up fighting Chao witness him losing and regret giving up. The principal of the first and second academy are certain that they've won as they mock Jin Long. Meanwhile, Xiaorong asks the examiner if she hasn't won already, and he reminds her that the rules say you lose if you concede or your HP falls to 1. But Chao's HP is still dropping, hence he's not at the bottom yet. The Ice Mage tells our boy to give up since he's already lost, but he stays persistent in fighting. Xiaorong assumes that with his HP dropping, he will bottom out soon. But what she doesn't know is that Yu's HP won't bottom out as it's a lot. He tries to break through the Eternal Ice Wall, and the Ice Mage uses the Eternal Ice Wall again to freeze him back. She's taken aback to see this monstrous strength that was able to break through her ice wall. It seems that her mana is now gone, but Chao's HP still hasn't bottomed out yet. At last, our guy breaks the Eternal Ice Wall completely, which leaves Xiaorong in utter disbelief. Our boy breaks through the ice wall like it was nothing, leaving Xiaorong wide-eyed. He asks the fellow ice sister if she wishes to give up, but her ego doesn't allow her to quit. With that, Chao Yu ends the fight with one single blow and strikes Xiaorong with his spear, reducing her HP to 1. While the poor ice girl gets smashed away, the fans of the Ice Mage fly off the handle because Chao resorted to violence against their goddess. But our fella simply reasons that he can't be blamed. It's the major exam after all. The winner is announced, and Principal Zuejin declares that no one can stop Yu in this exam. On the other hand, Xiaorong, appearing in bad shape, apologizes to her teacher for losing. But the teacher assures the Ice Mage she has enough points to enter the arena battles and blames Chao Yu for not being a proper mage. She even claims that he's insulting the mage profession. This offends our boy because these people seem to have such strong biases against him. He questions his life decision to be a mage who focuses on physical training. On the contrary, Gusu's underlings report to him that Chao has defeated teacher Xiaorong from the second academy. Enraged, Gusu thinks the second academy is useless and decides to step in himself. In the second academy rest area, Xiaorong's mentor asks her what it felt like facing Chao in battle. Xiao admits that our mage was unreasonably strong. It is then that the mentor reveals that Xiaorong's opponent wasn't supposed to be Chao Yu to begin with. The Ice Mage speculates that someone changed her opponent, and comes to the conclusion that, based on strength, they're targeting Chao. In the next moment, Xiaorong tells everything to our boy, explaining how someone altered her match schedule to make him face her. The Ice Mage warns Yu that the person targeting him might come after him during the arena battles. Smirking, Chao has already decided to send that guy flying with a single punch for resorting to such underhanded tactics. The scene then flips to the arena battles, where the top 10 contenders in Sioux City are shortlisted. While some believe that our necromancer has a good chance of winning, some still call him a cheater. The first to fight is our very own Chao Yu, who waits for his opponent, the sneaky little shadow dweller who's targeting him, to show up. That's when a giant guy jumps out to fight him, idiotically calling himself a genius and claiming he will be the top scorer. But that guy is none other than a simpleton who gets his ass beaten by Chao and is knocked out with a single punch. Our necromancer successfully defends his title. Witnessing his jaw-dropping strength, the people in the crowd officially become his fans and chant for him. As the crowd screams his name, our fella impatiently waits for that little schemer, who finally can't hold back anymore. Gusu appears from behind and calls Chao a crowd pleaser. Without reluctance, the dude from the first academy offers Chao 5 million to surrender. It appears that Gusu had done quite a bit of research on our guy, and knows that he's an orphan with no assets other than the house his parents left him. Abruptly, our fella dramatically loses his cool and questions if his lifelong dream of becoming a top scorer is worth only 5 million. While it may appear that Chow might tear that dude apart any second, our sneaky bastard asks for more money. Gusu expected this and asks how much more money he wants. Chow, without a flinch, demands 1 billion and admits that he wouldn't refuse 100 billion if offered. Given that our fella doesn't accept the offer of 5 million, Gusu warns him to face the consequences and not to blame him for hitting hard. Meanwhile, Chow can sense ill will coming from the guy and suspects he's the one pulling the strings behind the scenes. Gusu then introduces himself as an early-stage shadow mage, and with that, their battle begins. The crowd is more hooked than ever, as they witness an intriguing fight between a shadow mage and a necromancer, since both professions involve summoning entities. They sit on the edge of their seats, eagerly waiting for Chow to summon the undead. The shadow mage summons his shadow servants, while our necromancer doesn't need any undead. He's enough on his own. Just like that, he pulls out his staff. He excitedly bursts forth to attack the shadow monsters, but they're hard to break through. Our guy wonders what the heck they are, and the shadow mage reveals that they're shadow minions made with bones of steel and iron. This is the very first feast the shadow mage had prepared for Chow. But we can't really measure our necromancer's true strength, which is unmatched, and he confidently states that these iron minions aren't that much. Chow can't wait to see if these things truly can't be broken. Seconds later, our fella swishes his staff and bang! The shadow minions are broken one by one. Witnessing this, Gusu is left thunderstruck by Chow's melee ability, and Loki admits that this fella is a humanoid beast. As Chow deals with all the shadow minions, the shadow mage activates Assimilation of Shadows. Our boy strikes with his spear, and as a result, both their arms take damage. The crowd realizes that if Chow's strike weren't in the virtual world, it would have sent the shadow dude flying. Gusu admits that his opponent is indeed powerful and is the first to defeat his shadow minions, forcing him to use a sacrifice spell. Chow's arm is also hurt, and he suspects that any attack on the shadow mage will affect him as well because of the spell. To keep himself safe, our boy plans not to directly attack the mage's body, but Gusu plays a dirty trick, knowing that if he gets injured, Chow will be too. That's when the shadow mage stabs himself in the chest, and our guy spits out blood because the spell hurts him equally. The mage warns Chow to admit defeat and agrees to fulfill the conditions they promised if he concedes, but our guy refuses to back down, which amazes Gusu. The fact is that the heart has been pierced, yet Chow stands firm. Given his opponent is too stubborn, the mage stabs himself once again in the guts. Our fella realizes that the scrapes and pain are both real. Plus, things are about to get a little more painful when Gusu unapologetically decides to stab his own groin, but Chow couldn't bear to watch it. Hence, he stops him with his staff. The mage counterattacks immediately, wounding Yu's wrist. Our fella feels that having too much attack power isn't good either, and looks for restrictions on Gusu's skills. Chow wonders if the black aura lingering around the mage is the key. Having seen through the skills, he assumes that Gusu might die from a direct punch. Well, the shadow mage happily tells Yu to try it if he's not afraid to die. With that, our necromancer strikes a punch that fails to penetrate a defense wall and confesses that he can see the secret spellcasting Gu is sneakily doing. To verify his guess, Chow challenges the shadow mage not to dodge and to try that rebound skill again. Gusu scoffs at the word dodge and agrees to call Chow dad if he dodges. Our fella strikes another power-packed punch, which Gu immediately stops through defense. It turns out that the mage didn't dodge, and Yu finds that manly enough. But soon enough, it becomes evident who's the boss when Chow strikes another punch that manages to pierce through the mage's shadow guard. Normally, this skill can withstand a full-strength hit from a regular boss, but ironically, it can't withstand a punch from Chow Yu. This leaves the mage in utter astonishment that our guy is more terrifying than a regular boss. After that, our boy finally decides to bring this battle to an end. However, things escalate to an extreme level when the shadow mage spirals out of control, exposing his demonic abilities just to destroy Chow Yu. Gusu is blinded by the greed to be the top scorer of Sioux City and is determined to end Chow. Our guy pulls an ambush attack, but it barely affects the monstrous mage, who has merged with 4 shadow minions and acquired their traits. The shadow mage, dashing crazily towards his opponent, tells Chow that he shows no honor in martial arts and is probably courting his own demise. With that, their punches collide and an immeasurable force bursts forth. Gusu grapples our boy's foot, but Chow impeccably punches the daylights out of him, sending him drifting against the ground. The crowd is left utterly baffled, wondering if they came to watch a SmackDown show with all that grappling or a fight between 2 mages. Amongst the crowd, the assassins who tried to capture the real Xiao Yu seem to be witnessing the gripping fight. They appear confused as to which one is their target. Nonetheless, the level 18 assassin is so impressed by the fight that he wishes for both of the mages to join Bai Zi. On the battlefield, the shadow mage asks Chao what magic he used. The fact that he's matching his strength is not acceptable to him. While our fella thinks it's a draw, Gusu is on a time crunch since his devouring shadow is time-bound. This leaves him with no choice but to go all out and use sacrifice devouring shadows. However, this calls for immediate action as the principal commands the mage to halt at once. It seems to be too late as the shadow mage spirals out of control, fueled by the desire to be the top scorer. That fella burns in his own agony, wishing to be at the same strength as his brother. Scoffing, Chao gets it now and provokes the shadow mage, saying if there's something so precious it's worth risking his life for, he should charge. Consumed by rage, Gusu strikes him, followed by a counterattack by Chao. Both of them seem unstoppable, and the principal can't seem to stop this battle since it seems inevitable that those two will clash. As urgent orders come in to stop them both, Gusu wonders why Chao isn't defeated yet, and our hero wonders the same, admitting that Gusu is the most resilient boss he's encountered. Chao deflects the attack and throws one final punch that breaks Gu's devouring shadow. It is then concluded by the principal that Xiao Yu has a slight edge, announcing that our necromancer is the top mage. Principal Jin shouts at Gusu and calls him a reckless fool for seeking his own doom. Suddenly, in that split second, someone ambushes Chao and knocks him out. The next thing he knows, he opens his eyes in a confined place along with all the other students, including Xiaorong, Gusu, and everyone else. Our fella comes to his senses and, witnessing that they have all been captured, he wonders if this is a deliberate abduction of skilled individuals. It is then that the head of the Baizhe organization comes forward. While Chao doesn't like the idea of an invitation, the girl clarifies that she means no harm. It was his skills that brought him here. She introduces herself as the head of Baizhe in Sioux City, Huazi. As the other students regain consciousness, our guy is surprised to think they have the audacity to abduct students during the major exam, which he finds brazen. Teacher Xiaorang warns Huazi of the repercussions and asks her to release them this instant. The head of Baizhe tells them to rest assured since they'll be freed once they arrive. However, she ghastly threatens the students, saying that if they attempt to flee, they will mournfully be sent to their demise. Zhu Yu then asks the head the reason for dragging them there. Huazi bluntly reveals that all the top colleges need fresh blood, and so does Baizhe. Sassy as ever, the head finds it too much of a hassle to recruit, so she thought it better to grab what's already made. One of the students raises his voice and opposes the idea, finding no reason to join this crap organization they haven't even heard of. However, uttering the truth calls for trouble as a cloaked woman tramples over him, making it clear they don't have a choice. If they refuse, the only way out is death. Huazi warns the students not to even think about escaping to the inner world, mentioning that the handcuffs they are wearing are custom-made. The scene flashes back to earlier, where the supervisors of the major exam fight the intruders. Principal Jintong notices that the enemy is impersonating inspection staff, which leads him to suspect they have a mole on their side. But what's more important to him at the moment is rescuing the examinees. That's when someone from Baizhe enters the scene and calls out Jin Tong, who is also the chief examiner of Sioux City. Principal Jin, pointing an arrow at him, questions who he is and asks why they are targeting the examinees. The man from Baizhe exudes murderous intent as he violently attacks Jin Tong, who thinks it's a phantom. The poor old man goes flying and is forcefully smashed to the ground. In the present scene, Principal Jin Tong regains consciousness and learns that the villains have kidnapped the top 10 examinees, including Chao Yu and Gusu. While Jin seems helpless, Headmaster Zhui Jin and the other principal arrive at the scene. Xu Jinlong believes that because the top 10 examinees are genuine talents, they are not in immediate danger. Given that the enemies were well trained and purposeful, the headmaster suspects this isn't something an ordinary organization could pull off. In the meantime, a member frantically rushes in and reports that students from 4 cities across the country have been kidnapped in the same manner. It's likely the same organization. Upon hearing this, Principal Tong demands an immediate investigation and that the safety of the 10 candidates be assured. Inside the vehicle where the candidates are being held, a physical cultivator gets too confident and attempts to break his handcuffs. However, he gets humbled after putting in every ounce of strength and failing to break them. At the same time, our guy effortlessly breaks his own handcuffs, calling this Bai Z stuff pretty shoddy. The physical cultivator, jaw-dropped, questions his own existence and wonders who the real cultivator is. After that, our guy helps everyone chop off their handcuffs with his spear. Zhu Yu points out that there's one person left, Gu Su, who keeps his pride and refuses help from Chao. In the meantime, Chao Yu pierces through the vehicle from behind and escapes along with all the other members. That's when Lady Hua Ci commands her man to stop the car and immediately jumps out with her gun. She witnesses that Chao Yu and all the other candidates have broken free from the custom handcuffs. The head is left in disbelief since even a level 20 physical cultivator shouldn't be capable of breaking those. She questions Chao on how the hell he did that. Well, our guy wishes he could tell Hua Ci so she could sleep peacefully at night, but sadly, it's time for their departure. That's how all 10 candidates teleport to the inner world, and the Baizhe head can't do anything to stop them. By the time they come out of the inner world, Huasi asserts that the people from Sioux City will have already arrived. With murderous intent, she vows to remember Chao Yu, The scene then takes us to an inner world, and it appears that Chow has been separated from the rest, meaning this dungeon is randomly teleporting them. Our guy is given a mission: head to Coffin Mountain to stop the resurrection of the drought demon. He walks behind corpse herders as a spirit and dwells on the possibility that if he destroys that NPC's bronze gong and shatters the soul-capturing bell, he might be able to move freely. Just as our guy loses his composure, his eyes meet with a young boy's. The boy freaks out and calls his master, claiming that the deity of joy has risen from the dead. The master scolds the boy for uttering nonsense in the middle of the night, and reminds the kid that when a corpse turns malevolent, it grows fur and its nails and teeth elongate. While the master believes his teachings have gone to the dogs, the boy insists the deity of joy had a big knife in his hand. The corpse herder doesn't buy it and states that the stiff body of the deity can't perform any actions. After that, Chow assumes these corpse herders are NPCs and decides to follow them to get into the storyline quickly. With that, our boy's phantom moves along with them until they reach a temple. The old man heads out for a bit and warns the boy to keep an eye on the deity of joy. As the boy begs the deity not to rise from the dead, abruptly, the temple's door bangs open. Another old man barges in with a coffin and asks the boy about his relationship with the corpse herder, Gu Xiu Xuan. The young corpse herder confesses that Gu Xiu is his master and learns that this old man is a coffin bearer. The coffin bearer remarks that Gu Xiu's disciple has some discernment and discovers that Master Gu had stepped out for a bit. Just then, the coffin bearer diverts his attention to Chow's spirit and notices that the body isn't decaying. The old man assumes the body must have passed away recently. Suddenly, the young corpse herder warns the coffin bearer not to disrespect the deity of joy. The moment he says this, Feng Li, the masculine boy with the coffin bearer, frantically throws away the coffin. He refuses to believe such a thing and says it's just a corpse. The young boy strictly warns them that it's a great disrespect to the deity. The old man examines Chow Yu's corpse. Given how handsome our boy is, the coffin bearer plans to sell it to a wealthy family for a good price and asks Feng Li to take the body away. The boy, however, jumps to save the corpse and tries to knock some conscience into them for literally robbing a dead body. He clarifies that Master Gu Xiu won't let them get away with this. Feng Li, being more powerful, slaps the boy across the face. But the boy remains firm and declares he will fight Feng with his life if he dares to take one more step. That's when the big guy kicks the boy in the gut, smashing him away. He mocks the kid for having so little ability yet still acting tough. It is then that the story takes a surprising turn. Chow Yu's corpse lets out a sigh, signaling that he has had enough. Our guy removes the tag on his head, freezing everyone in their tracks. The young boy, in a frenzy, states that the deity of joy has risen from the dead. Meanwhile, our boy switches to action mode and responds that he didn't intend to intervene. However, he can't let these bastards sell his body since he still needs to go to Coffin Mountain. With that, Chow dashes towards the old man, who casts a spell, Falling Phoenix Demon Plague, to see if he's actually alive. While our guy hits the old man, he doesn't realize that Feng Li is racing towards him. At that moment, Feng forcefully hits Chow with his morning stick, and strangely, that shakes our guy to the core. Baffled, Feng wonders if he's a corpse or a human, and Chow seems to have the same question. In the meantime, the system materializes. Chow's corpse state is activated, and he gains an extra 100 defense points. The realization then hits Chow. He understands that's how he was being controlled by that soul-capturing bell. Moreover, this negative state doesn't affect Chow at all since he has enough HP and mana. On the other hand, the coffin bearer commands Feng Li to hold off the corpse so he can use a suppression technique to subdue the monster. Feng strikes Chow with the stick as their weapons clash. The big guy calls out to the old man because he can't hold Chow off much longer. As Feng turns back, the old bastard, Pu Tianrui, runs away to save his own ass, betraying his partner. But without Chow's permission, Pu can't escape. Chow launches his spear, cutting the old man in half. After defeating the NPC, our boy also deals with Feng in hand-to-hand combat and finds a spirit-suppressing coffin. Chow decides to open the coffin, and to his surprise, he witnesses Zhu Yu lying in there. Zhao Yu wakes up immediately and gets mad at Chow for recognizing her in the worst way possible. Later, Zhu can't understand why she was sleeping in the coffin, but our guy unravels the mystery, predicting that the 10 of them who entered the dungeon turned into corpses, becoming part of the mission. Meanwhile, the young corpse herder is left slack-jawed when he finds another deity of joy rising from the dead. He asks Chow what he can do, and our necromancer instructs the boy to take them to Coffin Mountain. Just then, Master Gu Xiu arrives, and the young herder informs him that he captured this deity of joy all by himself. The master is amazed by his capability and shrugs it off since they have other important matters. Moments later, at Coffin Mountain in Shaoxing Village, a priest is praying and orders Gu Xiu to go inside. The master commands his young disciple to take care of these deities of joy. As soon as he begins swinging the bell, Chow Yu witnesses his other friends' corpses, and they're all glad to see him. The bell awakens all the members while the poor boy is totally freaked out, witnessing numerous deities rising and becoming convinced he's gone crazy. The talismans gather and prepare for the deities of joy. It appears it's the 5th time they're calling spirits, and the senior brother instructs them not to make any mistakes. They're all prepared to venture into the emperor's tomb. After night falls, they march toward the tomb. While everything does seem spooky, Master Gushu informs the senior talisman that they have brought the deities of joy and asks permission to leave. However, the senior talisman asks Gu where he's planning to go, which catches him by surprise. Well, there turns out to be a preposterous plot twist. The old man kneels to the ground in order to call the supreme ruler, the spirit of the heavenly emperor. That bastard talisman uses the yin corpses, which are Chao and the others, as a medium and human blood as a sacrifice. Perplexed, Master Gu asks the senior if he's trying to sacrifice them. The others realize there's no time to talk, and they need to escape this instant. The betrayal by their fellow senior was totally unexpected, but that freaking asshole stoops even lower when he summons evil corpses to make their escape impossible. The corpse herders fight among themselves, and Zhu Yu asks Chao what they're supposed to do. According to the mission, Yu states that they need to prevent the drought demon from awakening, and speculates that the drought demon could be the heavenly emperor the senior spoke of. Abruptly, they're attacked by the evil corpses, and our fella defeats one of them in close combat. As the 10 of them get involved in the fight with evil corpses, the senior brother is about to begin the sacrifice with 9 yin corpses that have also entered the tomb. However, he witnesses the yin corpses fighting the evil monsters and realizes they're freaking alive. The old man watches his plan get ruined before his eyes. In order to execute his sinister stratagem, he paints something with a brushstroke. While Chao's sluggish movements make it hard to fight the evil corpses due to his cursed corpse state, the senior brother strokes the brush 3 times. The first stroke shakes the world, the second, created by the founder to summon the great god and mobilize the army, and the third stroke to avoid the evil spirits so that the corpses do not even dare to look or intervene. That stroke of magic halts the yin corpses in their tracks, and the old man finds them to be perfect nourishment for his master. Tension hangs heavy, and Chao senses that if this continues, that old man might bring the drought demon to life. As the dust settles, Master Gushu turns out to be alive, which our boy immediately notices. Xiao reveals they're here to stop the drought demon from being revived, and asks Gu if he has a way to lift the restrictions on them. That's when Gu unravels that when the drought demon shows up, it burns everything within 1,000 miles. Not to mention that the drought demon is one of the 4 great corpse ancestors, which means if he emerges, not only will they all die, but the entire world's populace will find no peace. The master urges that the most important thing is to stop the drought demon's resurrection. Gushu immediately removes the forbidden curse with talisman magic by drawing his own blood. With the help of this magic, the corpse controlling method will be ineffective on Chao and the others for a short time. Our guy assures the master that as long as he's here, he won't let the drought demon leave the tomb. Gushu then commands all other brothers to cast the talisman magic, release, on all the members. The evil senior brother prepares to resurrect the master, but our fella intervenes in his malicious scheme and punches the old dude so hard that he goes flying. The senior mage crashes right onto the coffin, but the worst is yet to come. His blood spills on it. It turns out that the old man himself becomes the sacrifice, washing the coffin with the descendant's bloodline, hence invoking the heavenly emperor. And then the inevitable happens, what everyone was terrified of. The drought demon bursts out of the coffin, and the players fail in their first mission. The drought demon resurrects, and the player's task is modified. Kill the epic boss who has crazy stats and is not easy to defeat. One of the players screams out of fear, catching the demon's attention. The demon chases after the boy, who screams insanely, until he spots Chao Yu standing in the distance. That fella cunningly runs in that direction to divert the demon's attention toward our hero, thinking it's better Chao than him. Our dude gets pissed off and calls him a bastard. Shortly after, the drought demon comes at him, and Chao Yu throws a slamming punch that holds back the monster for a while. But soon after, the demon breathes out a peculiar green gas. As our boy is seconds away from being swept up in the breeze, Zhu Yu warns him to watch out because it's corpse poison. Shorong casts her eternal ice wall to freeze the epic boss, and Ziwei immediately casts her healing spell on Chao after he leaps back. In the meantime, the demon breaks through the ice wall. The physical cultivator steps in to fight the epic boss, but after he lands an attack with his shadow magic, it barely does any damage. Enraged, the drought demon roars, inflicting corpse ancestors' pressure on the players. To make matters worse, all the players' attributes are halved under the crushing pressure. Chao is mad that his HP is also halved, and the cultivator dude notes that he can't deal much damage with his current attributes. While this mission calls for tactical collaboration, our dude simply smacks the demon like it's a punching bag. The cultivator is left slack-jawed and asks Chao if he really is a necromancer and not a pro street fighter. It's utterly astonishing that the damage our boy dealt with halved attributes is more than 10 times the physical cultivator's strongest attack. The demon lands a blow on Chao, who drifts back with brute force but takes 0 damage. Yang Xiangdi asserts that apart from Chao Yu, no one else can break the drought demon's defense. That's when our guy maliciously glances at Gu Su. He dashes towards Gu Su and sends him flying like a football towards the monster. The shadow mage immediately forms a defense. Our hero didn't expect these shadow minions to be so useful here, but even the shadow mage couldn't hold on for long, taking relentless hits from the demon. During this time, Chao waits for Xiaoreng and Xiangdi to go next. Seconds later, Xiao accumulates Ice Fury, and Yang casts sand-binding magic to restrain the drought demon for a while. Our guy is impressed by Gusu's resilience and how he's been taking hits silently. Promptly, Xiangdi's mana gets depleted due to the halved attributes, leaving everything to Brother Yu. Our fella gets into action for another smackdown show. Chao lands a powerful blow to the resurrected demon and another, until he's down to one last blow. The master tries to stop Yu from killing the drought demon himself, and volunteers to do it instead, but it's already too late. Our boy has already landed the final blow and the boss drought demon is defeated. He gets a reward of 20 attribute points for clearing the Coffin Mountain dungeon successfully. Chao's rating is now A level, and he's rewarded with 50 plus EXP and 5 free attribute points. The old man rushes towards Yu and informs him that the person who kills the drought demon will be cursed. Our boy is confused as to what he's talking about when the curse lifts from the demon's corpse and enters his body. The system reveals that Chao will die in 30 days, and he asks the master if there's a way to lift the curse. The master refuses, asserting that according to historical records, no one has survived the drought demon's curse. Xiangdi and others hurry towards our necromancer, who hopes that Kyoto University should be able to solve a level 20 boss's curse. His thoughts are interrupted when Yang tells him to watch out for the soul core that is being taken away by Gusu. The Shadow Mage takes possession of the corpse's ancestor's ring, which can steal 50% of opponent's agility for 10 seconds. It's an A-level gear, and now Gusu has it, to which Xiangdi objects since he didn't help at all during the boss fight. The greedy mage tries to get away with it and is teleporting to the other world when Yang takes hold of him using his power, Yellow Spring Swamp. Gusu has an impression that Chao and the rest of them can't beat him since they've been battling the demon for so long. Nonetheless, he uses his new gear to mercilessly steal Yu's agility. However, his agility turns out to be only 4.5 and the purple-haired guy doesn't seem to be expecting that. As he's taken aback, our main character sees this as an opportunity to hit him and lands a punch on his face. Gusu is baffled as to how he's still able to fight and wonders how much HP he has left. The Shadow Mage plans on running away now that he is losing and he's about to do that. Xiaorong halts him using her powers. Chao lets the guy know that he's made a lot of enemies and leaps at him. Gusu uses Sacrifice, Shadow, and Snare, and despite that, the Ancestor's ring is taken away from him and he just leaves after threatening our boy. Chao observes the ring and is delighted as he discovers that this is a god-tier control skill. He thanks the Ice Stage Mage while she warns him to beware of Gusu as he holds grudges. With that, they're all teleported out of the dungeon and make it back to the real world where the principals and the examiners await them. As they return, Jin Tong assures them that Sioux City will give them an explanation for this incident. They claim not to let any of those responsible go since this incident was very serious, and the higher-ups are already angry. The major exam is revealed to have been suspended, hence they decide to escort the students directly to their respective universities. Teacher Xiaorong warns Chao to be careful since Gusu holds grudges and will definitely try to get back at him. Yu ensures her that the Shadow Mage can't cause any trouble in his hands. On the other hand, we see Huaqi in a rough state, reporting to her higher-up that they've all escaped from the inner world. The higher-up, who's met Chao once, admits that he didn't think he had anything special back then. He realizes that Yu is truly the son of Qiao Anqing and is getting more and more interested in him. The scene is then shifted to Kyoto University, where we see admission teacher Peng Liangji welcoming our boy to the university. Chao requests Peng to take him to Principal Ji Pinyang since he has something very important. In the principal's office, Yu shows Ji the curse that the demon boss did on him before he died. Pinyang is taken aback as he hears that because he's aware that anyone with the curse will die within 30 days. This catches Peng by surprise as well, and he desperately asks the principal if there's a way to lift the curse. The old man, after thinking for a bit, confesses that the most reliable way is to find a sage's protection item. But since it's an S-rank item, he guesses that it probably won't be available on the market. At that moment, Chao recalls that he used the sage's protection during the battle with Shundong, and realizes how unfortunate the situation is because it's such a life-saving item that no one would be willing to sell it. After a while, Ji Pinyang informs Yu that he asked some of his friends, but none of them seem to have sage protection. Our boy is curious if there's really nothing they can do that can lift that curse. Pinyang reveals that there is a way, but he believes that sending him there is like sending him to his death. Yu insists on trying it and asks about its whereabouts, to which it's revealed to be a D-level dungeon. Our necromancer thinks that he can probably get through this too since he has completed D-level tasks in E-level dungeons before. The principal makes it clear that there's a complete difference between D-level tasks in E-level dungeons and real D-level dungeons. According to him, they're not comparable at all. Plus, he states that most people who enter D-level dungeons are mid-stage players, and as an early-stage player, hence, he would likely be treated as an NPC to be farmed. The old man admits that Yu's equipment isn't low level after all, and as a reflex action, our boy gets in a fighting position. That definitely offends the principal as he lashes out on Chao and questions him if he thinks as the principal of Kyoto University he would covet a student's equipment. Our boy excuses himself, saying that it was just a reflex. He doesn't give up and asks Ji the name of that dungeon as he still wants to try it. Principal Ji calls him a brat as he activates his powers and that affects him significantly. Chao's eyes hurt and it's like there's a sword stirring inside. This makes our boy wonder if this is the strength of the top swordsman in the inner world. Pingyang is taken by surprise as he sees Yu still standing when even Peng sits down, not being able to withstand the immense aura. Our necromancer asks the old man if he can give that dungeon a try, and that seems to have been enough to convince him. Ji heals Chao and lets him know that the name of that D-level dungeon is Lake of Purification. Entering the Lake of Purification can wash away all negative statuses from players, but he warns him that there are hardly any early-stage players inside. Xiao reassures the principal and tells him not to worry, and as he's about to head out, Ji gives him an item that would help him a lot in the dungeon. The item is a chunky pendant, an A-level item that increases skill power by 30%, casting speed by 20%, and even has special effects like resisting mental control. Yu objects that the item is too valuable, and Pingyang lets him know that he's lending it to him, and that he would have to return it when he comes back. Xiao thanks him, and with that, he enters the Lake of Purification without a second thought. The system welcomes the players to the Purification Rainforest and instructs them to follow the rules of it. Rule number 1 says that if they hear someone calling them from behind, do not turn around. Rule 2 states that if any of their companions are out of everyone's sight for more than a minute, be cautious of them. Rule 3 states that they should quickly familiarize themselves with and remember their companions' behavior and habits. Rule 4 says that if they suddenly hear strange singing or murmuring in their ear, they should immediately start cursing with the most vicious language until it stops. Rule 5 states that if any strange people appear in the rainforest and ask them questions, do not answer. Rule 6 says that according to players, the Purification Rainforest is very safe, and no accidents occur. Chow Xiao, level 22 mid-stage Blademaster objects on the fact that the system is calling it safe because everyone who encounters danger dies here and can't report back. A white-haired girl named Qin Qianshui, a level 22 mid-stage water mage, introduces herself to her teammates. Following that, Mi Yuan, Tang Lan, and Wu Chengfu do the same, with all of them being mid-stage sword, wood, and blade master, respectively. At last, Chao introduces himself and reveals being a level 13 early-stage necromancer. Chao complains as he discovers that the system matched him up with an early-stage teammate. But Mi Wen believes that even though our boy is an early-stage mage, as long as he can summon enough undead, he can perform at a mid-stage level. Xiao wonders if they're all attracted by his looks or something when Mi draws her sword out and holds it against his mouth. She warns to cut his tongue out if he keeps talking nonsense. Xiao, on the other hand, makes a flattering pose and questions if being handsome is a crime. Ma Yuan instructs Yu to follow them while Xiao plans on taking revenge for being disgraced. Qin informs everyone that the Lake of Purification is said to be in the center of the Purification Rainforest, hence she suggests that they don't break any of the system's taboos. She gets curious as to why an early-stage mage like Yu would come to a D-level dungeon, and as he's about to respond to her, he notices that there are 2 of him. Everyone witnesses there being 2 Chaos, but they can't seem to tell which one is real. Chao suggests that they kill them both, and Qin remembers that he's a necromancer, hence, as long as he can use his necromancy, then he's the real one. Yu's doppelganger declares to summon the undead, a trick the doppelganger performs which our boy didn't expect the fake to have. Knowing that no one would believe that he's the real one since he can't use that specific trick yet, he still decides to fight. Chao decides to beat his doppelganger to death, and the fake is taken by surprise as he witnesses his strength. At last, our boy manages to defeat the fake, and it seems that killing it might trigger something special. Yu wonders if something got into his green dragon crescent blade, and that's when his teammates realize which was the real one. Mi Yuan is curious how a necromancer like him would use this kind of a weapon, and since it was a level 22 monster, she asks him how he killed it with physical strength only. Chao proudly reveals that he's had an extraordinary physique since he was young. He's busy telling me stories from when he was a kid when something releases from the dead monster and gets inside Mi Yuan. The mid-stage swordmaster strikes her sword at our necromancer, which greatly reduces his HP. He finds the attack power of a mid-stage swordmaster terrifying and is glad that he has enough HP or else he would have been killed. Chao believes that she's been possessed by an evil spirit while Wu suggests that they kill her because if they don't, they all will die here. Qin uses her technique, the water dragon surround, to trap Mi, and as she's trapped, they decide to strike her. But she breaks through it and uses Luoling Dragon Shin sword technique, which causes all of them to be thrown back. That's when Chao shows up and punches her right across the face. Chao's punch makes Mi Yuan unconscious, and that shocks Chao as our boy is still at an early stage, yet he knocks out a mid-stage swordmaster with one punch. The thing that went inside Mi releases from her body, and Qin immediately tells Yu to kill it. Our boy strikes his spear into it and wonders if this is the ghost that took control of her mind. Changshu confesses that Mi is the strongest among them, and yet she couldn't resist, which makes her wonder what would happen to them. She asks her if she's alright, but the swordmaster doesn't look so good. Hence she heals her with the blessing of water. Mai thanks Qin, and with that, they continue their journey again. Qiao warns everyone to be careful, and Yuan thanks him for saving her, because if it weren't for him, the two of her mates would have killed her while she was controlled. Yu gets all confident as he hears that when she confesses that his punch really hurt. She wonders how a necromancer has such strength, and our boy just lets out that he was born strong. After a while, Cao and Wu are left behind, and they blame the ladies for not checking if everyone is keeping up. As they're thinking about what to do, a rare monster named Yellow Weasel shows up in front of them. The monster is level 29, and it seems that he's seeking a title. He questions the two humans if he looks like a human or a god. Cao Xiao draws his middle finger at it and insults him when the weasel aggressively attacks them. Chung Fu tells his teammate not to talk to it and reminds him that the dungeon warned them not to answer random questions. Xiao leaps towards the monster, not being scared of him, but is hit by it with his sword being shattered. The weasel then exhales something out, and that makes the surrounding all stinky, and it turns out to be poisonous. Both Cao and Wu are beaten by the rare monster. Meanwhile, Cao hears someone fighting as he stops walking, and as they look back, they realize the two blade masters are missing. They find them both severely injured on the ground and spot the yellow weasel as well. The ugly monster asks them if he looks like a human or god to them, and Yu tells him that he looks like a 4'11", white-haired, red-eyed, delicate, beast-eared little loli. The weasel manifests that description, and that pisses him off as he sprints towards our boy. Kin warns Yu to beware since it beat those two blade masters. The wood mage uses her power vine bind to stop the weasel, but her vines are destroyed. The monster attacks Cao, but he's not affected by it at all and asks him if he didn't eat his veggies. With that, he hits the weasel with ridiculous strength, and that leaves both the ladies in utter disbelief. Chung Fu finds it impossible for an early-stage mage to have this much strength, and Cao is baffled as to what the deal is with this guy. Cao steps on the weasel, inspecting it, and remarks that this dungeon has all sorts of weird stuff. Meanwhile, all his team members look at him with shock, as they wonder if he's possessed by something. While Qiao is busy inspecting the weasel's dead body, Cao and Wu get suspicious of him. They consider the possibility that the real Cao was killed, and the Cao they're with is the fake one. Our boy walks towards them when Cao stops him and pulls out his sword. He questions him if he's a monster because the fact that he killed an early-stage necromancer and defeated a level 20 monster with his bare hands is unbelievable to him. Yu wonders what he's talking about and asks him why would a monster save him in the first place. Cao believes he's putting on a show for them since this purification forest is so creepy, they can't help but be cautious. He tells Cao to prove to them that he's not a monster, or else he wants him to leave the team. Xin doesn't think our boy is a monster, and Mi agrees with her, but Wu Chengfu finds it suspicious for an early-stage necromancer to have such strength. In order to prove that he's not a monster, Cao reveals all the items he has and questions if monsters have these. That is enough to satisfy all of them, but the Blade Masters are disappointed as they find that out. Just then, their eyes land on the A-level item Cao is wearing. They both make excuses for their suspicious behavior and suggest that they move on their way. Yu feels that they're up to something. Meanwhile, they both have their eyes on his items. They believe that he has at least 2 A-level items, and that makes them wonder how an early stage has so many A-level items. Cao admits that he did not expect to run into such a lucky break in this dungeon. They assume that since Cao is an early stage mage, they can handle him and decide to split his items 50-50. Chengfu seems unsure about being able to beat him since he killed that yellow weasel so easily. They contemplate on when they should make their move, and Cao Xiao instructs Wu to wait for his signal. They all stop in their tracks as they witness the sight in front of them. On the Lake of Purification, they see what they assume to be souls of the players who tried to complete the Lake of Purification dungeon and failed. This terrifies them, and then they spot an altar with a stone that has something written on it. It's an ancient script, and Mi translates it that only by sacrificing a living being can they complete their dungeon tasks. It's revealed that those wandering by the lake are lake slaves, and those who are sacrificed will become lake slaves, trapped here forever. As Cao and Wu hear that, they see this as a perfect opportunity to take Cao down. They leap onto Yu, leaving everyone baffled while Cao reminds them that he even saved them. They corner him onto the altar, but they don't know how to activate the altar. Cao asks Mi how to activate the altar, but she doesn't tell him that. Nonetheless, the Blade Masters decide to kill our necromancer since it's a sacrifice. Cao remembers Principal Ji's words, but he didn't expect to run into people like them in the dungeon. Chengfu tries to make Yu give up fighting by telling him that he's a necromancer who can't even summon undead. He questions him if he thinks he can challenge 2 mid-stage players with just his physical strength. Xin wonders what they should do now, and Yuan lets her know that since our boy helped her, she's going to help him. Cao and Wu attack Cao simultaneously, while he defends himself from their vicious attacks. Chengfu tells our boy to surrender and hand over his items and claims to spare his life if he did. He realizes that they were after his items all along. Xiao uses Luoling Dragon Slash to attack him but is shoved back when Mi Yuan strikes her sword at him. The Blade Master questions why she's interfering, and since Cao helped her, she finds nothing wrong in helping him. Cao asks her if she doesn't want to complete the dungeon task, but she states that she'd rather not complete the dungeon task if it requires this method. Among all this, the wood mage, Tang Lan, observes the situation quietly. Meanwhile, Wu is pushed back by Chao's fierce attack as he lets out that Chao keeps talking about sacrifice, yet he didn't even ask his opinion. Chengfu is kinda intimidated by our boy, but his mate reminds him that they're dealing with just an early stage mage, and they can take him down together. That's when Mi Yuan butts in again and fights off Xiao. As they're busy fighting, Tang Lan activates the altar by pressing a button. Everyone is confused as to what's happening when the system notifies them that the altar has been activated. Chao, when seeing everybody in pain, wonders if this is a mental attack. It doesn't affect him since he has the Chongqi pendant for immunity. Chao calls Tang a witch and questions what she did, to which she confesses that she just wants to clear the dungeon task. Just then, she orders her vines to grow and traps both the blade masters inside them. Realization hits Yu and he wonders how Lan knows how to activate the altar. The second rule of the dungeon is recalled to him, which says that if any of their companions are out of everyone's sight for more than a minute, be cautious of them. Xiao finds the fact that she found the altar suspicious, and it feels to him that it's almost like she knew it was here all along. A possibility crosses his mind that she's been in this dungeon before, and as she's about to leave, Yu breaks through the vine trap and sprints towards her. Tang finds it impossible for him to have escaped through her vines and the fact that he is not affected by the altar. Xiao remarks that he can ask her the same and questions how she knows how to activate the altar. He guesses from the moment they entered the dungeon, she planned to sacrifice them. That's when Tang Lan reveals her true face and uses her technique, Wild Slash technique, to trap him inside. Our necromancer is not able to cut through these vines, and that's when Lan shoots a parasitic wood seed at him. She tells him to stop struggling and be her sacrifice while Chao thinks this is the perfect chance to utilize the corpse ancestor's ring. Tang's agility is decreased by 50%, and knowing that it's only for 10 seconds, our boy decides to act instantly. He activates the Chongqi pendant that increases his skill power by 30%. Lan underestimates Qiao since he's just an early-stage mage and believes he can do nothing even if her agility is decreased. But what she witnesses is beyond her expectations. Tang Lan uses her guardian vine armor to protect herself, but Qiao breaks through her defense and punches her ever so intensely. This baffles the wood mage as she wonders how an early-stage necromancer can deal such insane damage. She sees Yu sprinting towards her and tries to use her guardian vine, but it's already too late. Our boy hits her again and again, and she questions if he's even a man, seeing how he has no pity for women. Chao continues to punch her, knowing that he's dead if he doesn't beat her, while Qin and Mi witness the scene with pure fright. Just then, the corpse ancestor's ring effect ends, but judging by her condition, Yu assumes that she can't attack anymore. Tang Lan swears to remember his name because even her dad never hit her like this, and with that, she teleports away. Our boy feels thankful to have the principal's Chongqi pendant because if it weren't for it, he'd be toast. He turns towards the ladies and lets them know that they're safe, but they tell him to stay away from them, while Chao assures them that he really doesn't hit women. They go back to the altar and realize that the two teammates, the Blade Masters, were sacrificed. Mai asks Yu about what he's gonna do, and it seems that he plans on destroying the altar. He believes it shouldn't exist, and with his blade, he eradicates the altar. The system congratulates him for successfully absorbing the life energy of the purification altar. Chao is notified to level up and is rewarded 10 free attribute points. He's amazed by the fact that the leftover energy gave him so many attribute points and leveled him up. However, he's still thinking about the energy that went into the Green Dragon Crescent Blade. Qin thanks our boy for saving them as they might have also been sacrificed by that evil altar. They declare to have decided to give up on the dungeon task, while Yu lets them know that it's no problem. With that, he decides to head to the Lake of Purification. As Qin witnesses the Purification Lake, she guesses that the souls of those wandering players must have been freed when the altar was destroyed. Chao is about to take his shirt off when Mi freaks out and draws her sword at him. She questions what he's doing, and our boy quickly clarifies that he's been cursed, hence he's here to remove it. He shows them the curse on his body in order to prove himself. The Swordmaster confesses that she thought Yu was about to go wild. Our necromancer dives straight into the water, and Qin suggests that they soak themselves too, since she believes in this creepy place. They might have some unknown curses on them. Chao witnesses the curse fading, but the wood seed Tang planted, he can't seem to get rid of it. Nonetheless, he decides to deal with it as time comes. Meanwhile, the water mages, as they're soaking, thank God for our boy because of how creepy this dungeon was. Mi, however, doesn't think he's exactly a saint, and that's exactly when Chao bumps into them. They panic and hit him while the poor guy justifies that it was they who swam over to him. Before they leave, Qin takes contact info of both her dungeon mates. And as they're exiting the dungeon, the system notifies that the dungeon isn't cleared yet, and exiting it now will forfeit any rewards. Chao decides to come back and explore this dungeon later as it's too weird. With that, he returns to Principal G's office, who is very happy to see his student making it back alive. The principal can't help but admit that Qiao is no joke, given that an early-stage necromancer made it out of a D-level dungeon alive. Well, now that he's back, the principal asks Yu to give back his item, and our guy couldn't be more grateful for the pendant, since he managed to survive the Lake of Purification because of it. Honestly, our fella doesn't wish to return the pendant, gripping tightly to it, while the principal yanks it, trying to snatch what's his. Only after a good beating, our guy gives back the pendant. With a bumpy head and broken teeth, Yu asks him about the number on the pendant, to which Principal G answers that it's an enhancement. These enhancement stones are used to increase its power since it's a high-level grade. Deep down, our boy feels like the Green Dragon Crescent Blade's enhancement seems different from what the principal mentioned. Nonetheless, Pinyang learns that Chao's curse is lifted and asks him to leave. Later, our necromancer heads outside and someone seems to be waiting for him. It turns out to be Longxiang from Sioux City and reminds him that he was there at the major exam. Chao immediately realizes that it's senior brother Long who was the top warrior in last year's major exam. The blonde-haired guy affirms our fella to reach out for help if he runs into trouble and exchanges their contact info. After they depart on different paths, Chao feels that senior bro seems pretty nice. However, from Longxiang's expression, it was rather the opposite. Later, at night, Chao Yu ponders upon the previous days, like how the curse is lifted. He plans to ignore the wood seed and focus on getting stronger as fast as possible. The next day, Teacher Zhang, the advisor, calls out Chao Yu and asks him to explain why an undead mage like him chose a physical training major. Our guy reasons that a mage who can't fight up close isn't a true mage, and without a strong body and physical strength, he can't protect himself. This statement wasn't convincing enough, and the advisor reminds Yu that university education is about specializing in one field. Even though Chao's file says he has superhuman strength, Teacher Zhang believes a necromancer like him won't last in the physical major, but our guy is adamant to choose this field. To be more exact, he's pretty much doomed and is afraid that if his necromancer advisor finds out he can't even summon a skeleton, he might want to just freaking kill him. Nonetheless, the advisor gives up the argument and hands the student IDs to everyone. Teacher Zhang elaborates that at Kyoto University, everything from food, drinks, to exchanging gear and skills requires credits. Smirking, Ma Fei asks the advisor how much it costs to get 1 credit, daydreaming that he can trade for like 1,000,000 credits. At that moment, the teacher slaps a reality check across Ma Fei's face when he uncovers that credits can only be earned by taking school-issued tasks and passing their assignments. Poor Fei breaks down when he realizes his wealth is totally useless here. Just then, the physical training instructor calls out the students to gather, and Chao rushes there. Strangely, a necromancy professor, Shen Jianshu, discreetly observes Chao, who's creeped out as he feels that someone shady is watching him. The physical training class begins with teacher Wan Li Hao, a level 35 late-stage instructor. While the instructor looks grumpy, surprisingly, he's also super blunt when he makes it clear that he doesn't accept trash in his class. Wan Li Hao gives his students a tough task and states that he's unleashing his aura. If they're able to stand still and endure it for 5 minutes, they can stay in his class. One of the students curiously questions the consequences if they fail the task, to which the instructor answers that he'll personally go to the admin office and help them transfer to another class. Shortly, Wan unleashes his aura just for the demo and the students begin to panic, unsure if they can handle the intense aura for 5 minutes. That's when a big guy, Lin Lang, advises his fellow mates not to panic and assures them that they might have a chance if they work together. Teacher Wan is impressed by Lang for having the guts to step up like that and finds him promising for staying calm under pressure. Lin Lang gathers everyone around to make a plan and, assuming that facing Wan head-on is a bad idea, he suggests splitting into pairs and pulling him in different directions for 5 minutes. Everyone thinks it's a good idea, and they make balanced groups so they can all pass together. While all the big guys split into groups, everyone ignores Chao Yu. But Lin Lang spots him and decides to team up with our guy. The big guy questions Chao about his level and why he's so skinny as a physical trainer. It is then our fella gets too real and reveals that he's a necromancer, which grasps everyone's attention. Lin Lang thinks he might have misheard, but unfortunately, that's the truth. As Chao says that he's a level 14 necromancer, poor Lin wishes to bump his head into a wall since our guy puts him in a tough spot. Our hero assures Lin that his strength is stronger than most early-stage physical trainers, but nobody believes him. The fellow students begin gossiping about Chao, calling him a scrawny necromancer and feel bad for Lin Lang. Meanwhile, our poor fella is hella pissed because nobody believes him after he spills the truth. Nonetheless, Lin decides to protect Chao and buy him some time to summon the undead. Just then, the time ends and teacher Wan Li Hao releases his aura, 10 times stronger than the demo. The fierce aura bursts forth, targeted at our boy. Chao feels nervous since Wan is aiming his first punch at him. However, Lin jumps in front of him and takes the hit. The other students find it surprising Lin was knocked back like that, and get scared by the tough entrance exam. They wonder what will happen to Chao Yu if Lin couldn't take it either. Instructor Wan was hard on them on purpose, as he thought the freshmen needed a good beating so they won't get too full of themselves later on. The punch wind glides further, and while our boy stands prepared, he's shocked that just the wind from Wan's punch took off that much HP. He assumes that it's the power of a late-stage physical trainer and manages to block the punch. But this doesn't settle well with Wan. The reason he targeted Chao was that he was a necromancer, and the fact that he survived his punch hurts his pride. That's when Wan plans to hinder Chao somehow and strikes a punch wind, 10 times stronger, that moves towards him at crazy speed. Using his HP, our guy resists the force jaw-droppingly, and other students can't help but admire Chao's strength for withstanding 2 rounds of teacher Wan's punch wind that even Lin Lang couldn't handle. Shortly, our hero is able to defeat the teacher once again as the punch wind scatters. He wonders if Li Hao is using him as an example. Well, our guy triggers Wan and asks him if he didn't have enough for breakfast. Gasping, Lin Lang warns Yu not to piss off the teacher, or else he's gonna get hurt. On the other hand, teacher Li Hao admits that Necromancer Punk has got some guts. He wonders how the hell he survived his 2 punches and assures Chao Yu that if he can take the next hit, he'll make sure to look out for him at Kyoto University. The teacher and Chao come face to face and Wan unleashes his strength to its full extent, which is clashed by our guy's punch. Well, what happens next leaves everyone wide-eyed. The punch rips Chao's shirt, but that's just the start. He goes flying at an insane speed, inflicting overwhelming damage. One brutal punch and our boy is nearly undone. Teacher Wan witnesses the collapsed Chao and asks Lin to take him to the infirmary. While the teacher regrets fighting his student, at that moment, he witnesses our boy coughing up blood and standing back on his feet. Everyone gasps with disbelief since Yu is a necromancer. With only 240 HP left out of 4,000, Chao smirks and proudly utters that he took the punch. Covered in bruises, he endures it well, and moments later, Chao sticks out his middle finger and experiences the devastating repercussions. Through Chao's blurry vision, we could see the professor scolding Wan Li Hao for going all out on a student. Later, our boy opens up his eyes in the hospital, and Wan Li Hao tells him not to be so tense. As promised, the teacher has Chao's back after he took the punch. It is then Necromancy Professor Shen pops out and tells Li Hao that this student doesn't need his protection. The physical training teacher mentions that Chao Yu has passed the test, so he's officially his student. Professor Shen argues since our guy is a necromancer, but Wan doesn't give a damn about Yu's class because, with a body like that, he's ought to be in physical training. The professor curiously asks Chao why a perfectly good necromancer would join the physical training class. Our boy simply reasons that physical training suits him better, not to mention he has had superhuman strength ever since he was a kid. This angers the necromancy professor, and he abruptly summons a dragon. Shen Jianshu demonstrates what it's like to wipe out armies with a wave of his hand, taking on hundreds single-handedly. He believes that it's way cooler than charging in like some meathead, and promises to teach Chao all the techniques if he joins necromancy, so that one day he could be like him, summoning a dark dragon with a flick. Our poor fella doesn't have the courage to tell the professor that he has 0 spirit power, let alone the ability to summon a skeleton. Chao finalizes that he'd like to stay in the physical training class, but still Professor Shen hands him his card in case he changes his mind in the future. With that, the professor leaves through the magic portal while our boy is amused that necromancy can be used like that too. After that, teacher Wan Li Hao informs Yu that his injuries have healed and tells him to show up at the class tomorrow since he's taking everyone to a great place. The next day, Instructor Li Hao takes them to a sea-level dungeon and gives them a task to sit in meditation in the dark forest until sunset. While the students wonder how hard it can be, Wan tosses a rock and it is broken into pieces by the wind blade. This scares the fuck out of some students and they assume they're gonna die in this creepy place. But the teacher assures them that nobody is going to die since he's with them, but the suffering is inevitable. Teacher Wan explains that the point of meditation is to train their willpower, and secondly, they'll find out once they go inside the dark forest. The first one to go is Lin Lang, and the moment he enters the dark forest, he's startled by the speedy wind blade and starts meditating after settling in. The teacher is impressed to see Lang's grit and courage, wondering how long he'll last. Given that Lin is already experiencing the wonders of the dark forest, Wan encourages other students to go in as well and believes that none of them has defense stats below 100. Concerned, Chao asks the teacher what happens if their defense is below 100. Wan nonchalantly answers that the person might die and, judging by Yu's face, he thinks his defense stat is low. Well, Chao's defense stat points turn out to be 6 and he assures Wan that it's not that low. His teacher is shocked to know that our guy has got the strength but not the defense. This makes him question Chao how the hell he's been fighting people, not to mention how incredibly he took 3 of his punches. That's when our hero reveals that his HP is a bit higher than normal, 4,000 to be exact. The first time Li Hao doesn't grasp what he said, but seconds later, he realizes the depth of his words. He wonders if Chao Yu is a necromancer or a freaking humanoid boss. With that, our boy enters the dark forest. As the wind blade strikes him, Yu smiles and it dawns on him that this place actually boosts defense stats. Later on, our guy notices everyone's focused on boosting their defense. While he also meditates, Teacher Wan worries about Chao since his defense stat is low and decides to keep an eye on him. Everyone is fully immersed in meditating when suddenly a dark spider with 5,000 HP comes attacking them. Wan Li Hao immediately rushes to protect the students and lands a destructive punch that squeezes the life out of the spider. Our fellow witnesses the true strength of a physical training teacher at Kyoto University and finds himself lucky as Wan went easy on him that day. The teacher assures the students it's over and stresses to focus on their training cause they ain't leaving until they reach their limits. Xiao meditates and realizes the prerogative of learning at a top-tier university. If it weren't for Teacher Wan, they wouldn't be able to train in a sea-level dungeon with such peace of mind. 2 hours later, most of the students reach their limits, and Chao Yu believes he will also give up soon, since his defense stat is too low. Suddenly, the wood seed planted in him activates and even absorbs energy from roots deep within the soil. Our guy assumes it's the seed Tang Lan planted in him, and it's absorbing energy from this forest. Smiling, Chow owes it all to that woman because if it weren't for this seed, he would have missed out on the dark forest's unique opportunities. On the contrary, Tang Lan stands at a building. With her seed planted inside Chow, she knows exactly where our fella is. In the forest, 3 students including Lin and Chow manage to withstand an entire day of wind blades, and the others admire our boy because word is he's just a fragile necromancer, yet he lasted this long. Wan has to admit that there's some promising students, and he didn't expect Chow Yu to last this long. He wonders how this kid managed to do this, assuming he's reached his limits. The fact is that Lin Lang's got a great talent, so our boy should be no match for him. Just then, another student chooses to withdraw while Lin ponders that he's not even as good as that necromancer. The students anticipated who would drop out first, and everyone settled that our boy was going to drop out first, given that he's not a true physical trainer. But from Chow's position, they could tell he's not about to give up anytime soon. Shortly, Lin Lang reaches his limits and withdraws. After that, the teacher waits to see how long Yu can push himself. Well, it's almost night, and our guy impeccably sits there, meditating. When Li Hao realizes Chow is really quite something, and asks him to come out since it's getting dark. Once the sun sets, they can't stay in the dark forest anymore. Even Teacher Wan can't protect them. Our guy comes out of the forest and is struck by its insane result. His defense stats increase to 23, and the students predict Chow would have stayed longer if it weren't getting dark, wondering if he has any limits. Just then, the teacher dismisses the class and lets out they'll continue tomorrow. A few days later, Chow's defense has skyrocketed over the past few days, thanks to the wood seed. As he's about to head for more training, Zhu Yu and the others meet Chow Yu and suggest to him that they should start a guild. His friends find it a good idea, given that there are many benefits of forming a guild like entering exclusive dungeons and guild wars. Zhao Yu adds that guild members can't kill each other, or they'll be hunted by the underworld. Our guy is cool about the idea, but first he heads to the physical training class for a bit. Zhao Yu tells him to come over soon after he's done. Ma Fei says that he's fine with starting a guild, but on one condition, that he has to be the guild leader. In the dungeon, someone is talking to Wan Li Hao about Chow Yu and mentions that he's a physical training prodigy. Li Hao low-key agrees with that, but he recalls that Yu is a necromancer. Inside the dark forest, our guy's defense stat reaches 500, and that appears to be his defense limit. Suddenly something begins to emerge, and it turns out to be the mechanical empress. Wide-eyed, our fella tries to process the sudden occurrence and asks the empress what she's doing here. Well, the beautiful empress reveals that there's something on Chow that's been absorbing energy, the wood seed to be exact, and it helped her to rebuild her new body. Never in his wildest thoughts did Chow imagine that the wood seed would accidentally awaken the empress. Concerned, he questions Her Majesty what she's been planning to do next, and the empress reminds Chow that he promised to help her observe the outside world. And now it's time for him to fulfill that promise. The empress releases her magic that strikes him. Chow feels a stinging pain and is assured by the empress that it won't last long. She states that from this point on, she can sense what Chow Yu hears, thinks, and sees. Basically, she's like a hidden camera inside him. Agitated, our guy hates the feeling of being watched, and the fact she can read his thoughts means there are no secrets in front of her from now on. Our cunning fella imagines the empress naked, and given she could see his thoughts, the empress freaks out at the nonsense he's thinking about and promises that she'll stop reading his thoughts. Smirking, Chow outsmarts the empress in the most clever way, and feels relieved that the feeling of being watched has disappeared. Nonetheless, after his defense hits its limit, he goes on to check on Zhu Yu and the others. On the other hand, Zhu and the others are tangled up in a fight against another guild, the Blazing Fire Guild, who start beating them for no reason. Zhu asks those bastards what they ever did to them, and the vice president of that guild says that every newly created guild starts with 1,000 honor points. Their ultimate goal is to beat them down to take their honor points, and he blames them for being weak. Xiangdi puts all the blame onto Ma Fei for naming their guild Killing God Guild, and poor Fei had no idea they'd be challenged to a guild war right after forming it. Yang assures his fellow guild members to hold out until Brother Yu arrives, as he has already notified him. Ma Fei admits that Chow is a bit stronger than him, but he thinks it's useless because there's no way they can handle these guys. The blonde boy proceeds to attack, and the vice president of the Blazing Fire Guild mocks Ma Fei for swinging at air and strikes him to the ground with brute force. The vice president tramples over Ma Fei. Assuming he's the leader of the God-Killing Guild, he thinks he must be the strongest in the guild. But given he's beaten like shit by them, the other guild laughs at Ma Fei for forming a guild despite having low skills. While the God-Killing Guild is in danger, Chow Yu makes his entry, and Xiangdi cries out of joy after seeing him. That bastard, the vice president of the Blazing Guild, snickers after seeing another tough guy and asks Chow if he's a physical trainer too. That guy tells him to stop playing mystery and proceeds to punch Chow. He lands the punch with crushing force, which leaves us anticipating what happens next. That punch was supposed to leave Chow broken. However, he appears unscathed and unfazed. Our guy mockingly questions the vice president why his hits are so weak and offers him to order some takeout in case he didn't eat. The vice president simmers with anger, but low-key this guy used 80% of his strength in that punch, and still it failed miserably to break through our guy's defense. He ignores how freaking weak he is and proceeds to strike with the skill, 7 killing fists. While Zhu screams at Chao to dodge, the Blazing Fire Guild members anticipate that Chao is dead for sure, since no one can withstand the vice president's 7 killing fists. However, that rather doesn't seem to be happening. Chao incredibly dodges the relentless punches launched by his opponent. Even the vice president starts to feel anxious, wondering what kind of terrifying defense this kid has. Shangdi roots for Brother Yu, who's got even stronger, and the Blazing Fire Guild members observe that the vice president's punches didn't do a thing to that kid. The president of the Fire Guild witnesses all this. Meanwhile on the field, the vice president guy wastes his energy fighting against a prodigy, and Chao Yu supposes that it's his turn now. This does scare the vice dude a bit, but his guild members cheer him up and assure him that Yu's defense is off the charts, which means his attack must be weak. Upon hearing this, the vice president makes a fool out of himself and is certain that Chao's attack power isn't as terrifying as his defense. Well, this is the worst mistake he'll regret, and he challenges our necromancer to bring it on. Well, Chao swings his arm only once and launches a deadly punch that wreaks havoc on the vice president's body, not to mention that his bones get twisted. Our fella feels bad that these young people are so stubborn and have no respect for their elders. The members of the Blazing Fire Guild plan to attack Yu for beating the crap out of their man, but their president steps in and wisely states that they're no match for Chao. The president of the Blazing Fire Guild exudes a red aura, and our necromancer senses that he's at least at the mid-stage. He takes Chao as the leader of the God-Killing Guild, while poor Ma Fei screams that he's the leader and came up with the name. The president introduces himself as Luto and suggests that they end this fight between leaders only. The loser's side will surrender and pay honor points so they don't all end up ruining each other. But Zuyu opposes and calls it crap. She asks Luto if he, being a mid-stage, challenging an early stage, is okay. She tells Luto that his face is thicker than young Shangdi's belly, but none of their objections matter when both the leaders agree to the fight. Seconds later, Luto makes the first move and Chao assumes that he's a mid-stage physical trainer. However, our guy falls to his petty tricks when Luto strikes him with a poisonous dagger, hurting his eyes. Only then our fella gets to know that the president is an assassin. Zhu and Shangdi call Luto a despicable and low-life fella who resorts to hidden weapons. Well, Luto states that the goal of this combat is to win, which means any method is just a means to that end. He simply thinks getting hit is getting careless. Luto activates Gale Fist, and with Chao's eyes getting wounded, our poor boy becomes vulnerable and fails to dodge the punches. Luto seizes the perfect opportunity to stab the dagger in Chao's head, given that his eyes are shut. This scary moment leaves everyone at the edge. Just as the dagger is about to pierce through our guy, a mysterious glitch materializes, and Luto is sent hurtling back like a falling star. Freaked out, Luto is completely shaken after that thing hits him and drops his HP to half instantly. Well, it turns out to be the mechanical empress that secretly comes to Chao's help. The president, scared as fuck, admits defeat and tells Chao that he won. But our boy refuses to retreat like this. He activates the corpse ancestor's ring and reminds Luto that he hurt his friends, so he can't just admit defeat and walk away as he pleases. With that, our fella dashes towards Luto. Terrified, the president asks Yu if he's really trying to push him into a corner, and our guy smashes the fuck out of him. The Blazing Fire Guild members gasp at Luto being banged like that, and the president loses his shit completely. Luto notices that the strange thing from before has gone and feels that using that move took a heavy toll on Chao. That's when the president spits out poisonous little darts at our boy that he halts with his bare hands. Furious, Chao Yu charges at Luto since this despicable guy even poisoned him and thrashes him insanely. Luto gets beaten to a pulp and his pride is ruined to shatters. He finds it hard to digest that a mid-stage assassin like him is being humiliated by an early-stage kid. Luto activates Gale Fist, and to hinder our boy's movement, he launches hundreds of blasting darts from his mouth. While Chao is already struggling to dodge those, the president traps our boy into an insight bind. The black strap-like binds snare him, and the president confidently claims that evil will always triumph over good. So once Yu is hit by his insight bind, any warrior-type player loses their ability to move, becoming nothing but a helpless sheep for him to slaughter. Luto thinks that this punk Yu had fooled him and asks him how it feels to be completely immobilized. The president lightly slaps his face and mocks Chao for acting tough a moment ago. He's certain that our boy's body is stiff, or so he thought. Meanwhile, the guild members of the Blazing Fire cheer for the president and call Chao Yu naive for going against a mid-stage assassin. Young Shangdi can't believe that Brother Yu has lost. Luto, on the other hand, admits that our guy is the strongest early-stage player he's ever met. Moments later, Chao Yu flips the cards when he speaks up. He questions Luto if he has considered that he might not be a warrior at all. The president is left speechless for a second, but after recalling his attacking and defense technique, he's convinced that our fella is a warrior. Luto feels there's no point in talking anymore and proceeds to smash Chao. The Blazing Fire Guild believes Chao is going down to their boss while the God-Killing Guild gasps with shock, worried that their leader is about to get hit. That's when our hero impeccably halts Ludo's punch and makes him believe that he's not a damn warrior. Chow delivers brutal blows to the president, who is still in disbelief that our boy can keep moving after clearly being struck by his insight bind. Gur reminds him that he's not a warrior, but rather a necromancer with a slightly stronger body. With that, he lands a critical hit on the president, thus defeating him. With that, the guild members surrender, and Chios Guild, now called the Killing God Guild, wins the guild war, and the Blazing Fire Guild's honor points are transferred to them. Yu checks up on his friends to see if they're okay, and Shangdi lets him know that they have some minor injuries, and they're all fine except for Zuo Yu. It's revealed that her shield broke and our boy starts summing up his stats. He concludes that he doesn't need to train in the Dark Forest anymore for now. Hence, he decides to run a new dungeon and farm a shield. Yu, in his subconscious mind, asks the Queen of Mechanical Heart if she knows which dungeon drops shield-type equipment daily since she's a boss in the underworld. The Queen reveals that there is one such dungeon, but she advises him not to go as he probably won't be able to beat the dogs in that dungeon. Chow believes that's not possible and asks her for the intel anyway. Returning back to the real world, he assures Zuo to leave the shield on him as he claims to know a dungeon that, if they manage to clear it, will definitely drop a shield. Zuo insists that she'll come with him, and the Queen lets our boy know that the dungeon requires at least 2 people, hence he agrees to it. As they both are about to leave, Zhangdi makes fun of them by saying that it will be just the 2 of them at night, and who knows what could happen. Zuo lashes out at him and threatens to tear that mouth of his apart when she returns. Later, Chow and Zuo arrive at the D-level dungeon called the Suedo Underworld. The white-haired girl asks him if he is sure he wants to go in, since it's a D-rank dungeon. Our necromancer recalls the last D-rank dungeon he went into, which was soul cleansing and almost wiped them out. He witnesses the dog dungeon that the Queen was talking about and feels kinda nervous. Zuo confesses that she's only worried because he's here. It seems that she's afraid she'll hold him back because without her shield, she's useless in a fight. Chow pats her head as he tells her to chill, and with that, they enter the dungeon. The underworld was said to be created by Hades as the world where all living beings go after death. The pseudo-underworld is the copy of the real underworld. Yu and Zuo find themselves unconscious, and upon waking up, they're in the underworld. Zuo wonders if they're dead, just like what happened in the Coffin Mountain dungeon. But Chow doesn't think that's the case, because if they were, they'd get a warning saying that they're in a special state. Just then, he spots a necklace on Zuo that she wasn't wearing before entering the dungeon, and he tells her not to move while he inspects it. The white-haired girl misunderstands the situation for a moment and turns red. Chow checks himself and turns out he has the necklace too. He assumes that it's a quest item, and that's when the system notifies them about the underworld quest. Quest 1 is that they have to cross the Gate of Hell, reach the Acheron River, and protect the cross from being lost. It's revealed that they have to complete Quest 1 to unlock Quest 2, and after completing all stage quests, they will be awarded with a dungeon clearance prize. The system advises them to trust their teammate completely. They spot a gate, and Zuo reveals that she's heard that this gate is the entrance to the underworld. It's said that the dead walk through the Gate of Hell to reach the real underworld, but once they enter, they can't leave. Since the quest requires it, Chow thinks they should get going, but they're unsure of which way they should go. Yu spots a wandering soul and decides to follow him to find the way. Cho and Zuo witness the souls of the dead gathering around what they assume to be the legendary Gate of Hell. Just then, an epic monster, Cerberus, the Hellhound, appears out of the gate and attacks the souls. The system gives them a friendly reminder that the 3-headed Hellhound guards the gate, devouring passing souls. Hence, anyone who tries to force their way through the Gate of Hell will be swallowed by Cerberus. Chow realizes that this is the dog the Queen meant, and she informs him that Cerberus is literally the native dog of Hell. Their quest says that they just have to cross the Gate of Hell, but Zuo isn't so sure if they can really make it there. Our boy assures her not to worry and is confident about his luck not being that bad. Since the 3-headed dog eats randomly, he finds the chances of him being eaten very low with all these souls here. His words are cut off when he's eaten by Cerberus while Zuo is splashed with venom. Her HP is dropping fast, but she's worried about Yu, and that's when she's notified that she's been rewarded with the passive skill, Adaptive Poison Immunity. Since Zuo has endured Cerberus's venom for more than 100 seconds, if she is now attacked by the same poison for more than 10 seconds, it will no longer harm her. She notices the dog going crazy and wonders what's wrong with it when Chow jumps out from its mouth. Our necromancer is glad that he jammed his green dragon crescent blade in its throat since he almost got eaten. Zuo is so glad to see him alive, and they both see this as their chance to run through the gate. As they sprint towards the gate, Yu hopes that he can get his blade back, and with that, they make it through the gate. The system congratulates them for completing the quest, and now their second quest is to cross River Acheron and protect the cross from being lost. As they're standing near the river, a boat approaches them with a guy on it. The guy introduces himself as the ferryman of the Acheron River, Charon. Charon asks them if they wish to cross the river and informs them that they'll need to pay the fare. Cho believes he's talking about money and gives it to him and instructs the guy to take them across the river. As they get on the boat, the souls of the dead rush towards them in order to get on the boat. But Charon scares them away, saying that they don't deserve to be on this boat. Kao gets curious as to why these dead souls don't cross the river themselves, and that's when the ferryman tells him to stick his hand out of the boat and see for himself. Our boy sticks his hand out and suddenly a bunch of hands appear from inside the water. It's revealed that those are the unlucky ones who tried to cross the Acheron River and failed. Karen believes they're doomed to spend eternity sinking in the dark, icy water of the river. He further reveals that anything that enters the river will be dragged down by them and become one of them. Suddenly, he raises his shovel and informs them that they're also about to join the bottom of the Acheron River themselves. The ferrymen believe they tricked him using money from the living world to deceive him, and with that, he throws Chow into the river. As Chow touches the Acheron River, his first sensation is that it is cold, dark, and rotten. He's about to be dragged away when Zuo pulls him by his hand. Sharon is ready to push her into the water as well when Yu activates the corpse ancestor's ring. While the ring does its job, our boy quickly jumps on the boat and punches the ferryman with immense strength. He's surprised to find Charon so weak, and that's when Charon informs him that he's done for. He reveals to him that as a living person sneaking into the underworld, and the fact that he even dared to kill the ferryman, he's going to face the judgment. Chow doesn't listen to him and kicks him into the Acheron River, where he's dragged down. Zua asks Yu if killing the ferryman will cause them a problem, but he thinks it's fine because even though it's the underworld, it's still a dungeon, hence he believes they can clear it. After a while they reach the shore, and upon getting closer, they witness Karen with two other people standing there. They are baffled to see the ferryman alive, but the guy standing there informs them that this Karen is not the same Karen. The guy, judging by what they said, guesses that they've already killed the previous ferryman. And Chow justifies himself by saying that they didn't have a choice since that boatman tried to shove them into the river. The fat guy remarks that they're both clueless as they've fallen right into Karen's trap. He reveals that killing the ferryman means they're going to have a rough time in the first hell of the underworld. Chow asks him what's in this first hell of the underworld and what was up with that boatman. The guy wonders why he should tell him when they're not even close, and that's when he spots Zuo Yu. He gets all cheeky and lets out that he somehow feels a connection with her. He claims to tell her the secrets of the first hell, also called the Netherworld Judgment Hall, that judges the sins of those who enter. And since they've killed Karen, they'll definitely be deemed the worst of the worst and sent to hell to suffer. However, he ensures her guarantee that nothing will happen to them if they stick with him. He claims that he's cleared these dungeons several times already. Zuo gets curious why this man has cleared the dungeon several times since there's no reward for clearing a dungeon more than once. The guy finally reveals his name to be Wang Dafu and tells them that he's a dungeon guide for hire. Xiao assumes that the girl standing next to Dafu must be his client, and Dafu introduces her to them. Wang invites Zuo to come with them when the girl questions why he's being so nice to them since she's the one paying him. Dafu gets offended and clarifies that he's responsible for guiding her through this dungeon and not keeping her happy. He declares to give her a refund if she isn't satisfied. The girl storms off as she tells him to move, and the fat guy signals Zuo to follow them. They enter the first hell's judgment hall, and Dafu informs them that this is the first hell. He instructs everyone to keep their mouth shut once they enter inside. They enter inside and everyone is left shaken as they witness the judge of the netherworld, Yin Yu. Yin introduces himself as the judge of the first hell and decides to begin the judgment of their... Wang Dafu instructs everyone to watch closely and do as he says. He introduces himself to the judge and claims that he's committed no sins in his life. He uses a stone to deceive the judge, and Judge Yin sees no criminal record in his book of deeds. He declares Dafu innocent, and next up is the girl, who's his client. She does the same and claims that she's innocent, and just like that, she's declared innocent as well. Dafu apologizes to Qiao and reveals that the item they're using can only be used one more time. He offers the item to Zuo and invites her to join his side, and he'll let her use it for the last time. Zuo refuses his offer, and as the judge calls out the next person, Yu addresses the judge and announces that he didn't have a choice before, but now he wants to be a good person. Dafu, as he hears that, claims to burn Yu some offerings next year, as he's aware that just the crime of killing the ferryman is enough to send him to hell. Judge Yin takes a look at Chao's deed book and finds him to be an unforgivable sinner. He points out his first sin, disrespecting the remains of the dead. Sin 2, disrupting their peaceful existence. Sin 3, cruelly abusing small animals. Sin 4, drilling corpses. Sin 5, the most serious one, is the fact that he killed one of the heads of Cerberus, the Hellhound, and murdered the ferryman Karen. With that, Yin sentences Qiao to fall into the first valley of the seventh hell, the blood pool. Our necromancer is lifted in the air as the pool of blood emerges beneath him. The judge orders him to fall into the pool and let the boiling sea of blood scorch his skin, melt his flesh, and cleanse him of his sins. Just then, the corpse ancestor's ring is activated, and that's when Yu dashes towards Yin, punching him right across the face. Xiao questions what blood pool Yin is talking about, and confesses that he now has one more sin to add to his list, and that is assaulting the judge. This leaves Wang absolutely blown away, and he's displeased to see our boy having the guts to attack the judge. The judge admits that it's been ages since anyone had the courage or power to do that. He announces to sentence Qiao to eternal damnation in hell. He witnesses Yu stealing his speed and he admits that his agility is quite useful. Yin violently attacks our boy, who barely manages to dodge it. Dafu remarks that he's going to get hurt, and the girl is curious as to why he didn't dodge it. Qiao didn't expect just the shockwave to injure him so badly. His current defense is a solid 500. He is convinced that he would have been crushed if he was still a guy with only 6 defense points. The mechanical queen warns him to beware of the weapon in Yin's hand, as it has an armor-piercing effect. Yu asks her if she can fight, but she refuses, revealing that since she's the boss of the mechanical empire, she can't act in another dungeon, or else she'd be erased. However, she offers to teach Qiao a skill. Qiao takes a look at his mental state, which is 0, and informs the queen that he can't use skills. The queen ensures him not to worry since her heart is within him. Judge Yin claims to send our boy personally to hell and emits such powerful energy that it affects everyone present there. Dafu's client insists on helping our boy because she knows if he dies, they're next. But the fat dude decides to wait a little longer as he watches the show. Qiao attacks Yin first, and that makes Wang wonder if he still has a trump card to play. He's about to step in as he witnesses Yu being overpowered when suddenly, he finds his powers skyrocketing, thus wounding the judge. The queen asks our boy how that skill is working for him, and he admits that it's really good, but he finds the skill to be draining. However, the system notifies him that the wrath of the mechanical empress, when injured, enters berserk mode. For every 1% HP lost, increase attack, defense, and speed by 0.5%. A friendly reminder is also given that if Qiao stays in the berserk mode too long, it may have mysterious side effects. Our boy finds this skill to suit him perfectly, while the judge finds it really intriguing that a heinous criminal manages to wound him. The system gives you a reminder that the netherworld judge possesses one of the coldest hearts in the world. Judge Yin stands up again and Qiao pulls out mechanical knuckles. They dash towards each other, boosting their power to the max. While Zuo blames herself for being useless when she's supposed to be blocking attacks as the tank of the guild, Yin, as the judge of the netherworld, sentences Yu to death and strikes him with a deadly attack. The attack causes huge damage to our boy as he lays on the ground with his mechanical knuckles being damaged. The judge assumes that he's dead and turns towards Dafu and others in order to kill them as well. When Qiao stands up yet again and declares that since he damaged all his equipment, if he doesn't drop something good, he won't let this slide. The berserk mode of Yu's skill is activated, and the judge calls him an ignorant fool for getting back up. He strikes his staff, but our necromancer stops it with his bare hands. With that, he lands a vicious blow to the judge, who goes flying back from the impact. Dafu witnesses the judge of the first hell being defeated, and is glad that he didn't fight that kid. Yin is in disbelief about the fact that he's dying at the hands of a criminal, and it seems that he's finally met his end. As Wang sees the soul core, greed takes over him, and he tries to take it. He praises Qiao, and seeing him so hurt, he tells him to heal himself as he approaches the soul core. Yu throws an attack at him and warns him to step away from the soul core, or else he'll see what happens. The fat dude lets out a nervous laugh and claims that he just wanted to help as he steps back. Just then, our necromancer notices the Bei's tattoo on his arm. The attack from earlier grazed Dafu's shirt, and now his tattoo is exposed. Qiao is curious about his connection with Bei's and contemplates if this was just a coincidence, or if he came here on purpose. He acknowledges the fact that bringing Zuo to this pseudo-underworld dungeon was a last-minute decision, and considering the possibility that Dafu really works for Bei's, he finds its intel network is terrifying. Zhu rushes towards him to check if he's okay, and Qiao lets her know that he's fine, and is just wondering what good loot will drop from the judge's soul core. The equipment from the soul core is revealed to be an upgrade stone, a B-rank one-time item, that can upgrade any piece of equipment to B rank and add a special enhancement. Yu, as he sees the item, is pissed off as he wonders what the hell he is supposed to do with this. Our boy was expecting weapons or shields, but instead, he's been granted this. The system notifies them that Quest 3 is complete and a new quest is issued. They decide to move forward, and the 4th quest is revealed to them, requiring them to pass through the hell ahead, reach the Temple of Hades, and protect the cross from being lost. Dafu informs them that ahead of them is gluttony hell, and people who were gluttonous in life end up in this hell. He believes it shouldn't be much of a problem for them, and warns them to be mindful of the hellhound that guards the place. Zhu wonders why the hellhound is guarding gluttony hell when he's supposed to guard the gate of hell. Wang lets her know that the gate of hell is that dog's workplace while gluttony hell is his dormitory. He further elaborates that Cerberus isn't interested in the living, hence as long as they don't wake him up, there shouldn't be any danger. As soon as he says that, they find the Cerberus watching over them and they all start running for their lives as they realize that it's awake. Wang is confused as to what's happening since he's been here so many times, and that beast has never attacked a living person. Qiao admits that he didn't expect it either. He confesses that he killed one of its heads and now it hates him. Dafu, as he hears that, freaks out and wonders if he's crazy or what. Suddenly Yu stops running and informs Zuo to go ahead and run. He lets her know that he's still got something to retrieve from that beast, while Zuo announces she will wait for him ahead, and with that, she runs away. As the Cerberus reaches Qiao, our boy activates his new skill and decides to settle the score from earlier. He punches the Hellhound and continuously strikes it for a while, but the Hellhound is tougher than he expected. It spits the venom on our boy, who's in disbelief that he can't even take down a dog. Chow traps the hellhound in chains and that causes a lot of damage to it. But he ends up being hit by the chain as well and is smashed into the pillars. He pulls it closer by grabbing the chain and lands a fierce blow to it. However, Cerberus stands firm against the attack, and that makes our boy wonder if this dog has gone mad. Meanwhile, Zhu and the others reach a safe spot, and that's when Dafu tells her that Yu is probably inside that dog's stomach by now. He lets her know that his broad shoulders are always available for her, if she wants to lean on them. Zhu tells him to shut up, and at that exact moment, she spots Chow on top of one of Cerberus's heads. She asks him if he's okay, and he lets out that he's just strolling. The hellhound takes our boy somewhere, and Wong realizes that he's taking him to the 7th hell. Chow is confused as to where it is taking him, and at that moment, the 3-headed dog breaks through the chains and throws him to the ground. Yu smashes on the ground, and as Cerberus roars, the green crescent blade is visible in its throat. Our necromancer spots his blade and lets himself get swallowed by the hellhound. After a moment, he forces his way out of its mouth with his blade, injuring it severely. Even then, the kill prompt doesn't pop up, and that leaves Chow baffled. He wonders if it's immortal, and as he sees Cerberus standing back up again, he realizes that he needs to chop off all 3 heads. Our boy sprints towards the dog of gel and lets it have a taste of his blade. He strikes his blade like a professional, and the sight of it shocks Wang Dafu. That's when Dafu realizes why his boss takes so much intrigue in Xiao Yu. Xiao decides to end Cerberus in one go while its head hasn't revived. He beheads the head of Hellhound one by one, and at last, he defeats the epic monster Cerberus. The system rewards our boy with free attribute points, and he successfully levels up. With that, Yu's weapon is also upgraded from a green dragon crescent blade to a golden dragon crescent blade, which is a level B item. The golden dragon blade, when the player's attack is blocked, automatically triggers another attack with increased damage. It also has an enhancement that increases the damage against opposite sex creatures by 20%. Our necromancer is surprised to find that this blade can actually level up. As he returns, Zuo checks up on him while he tries to act nonchalant, saying that it was no big deal for him. Dafu is still trying to process the fact that he killed Cerberus. Chow takes the soul core in his possession and receives a B rank item, Soul Stealing Great Recovery Pill. It's a one-time item that increases all attributes by 100 points for 10 minutes. Yu is happy with the item as he learns it increases attribute points by 100 points. Wang finds him smiling and asks him if he got some good loot, and Chow lies to him, saying that it's just some trash item. He believes if this guy really works for Baze, this great recovery pill might just give him a nice surprise. Just then, Zuo calls him out to a side and tells him that she asked Dafu earlier, and he's never seen a cross like this before. Yu concludes that they're the only ones who encountered these 2 crosses in this dungeon, and wonders what could be the meaning behind them. The system congratulates them on completing the quest, and informs them that an ultimate quest is being issued. Just then, a bright blue beam of light appears, and Dafu questions them if they're the ones behind it. Xiao asks Dafu what the ultimate quest was when he cleared the dungeon before, and it is revealed that the quest was entering the Temple of Hades. As long as they enter the temple, the dungeon is considered complete. Our boy figures out that he and Zuo triggered something that changed the dungeon. Wang's client suggests that they keep moving and complete the dungeon as she doesn't want to stay here a second longer. The fat guy leads them the way to the Temple of Hades, and upon reaching there, he finds it weird that the temple's gate is not opening as it used to open easily before. Zhu notices 2 holes beside the door, and Wang finds them strange as he didn't see them here last time. Chow observes the holes and finds the shape to match the crosses they have. As they place the crosses in the holes, the gate of the temple opens. And that's when Yu is shown a vision, where he sees a guy. Coming back to real life, they are all welcomed by the sight of a coffin of the same guy Chow just saw. Zhu notices his face and asks him if he's okay, to which he asks her if she saw any strange images just now. But she refuses, and that makes our boy consider the possibility that he might be the only one seeing these visions. Dafu is baffled, and this doesn't make any sense to him. He's been to the temple so many times and it's always been empty, but this time, there's a huge coffin. Just then, the dude from the coffin rises from the dead and leaps towards Yu. That horrifying spirit penetrates through Xiao Yu's body, and the system congratulates him for obtaining the Seeds of Hades, an S-rank one-time item. Our guy is lost in thought about the item, but he's distracted by a concerned Zhu Yu, who explains that Xiao froze after touching the crystal coffin. He remained unresponsive no matter how much they called him. Yu learns what happened and realizes that the vision he saw might have been deliberately created for him by that man. That explains why no one else could see the spirit. Chow witnesses that the man has disappeared and glances at the stone coffin, where the corpse loses the ability to move but never decays. It is then that Wang Dafu reveals it is the coffin of Hades. He adds that there's a legend. One can enter the real underworld from the pseudo-underworld dungeon. It's said that the real underworld is a place of terrifying, almost certain death. Our guy doesn't see the point of entering the real underworld if it's so dangerous. Abruptly, Wang Dafu points at the 2 cross keyholes engraved in the coffin. The moment Xiao and Zhu insert the keys, the whole place begins to tremble. They are notified that they've completed the quest and the dungeon is about to collapse in 10 minutes. Our fella is rewarded with the Staff of Wisdom, and Zhu is rewarded with a shield. While Xiao hurries to get out of the collapsing area, Wang angrily kicks the purple-haired woman who was with him since she had been nagging the whole way. In the meantime, our boy approaches Dafu and speculates the reason he's trying to stop them is because of the dungeon itself. Wang tries to act naive and asks Chao if he thinks there's another reason. Our boy happily reveals that Wang is actually working for Bai Zhe. The traitor gets exposed and finds it no surprise that the boss specifically wanted Chao captured. Wang admits he had been hiding it well and asks our fella when he first started suspecting him. Dafu waits with anticipation, but is rendered speechless when our guy confesses he saw the Bai Zhe tattoo. Shortly, Chao also tosses the cross keys, believing they were Bai Zhe's doing as well. That is when Wang shows his real face and assures our dude he won't be escaping today since he's figured everything out. But before that, Yu questions if their goal is to capture him, why they are destroying the dungeon. Dafu is kind enough to elucidate that destroying the dungeon ensures the underworld can't trace Chao Yu. To be more exact, once our boy disappears, Ji Pinyang won't let it go easily. The principal will mobilize every resource to find him, but once the dungeon collapses, they'll never be able to track his location. But given how weak Wang is, Chao wonders what makes him think he can capture them. Suddenly, Wang exudes a dark aura and leaps at Chao at such insane speed that even the corpse ancestor's ring can't track the fatty's movements. Wang is about to ambush our boy, but Zhu Yu intervenes with her shield, driving back the enemy. The Bai Zhe fella is shocked to see the A-rank shield and finds it amusing that they cleared a D-rank dungeon but walked away with A-rank gear. Wang dreams of stealing the items soon, while Zhu Yu becomes determined not to hide behind Chao or be useless baggage. With that, Zhu's shield sends Wang flying like a ricochet, and even Chao didn't expect Zhu Yu to be that strong. Fatas Wang's pride is hurt after getting beaten by two early stagers, and he vows to teach them a lesson for standing up to a mid-stage player like him. Wang comes back stronger to ensure Zhu won't be able to block the next attack. Zhao Yu fails to keep up with Dafu's speed, convinced that he's a damn assassin. The Baizo fella blames Zhu for her refusal to yield, showing no mercy since she's so determined to protect Qiao, and she gets hurt pretty badly. Our guy immediately swallows the soul-stealing Great Recovery Pill, which increases all stats to 100 and smashes him with brute force. As our fella asks Zhu if she's alright, they're attacked by Wang once again, and Zhu, despite her injured arm, holds up the shield. Chao switches places with her and tells her to rest because from this point on, he'll be taking charge. With that, our fella summons the Staff of Wisdom, which increases skill damage by 30%. The moment he holds the staff, energy violently revolves around him. Wang Dafu is baffled by his outfit, recalling that he was supposed to be a necromancer. Well, our fella is anything but a typical necromancer. Chao strikes with an ambush attack, which the Bai Zhe dude dodges, scoffing that a necromancer wants to sneak attack an assassin. Chao finds nothing wrong with his class and activates Dragon Roar Slash to put that bastard in his place. Wang Dafu gets startled as he senses a drastic increase in Chao's speed and strength. He finds it absurd, since necromancers are supposed to have the weakest bodies in the underworld. He's thunderstruck that our boy could unleash such heavy attacks. Meanwhile, Chao Yu plans on suppressing this bastard with the help of his skills, equipment, and the recovery pill. On top of that, our necromancer also uses the ring to track Wang's movements. The assassin's speed keeps slowing down, and he freaks out when he's unable to dodge. As he feels the attacks getting heavier with every second, our fella goes insane and keeps striking Dafu with the Dragon Roar Slash until he breaks the enemy's sword into pieces. Wang screams in fear as death flashes before his eyes. He never imagined he would get crushed by an early-stage necromancer like this. To save his ass, Wang tries to convince Chao that if he kills him, he'll lose the best chance to get information about Bai Zhe, who has spies in the underworld too. He even tries to tell our boy he'll never find out about his parents. But Chao, who has spiraled out of control, only stops after finishing Wang Dafu for good. Afterward, our guy screams at the top of his lungs because he didn't know the Dragon Roar Slash wouldn't stop once triggered, and he truly wanted to know about his parents. To his surprise, another plot twist awaits. The purple-haired woman emerges and admits that Wang was truly useless. She has also captured Zhu Yu. Chao freaks out upon learning this bitch is with Bai Zhe too, and the woman reveals that they've met before. The mystery unfolds as the woman snatches the mask off her face, revealing she was disguised as someone else. It appears to be none other than Hua Qi, the head of Bai Zhe, who was with them all along. Hua Si is surprised that our boy still remembers her. Unexpectedly, Chao addresses her with utmost respect and calls her sister Chai, requesting her to release his friend Zhu Yu. But Hua Si is not a fool to let that happen, and recalls how Chao helped all his friends escape back then. She wonders how he plans to escape this time. But our fella doesn't think of escaping at all since his strength has grown far beyond what it was back then. Not to mention the effects of the soul-stealing Great Recovery Pill haven't worn off yet. Despite his confidence, she warns him not to think of fighting her and shows her stats on purpose, showing that she's now a high-stage shadow assassin. That's when it occurs to you that he doesn't stand a chance against her. Huasi suggests Chao give up and affirms that as long as he obediently follows her, she'll let bygones be bygones. Suddenly, the place begins collapsing and our necromancer seems to have no choice but to accept his fate. But he curiously questions Huazi why Bai Zhe is going to such great lengths, even destroying the dungeon, just to capture an early-stage player like him. Huazi has to agree that Chao is no ordinary player. He's an early-stage necromancer who can physically take down mid-stage players, so he's definitely worth it. Our boy is surprised to see such fanaticism that he's only seen in Mand from the mechanical Empress realm. He secretly tries to summon the Empress while Huazi asks him to come and see the greatness of their organization. Right at that moment, Chao shouts at Zhu to make her move, and she immediately frees herself from Huazi, while our guy distracts her with his attack. Given that the necromancer wishes to fight, that shadow assassin decides to just break his limbs and drag him back with her. But Zhu Yu won't let that happen, and she stands firm against the enemy with her shield. Huasi admits that our guy is popular among the ladies and drifts Zhu away. Now that the shadow assassin and Chao are left to fight, our fella thinks of stacking Dragon Roar / maybe 1,000 times so that he can stand a chance against Hua Qi. The shadow assassin strikes at an unmatched speed and she manages to slash our boy's arm. Injured, Chao suggests her to focus on just 4 limbs and leave the 5th one alone, to which she agrees. With that, Huazi slashes his 2nd arm. Panicked, our guy presumes that his defense is completely useless against the assassin. She's moving so damn fast that he has no time to react. Time passes and Huazi stays true to her words as she mercilessly slashes Chao's limbs one by one, making him bang on the ground. Hawasi wonders why our dude made it hard for himself when he could have cooperated from the start. She brutally kicks him in the gut and he goes soaring right onto the stone coffin. At that moment, Chao Yu senses that some kind of power in that coffin is restraining him, and he gets a bad feeling about this. Suddenly, he feels a wave of unnatural sleepiness wash over him. Smirking, Huasi tells him to nap because by the time he wakes, they'll be at their destination. Just then, Zuyu appears with shield now wreathed in the terrifying flames of the underworld, and she asks Huasi to put Chao down. The assassin is left in disbelief when she witnesses the flames of the underworld on Zu's shield. She seems to have become powerful all of a sudden. Trapped in a daze, Chao can hear Zu's voice but cannot move. He wonders how Zhu Yu, an early-stage player, is holding up against Huasi, a high-stage player. The shadow assassin is gravely injured and she calls Zhu a complete madwoman. It's as if she had become a possessed psycho. Our guy keeps screaming as he's worried sick about Zhu. She then appears near the coffin and assures Chao that she's fine. He asks her about Huazi and learns that she ran away. Half awake, Chao Yu suggests to Zhu that they should get out of here since the dungeon is about to collapse. She then places her hand on his forehead and confesses that she can't leave with him. While Zhu apologizes, our guy questions her about what's going on. Chao, trapped inside the dark place, frantically asks her to get him out of the coffin first and to stop crying. Tears stream down Zhu's face as she kisses Chao's forehead and expresses that she has so much to tell him. But there's no time, and since the dungeon is about to collapse, she sends him out first. Our guy screams hysterically, unable to grasp the situation. To save him, she uses the blue flames to shatter the ground and sends Chao out in a protective shield. That's when our boy gets out of the coffin and finds himself drifting away. He watches helplessly as Zhu smiles and withers away. Chao can't process this and his mind floods with questions, wondering why it turned out like this. She wishes our fella to keep living well. The scene switches to the hospital, where Yang Xiangdi, Ma Fei, and Ziyue gather around Chao Yu. Ma Fei thinks it's unfair to hide things from Yu, while Xiangdi agrees but says the doctor stated our boy can't handle any shocks. Momentarily, our fella opens his eyes. His vision is blurry and his head hurts. Yang reasons that they drank too much last night, and Yu ran headfirst into a lamppost. Well, our guy can sense that he's lying to him because there's no way he'd be so careless. Yang then asks Ma Fei to back him up, who admits that this fat guy is telling the truth. Deep down, Chao feels a massive void in his head. He doesn't remember anything that happened in that dungeon. On the contrary, at Bai Zi's castle, Huazi is called out for failing at another chance to capture the necromancer she was given. She admits that this time it was an accident, and the woman she was fighting with was too strange. Not to mention that she ignited the flames of the underworld. Terrified as hell, Huazi pleads with her boss for another chance, followed by a death stare by his boss. Later in the hospital, Chao Yu notices that all his stats have drastically increased by several levels. Even the green dragon blade turned into the golden dragon crescent blade, but something doesn't sit right with him. He's certain that he's missing out on some really important memories that he's forgotten. In the meantime, Longshang arrives with some fruits and our guy asks him if he needs something from him. Xiang mentions the global underworld combat tournament for universities, a grand event held once every 4 years jointly by Eastern and Western alliances. It's the biggest stage for young talents to showcase their skills. Longshang states all the details, which makes Chao think that he's inviting him to participate in the tournament. However, Shang invites our fella to run a dungeon with him. Xing's eyes look mischievous and he says only those who complete this dungeon can qualify for the tournament. But he doesn't force Chao, given that he's injured, and asks him to reach out later if he's interested. After the guy leaves, our fella finds it very odd that Long is inviting a first-year student to run a dungeon with him. He feels like this blondie is trying to set him up. Abruptly, Yang and Ma Fei enter the room with their faces swollen, and our guy can't help but ask why there are 2 Xiangdes. Shengdi clarifies that the other one is Ma Fei, and Chao frantically questions how he ended up like this. That's when Yang decides to unfold the truth and tells Yu that he didn't hit a lamppost. He reveals that Chao went into a dungeon, but not a single soul knows what happened inside. When they found Chao Yu, he was lying by the road, unconscious. Our fella discovers the name of the dungeon was the pseudo-underworld, which doesn't really ring any bells. But he knows one thing for sure, his memories of that dungeon are really gone. After this, Xiangdi explains that he went with Ma Fei to investigate and figure out what happened. In the process, they came across the Hunters Guild, which was also investigating that dungeon. That guild has a group of dungeon guides who make a living helping others clear dungeons, and one of their members, Wang Dafu, also disappeared in the pseudo-underworld. The guild sent a leader who demanded they explain the reason behind exploring that dungeon, and that's how Ma Fei tangled up in a fight with them. After our boy listens to the whole story, he decides to confront that guild since his friends took a beating because of him, so he can't just let those guys off easy. But Xiangdi opposes the idea as the guild has over 100 members who are all high-stage players, and they can't beat them all up. But Chao doesn't buy this bullshit. Even if that's the case, he is determined to handle the early and mid-stage ones. Ma Fei totally agrees with him because this poor boy hasn't been humiliated like that before. The scene then flips to the Hunters Guild, where the members praise young Master Huang for beating those two punks who dared to mess with him. Huang tells them to stop bragging about roughing up two nobodies and mentions that it's more important to find Wang Dafu. One of the members asks Huang if he needs protection, but the leader takes this as an insult. The member laughs it off, assuming that they're overthinking it. Shortly, Huang crosses paths with the two punks he beat up earlier, and they're now back with another one. They turn out to be Ma Fei, Yang, and Chao Yu. Leader Huang suggests they figure out who they are before they even think about revenge. But our hero, cocky as ever, asks Huang to apologize so that he might go easy on him. The leader bursts into laughter and thinks they should be grateful that he beat them up. Huang advises them that when he hits, they ought to take it quietly because his dad is the head of the Hunters Guild, so whatever he says is the law. While Huang flaunts his power, Chao Yu is impressed by him showing off and tells Ma Fei that he has a lot to learn. But Ma Fei calls that flattery too forced, nowhere near as smooth as him. Huang gets mocked real bad and gets pissed off. Without any reluctance, Chao Yu pulls a move and smacks him in the face, assuring Huang that he'll make him fatter than Xiangdi. The cocky leader gets humbled real quick and fails to process that someone dared to attack him, the young master, like this. Yang Xiangdi assumes that his brain got fried from all that flaunting while young Master Huang gets hopping mad. He attacks Chao with a giant hammer that clashes with his staff. Chao discovers that this arrogant young master's strength is not weak. While Huang is low-key impressed by Chao's strength, Ma Fei, using his sword technique, manages to injure Huang so that he starts to bleed. The young master starts laughing after seeing his blood and tells a story. He narrates that when he was 18, he was clearing a dungeon when a player injured him. After exiting the dungeon, he sent people to capture him. He then sliced his flesh piece by piece and made him eat it. That guy went insane afterward. The point being that since no one has ever dared to injure Huang Ying, he promises to treat them well. The murderous intent coming from that guy is insane. While our fella suggests that instead of threatening them, he should consider how to escape from here. But Huang Ying has no plans of escaping, and he uses a skill, Blood Chaos Hammer. But Chao Yu deflects his attack by striking his staff. Ying admits that he underestimated our necromancer, and in that case, he decides to unleash his true power. The young master's energy bursts forth and ascends the clouds. Yang Xiangdi yells and lets his members know that Huang is signaling for backup. Xiangdi uses Sandbind to stop him, but it's too late. Huang Ying activates Blood-Flooding Torrent and strikes his hammer to kill Chao. The attack dismantles the whole place, and while Ying laughs like a maniac, our fella pulls an Uno reverse and smacks him across the face. Poor Ying gets beaten to a pulp and threatens our guy that his father will have him skinned and dismembered. While the young master gets knocked out, Ma Fei wonders how they should deal with this guy, and Chao grabs the unconscious Ying and makes a run for it. Since Huang caused such a ruckus, our guy is sure the Hunters Guild members will show up soon. Later, a guild member arrives at the scene and observes young Master Huang's blood scent. He then dashes like thunder, following that scent. The scene then switches to the Hunters Guild president's office, where a member hysterically barges in, reporting that young Master Huang is missing. The president gasps with disbelief, wondering who could be this bold. On the contrary, Chao and the others are on the run along with Huang Ying. Xiangdi witnesses that this bastard Ying has woken up. The young master praises their skills but suggests they release him, or else they will suffer the unending retaliation of the Hunters Guild. Our boy thrashes that bastard on the ground and asks Huang to behave since he's a prisoner now. Poor young master groans in pain and warns them that his father will kill them. Ma Fei and Xiangdi, on the other hand, are ready to take their revenge, and Fei has been waiting for this moment to beat him up. Just as young Xiangdi plans to rough him up and enjoy beating Huang Ying, their revenge is interrupted by a sudden lightning strike that aggressively cascades. As everyone gets startled and wonders who this light-type mage is, it turns out to be Charles, Huang's butler. The butler really did search high and low for his young master. Just as Huang Ying spots his butler, he immediately commands him to kill them. The butler assures his young master that he won't let 3 cunning evildoers escape. He asks them to surrender so perhaps they'll suffer less. but Xiangdi refuses to surrender and attacks with his earth explosion technique. There is an explosion, but the butler remains unaffected. Chao Yu realizes that this old man may not be top tier, but he's definitely close. Since they wish to resist, the butler warns them not to blame him for making a move. With that, Chao, Ma Fei, and Yang rush to attack while that butler commands a holy attack to spot the enemies. Suddenly, the three of them are unable to move as the light shines on them, and soon after, the butler's staff transforms into a golden holy sword. The lightning from the holy sword awe-strikingly moves on the butler's command, dealing with the three of them at once. Even Chao is backed off, and he senses the terrifying power of that old man. He's amazed that with a single move, that guy has completely suppressed them. The butler believes that as mere beginners, these guys were able to withstand one of his skills, realizing that's how they managed to defeat their young master. But the light mage declares that it ends here and threatens them to surrender since they are weak as ants. Yang Xiangdi calls out that old man for calling them weak and starts attacking Ma Fei's pride. Yang calls Ma Fei pathetic and says he's nowhere near Chao's level. With that level of strength, he'll never catch up to our guy, not even to tie his shoes. Xiangdi goes too far when he asks Ma Fei if he was hiding when humanity was evolving. He claims that Fei was destined to be a beast of burden, and suggests that he becomes Chao's lackey, so that he'll at least protect him. That's when the ground trembles, and it's as if Ma Fei comes back from the dead after hearing such kind words about him. Even the butler senses the terrifying sword intent, which is because Ma Fei's ego was shattered completely. His eyes blaze with fury, and Ma Fei tells Yang to stop spouting nonsense and watch him kill this old geezer in no time. The sword cultivator summons his sword while the butler is left bewildered. Ma Fei comes back stronger tenfold and activates sword slash across eras. He leaps at the butler, who appears terrified and commands holy light to shield him. The old man's trick is halted by Xiangdi, whose fat burns once again, and he strikes with the earth explosion technique. With two of their great moves combined, the energy manages to penetrate through the old man's holy shield, more like pierces through him. After the butler goes flying away, Yang questions if the old man is dead, but Ma Fei is not certain. However, their suspicions turn out wrong when the old man sneakily strikes with the holy light, and Chao jumps in to take the damage. The butler is about to go on a rampage as Chao sees through him, presuming that he's about to explode. Suddenly, our boy suffers from a severe headache, and it appears that the dungeon memories are flooding back. The flashbacks of Zhu Yu fill his head. Our fella is flustered, and he feels like someone has been shielding them from damage all along. He can't remember who it is. Dazed by the flashbacks, our boy gets struck by the butler's golden holy sword. Yang Xiangdi grabs Chao and advises Ma Fei that they better run if they can't handle this, given that the butler is terrifying. Ma Fei seems to be in the mood to fight the old geezer, but when he looks behind, he witnesses Yang scampering from the scene with Chao Yu on his back. Ma Fei, freaked out, asks them to wait for him. Abruptly, he grabs Huang Ying to drag him along. Poor young master begs his butler Charles to save him. Charles runs to save his master, while the three of them escape from the holy light that follows them. They drag a screaming Huang Ying toward Jingdu University, with Charles in hot pursuit. In the meantime, they arrive at Jingdu University, while Xiangdi curses that old geezer Charles for daring to chase them all the way to the university. To make it worse, the students there spot young master Huang Ying being dragged mercilessly, wondering if someone kidnapped him and brought him to the campus. The security guard tries to stop Charles, but he throws that guy aside. The cat and dog chase finally comes to a halt when Chao and the others bump into teacher Wan Li Hao. Teacher Wan wonders what they're all up to, and our guy immediately reveals that a crazy dude is chasing them. Furious, Wan Li Hao finds it oddly bold and assumes this crazy dude seems to have a death wish, daring to chase their university students even onto school grounds. With that, the teacher fiercely jumps in for a fight. The butler tries to save his ass with his holy light shield, but Wan's single punch sends him flying. Beaten to a pulp, Butler Charles realizes the true strength of Jingdu University. Teacher Li Hao interrogates the butler and warns him that if he won't answer, he'll make sure to send him to his next life. That fierce punch scares the shit out of Charles. Shortly, things take an unexpected turn when the president of the Hunters Guild, along with the guild members, makes a surprising entry at the university. The president threatens Wan to let go of the butler, or else he'll join the butler in the afterlife today. This triggers something in Wan, and he lands a deadly punch right across the butler's face, uttering that he'd love to see how the president plans to make him die. The guild leader then orders his members to kill Wan, and they all leap towards him, not knowing that they are calling for their own trouble. Wan strikes a power-packed smash that blows away most of the guild members at once. After witnessing the menace, the guild members recognize Wan as the Battle King. He'd been missing for so long that they thought he was dead, but he's actually become a teacher at Jingdu. While others wonder if the battle maniac is really that famous, it is unraveled that Li Hao was born for battle. At the peak of the intermediate level, this guy once single-handedly defeated a high-tier swordmaster. Li Hao is the real deal, a ruthless powerhouse. The president of the guild discovers that Li Hao is the battle maniac and is surprised that he's still alive. The teacher thanks the president because ever since he became this lousy teacher, he hasn't had the chance to fight to his heart's content. He thanks the guild for causing trouble. The president gets infuriated by Juan's arrogance and pulls out his hammer. The hammer brutally hits the teacher as he's drifted away, but he remains unaffected. One of the members believes that the battle maniac doesn't seem as strong as they made him out to be, to which his fellow members warn him about the true terror of the battle maniac. It is then Wan Li Hao gets serious. His veins bulge out, and he lands a punch as if it's an explosive. That smash bangs the president into the wall, which makes him go stark raving mad. The guild leader is adamant about killing Wan this time, but the others get even more terrified. Because the scariest thing about the battle maniac is that the longer he fights, the stronger his fighting spirit becomes, and the stronger his battle fist gets. Suddenly, Li Hao is distracted by the loud sound of a heartbeat, and it turns out to be the guild president who is about to go on a rampage. While the members appear terrified since their leader is really pushed to kill this time, Li Hao scoffs and finds it ridiculous that one hit is enough to kill him. The tension between the two escalates to an extreme level, and that's when a black aura strikes the ground, gripping everyone's attention. Everyone is perplexed by that terrifying aura, as it feels like the slightest move would cost them their heads. Wan takes it as a sign to stop the fight, while the guild president is thunderstruck when he notices the S-rank equipment, the Kunwu sword. And the only master of that sword is the #1 swordsman in the world, Principal Ji Pingyang. The sword majestically rests on the ground, and Ji Pingyang makes quite a grand entry. He immediately demands an explanation from the Hunters Guild, or else he threatens to annihilate them. It is then Butler Charles calls for his own death, and makes things fucked up when he boldly throws a rope towards Pingyang and calls him an old geezer. The president screams at that stupid butler to stop, but things get out of hand when his rope swirls around the principal. But Charles is too busy bounding that old man with his immortal-breaking whip to make his escape impossible. Little did he know that he wished for his own death, and the whip sets on fire as Pingyang lightly slams his sword on the ground. That swish carries the command, and Charles's B-rank whip disintegrates, eventually resulting in his own painful death. Everyone present there is rendered speechless. With a casual strike, Pingyang killed a high-level player. This exudes the power of the #1 swordsman in the world. Disgruntled, the principal demands an explanation, and the guild's president reveals that some students from Jingdu University had kidnapped his son, Huang Ying. He reasons that he was forced to come here to rescue him. The principal appears displeased while the president just asks Pingyang to return his son and promises not to pursue this matter further. The old principal exudes a murderous intent and leaves the president with two choices, to either leave or die. Ma Fei is totally smitten by the principal, praising the true mastery of a true swordsman. The president lashes out and questions the headmaster if he's being unreasonable despite having some status. The headmaster responds that their guild caused trouble at the gates of his university and injured his students, so that's enough of a reason. The leader of the guild finds it unfair that Pingyang is covering for his students, even though they were in the wrong and even kidnapped his son. As Yang Xiangdi loudly clarifies that their guild attacked them first, the headmaster boldly confesses that he's going to cover for his students. Being a sassmouth, Pingyang counts to 3 and commands the Hunters Guild to get lost. The president has no choice but to retreat, and as they're leaving, Qiao Yu drags Huang Ying and tells his father not to leave him. Our guy then suggests that they make a deal. Qiao asks him to try to recover his memories, since he feels like that blank memory is really important to him. President Huang questions if that's extortion, but making amends looks better to him, and he asks our boy what he wants to release his son. Our greedy fella assures the president this can be settled with just a little cash and bluntly asks him to hand over his giant hammer. Freaked out, Huang fervently says that it's impossible, mentioning that his hammer is an A-grade weapon. If Qiao insists on that condition, he tells him to keep his kid and he'll go home to craft another one. Poor Ying gets disowned by his own father over a weapon, while our boy thinks it's a pretty good deal and informs the president that he wants a full set of C-grade or higher equipment. President Huang agrees and says to release his son. However, our boy asks for the equipment first in order to let Ying go. After a while, the president brings all the equipment and Qiao Yu releases the young master. Later, when all the drama ends, Principal Ji scolds Qiao and the others for acting recklessly this time. The headmaster reminds them that their strength is lacking and provoking such a powerful guild, especially the Hunters Guild that specializes in taking people through dungeons, was not in their best interest. Ma Fei tries to reason that the Hunters Guild attacked them first, but Headmaster Pingyang states that it doesn't matter even if they were in the right. It won't stop the Hunters Guild from targeting them. Qiao curiously asks Pingyang if they did something wrong, to which he answers that the only mistake they made was not being thorough enough, letting them track them back here. If it were the headmaster himself in his younger days pulling a stunt like this, he confidently states that Huang Xuqiang wouldn't just be extorted, he'd never know who did it even until his death. Sighing, Pingyang is well aware these kids are still far from his younger self. Chao, Mafei, and Xiangdi glance at the principal with utter admiration. Later, at the dormitory, Yang's eyes are fixated on the equipment given by President Huang and agrees that the Hunters Guild really is loaded. Our guy tells him to stop blabbing and pick 2 pieces of equipment for themselves. While Xiao Yu goes through the item descriptions to see what best fits him, Xiangdi loves the idea of extorting and asks Yu about his next plan. Our fella plans to continue his classes and try to recover his memories as they feel blank. This low-key worries Ma Fei and Yang because the truth is better when hidden. The next day, at the physical training class, Wan Li Hao asks his students about their thoughts on Principal Ji's true strength. One of the students believes that a true powerhouse must be able to solo kill the world serpent, Jormungandr. 5 years ago, the headmaster took down that giant serpent in just 5 strikes. After that, Teacher Wan appreciates his students for doing well on the first stage of training and moves on to the second session. The second training session will focus on their agility training. He teaches that strength and defense alone aren't enough. Without agility, they're just a lumbering target, destined to get kited to death. For this reason, Body Refiner is the hardest class to succeed in the inner world. Our Necromancer feels good about this, since his agility is too low, and he doesn't plan on relying on the Corpse Ancestor Ring's effect all the time. After that, they all teleport to a sea-level dungeon, the abyss of the deep sea. The students wonder if Teacher Wan is planning to have them dodge the ocean waves. The instructor elaborates that the second part of their training is to cross over those pillars. The real challenge is that if they reach the peak of the opposite mountain within 5 minutes, they pass. Chao Yu observes that these stone pillars are constantly battered by waves, which makes them super slippery, so standing firm on them is tough. Moreover, some of the pillars are severely corroded by seawater, so one wrong step could make them completely collapse. Wan Li Hao wonders who'll be the first to go, and Lin Lang willingly responds. Lin begins jumping on the pillars, and seconds later, he gets the hang of staying balanced. Watching Lin, everyone assumes that it's pretty easy, but shortly, it becomes certain that this test will get the best of them when suddenly a fish pops out of the ocean and Lin Lang loses balance, hence falling into the water. Poor Lang swims back to the shore 15 minutes later. That's when Li Hao opens up about the strange fish called the gray swordfish, which are unique to this dungeon. Any creature attempting to reach the opposite mountain will face an attack from the gray swordfish. Out of curiosity, one of the students asks Wan how many gray swordfish are there beneath the sea. The instructor reveals the terrifying fact, stating that the ocean is their lair, which means there are about 100,000 of them. The students are left shook as they learn that there are 100,000 gray swordfish in the sea. Wan announces that the first person to complete the task first will receive a special task. This motivates all of them since they're aware that their teacher's rewards are never disappointing. They start hopping all together, determined to win, and at last, Chao decides to give it a try as well. He starts off with tremendous speed, catching Wan by surprise, and moves swiftly from one pillar to another. The students are amazed by Chao's incredible speed, while one of them tells him to slow down as the pillar can't hold 2 people at the same time. He seems to be laser-focused as he doesn't listen to him and makes the guy fall into the water. This surprises the students even more, and they are curious as to how he's so smooth at this. Meanwhile, our boy is glad he utilized the swift wind boosts he just got. These gale boosts are a level C item, and they let you slide behind an enemy within 1 meter with gale-like speed. One of the guys punches the gray swordfish as it jumps to attack him while Chao continues to move with speed. Just then, the queen calls him out and informs him that there's something incredible on that mountain across the sea. Our necromancer is caught by surprise as he discovers that the Empress is back. Yu lets her know that he doesn't care what's on the other side of the mountain. Instead, he demands to know the truth about what happened in the pseudo-underworld dungeon. The queen apologizes and reveals that she can't tell him that because when the pseudo-underworld collapsed, the main will of the inner world focused all its attention there. Hence, in order to avoid being discovered, she confesses that she had no choice but to go dormant. As a result of that, she doesn't clearly know what happened after that. She lets Chao know that the memory he lost wasn't accidental, but rather deliberate. It seems that Zuo Yu sealed our boy's memory because she doesn't want him to remember her. This baffles our main character even more, as he wonders why she would do that. This triggers something inside him and he starts punching the gray swordfish like a madman. Everyone is astounded to see this sight of him while Wan contemplates what's gotten into this kid. Chao is deep in his thoughts and continues to clear the task. He asks the Empress if she has a way to break the seal, and she tells him that she does have a way, but before that, she wants him to obtain one thing. Yu desperately asks her what that thing is, and she informs him that it's the ghost eye. Suddenly something starts happening to him, but he's determined to know where he can get it. The queen notices that there's something wrong, but before anything could be done, our boy falls into the sea of the gray swordfish. As Chao falls into the water, Zuo Yu appears there, and after that, he finds himself in a hospital, yet again. Teacher Xiaorong shows up at his room door and gives him something to drink as she tells him that his friends told her about him. Suddenly, a guy bursts into the room and questions Xiaorong if Yu is the pretty boy she came all the way to see. Xiaorong questions the guy about what he's trying to do and tells him to get out. But he continues to ask her what is so good about our boy, who doesn't even have thighs as thick as his arm. She tries to shut him up, and he challenges Qiao to a duel in the duel grounds, with a condition that whoever loses will stay away from Xiaorong. Our boy wonders who this noisy guy is, and that's when the guy reveals that he's Lu Yanhang, the strongest male genius from Jingdu Azure Dragon Normal University. Yu, as he hears the name Jingdu Azure Dragon University, recalls that this school has a 1:9 male to female ratio, mostly girls. The teacher whispers to Chao not to argue with him because even though he has issues, his strength is formidable. Our necromancer gets out of his bed and lets Lu know that he never went out of his way to approach teacher Xiaorong. Yanheng feels satisfied to see that he has some sense of awareness as he tries to gaslight Xiaorong that this coward isn't suitable for her and he's the only one worthy of her. That's when Yu interrupts him and tells him that he's misunderstood him, and what he actually meant was that the teacher came to him on her own. He further adds that she also poured water for him and took care of him day and night, and that she even told him that he's not as handsome as he is and shorter too. This provokes Lu, to the point that he tries to hit Chao, but the purple-haired lady interrupts and protects him with her shield. Yanheng challenges our boy in a one-on-one fight in the duel ground while Yu calls the security to drag him away. The guy is dragged away while he continues to provoke him to fight. After he's been taken away, Xiaorong apologizes to Chao and tells him not to listen to his nonsense. She rants about him pestering her and her not being able to get rid of him. Yu assures her not to worry and declares to take care of him for her. The scene is then shifted to the duel ground. The audience in the ground gossip about the fight that's going to happen today between Lu Yanhang from Jingdu Azure Dragon University and a genius from Jingdu University. They wonder if the genius from Jingdu is Longxiang, but one of them reveals that he's heard it's someone named Chao, a freshman. As people hear that a freshman and a junior are fighting, they believe it's unfair to the freshman. Some of them bet their money now that the current odds are 5-1 for Chao Yu to win. Lu walks to the fighting pool and acknowledges the fact that our boy is much better than he was in his freshman year. But since he's still a freshman, he claims to beat him into a dead dog in front of Xiaorong. With that, he introduces himself to be a level 26 intermediate heavy armor warrior. Xiao then introduces himself as a level 17 beginner necromancer, and the audience goes silent as they hear that he's a beginner necromancer up against an intermediate heavy armor warrior. The audience starts creating a fuss over the fight being pointless as they believe Lu will be the winner. Some consider the possibility of Yu having a chance if he creates some distance and summons a bunch of undead creatures. As Yanheng learns that he, a warrior at a higher level, is up against a mage, he couldn't help but question Yu if he's trying to scam him for money. Before he could say something else, Chao goes for a punch straight at his face. Lu is confused as to what he's doing while the audience is convinced that our boy is going to lose. Xiaorong, on the other hand, is aware that they're all underestimating Yu. Yanheng decides to take our necromancer's punch head-on, assuming that he won't be able to do much damage to him. As he's punched, he's sent back flying to the ground and the sight leaves the audience dumbfounded. They can't believe what they're seeing, and the ones who bet their money start regretting betting on Lu. Just then, Yanheng stands up again and admits that Chao's punch really hurt him, hence it's his turn to use his powers now. The battle begins as they both block each other's attack and stand their ground, until Lu pulls out his signature move and hits our boy. Chao is taken aback by Lu's brutal move, making him wonder what the hell that is. Lu warns him not to underestimate him, and as our boy tries to attack him with his spear, he blocks it with his forearms. Yu is unable to pull his spear out, and as he tries to do so, he's punched viciously by his opponent. As he's hit, the Silver Lion Helmet's effect is triggered, which when worn, increases head defense by 50 points and grants immunity to one head-targeted attack. Turns out Yanheng is much stronger than Chao expected, and he's glad that he has the Silver Lion Helmet with him right now. Lu expects our necromancer's strength attribute to be really high because of those last two hits. He could tell his attack power is at least 500. This shocks the audience even more while the high-level warrior lets out that having stat points alone is useless. He believes that's because, even with 500 points of strength, some people can fully integrate and utilize those 500 points of power, while others can't even bring out half of their potential. That, according to Yanheng, is called the conversion ratio, and based on his observations, he concludes that Chao has high attack power, but his conversion ratio is terrifyingly low. And that's when our boy realizes why his stat points are so high, yet he always feels like he's falling short of being invincible. Now he knows the problem. Lu further elaborates that conversion ratio is simply the proportion of stat points converted into combat power. Between two players with identical stat points, the one with the higher conversion ratio will always have the upper hand. And as for Chao, he bets that he doesn't even have a 1-to-1 conversion ratio, and that makes him wonder how he calls himself a top student at Jingdu. Our boy lets him know that's none of his business, but he still thanks him for answering one of his questions. And as a reward, he claims to punish himself with one punch first. With the punch, Wrath of the Mechanical Empress is triggered and Yu enters a berserk state. Lu reminds him that everyone's watching while Xiaorong along with everyone else wonders what Chao is trying to do. Meanwhile, our boy informs his rival that it doesn't matter if the conversion ratio is low, because as long as the stat points are high enough, it's all the same. He activates the corpse ancestor's ring and springs towards Yanhang, punching him like a punching bag. The audience is caught by utter disbelief, not being able to process that a low-rank necromancer just knocked out a mid-level warrior. Lu refuses to give up as he declares that he's someone who's preparing to represent the Jingdu Azure Dragon University in the global underworld combat tournament. Therefore, he refuses to be defeated by the likes of someone like Chao. That being said, he pulls out the move that he was originally saving for the tournament: 3 heads and 6 arms. With that, he leaps at our boy and lands multiple punches at him that start triggering the berserk state. Yanhang continues to hit Qiao, and as he's convinced that the outcome is now decided, his punch is stopped by Qiao. It seems that the berserk state of the mechanical empress has now reached its limit. Yu agrees with him and declares that the outcome is decided. He pulls out one of the 6 arms of Lu, and that makes him go all out as he attacks him violently. However, our boy is still stronger than him as he gives him a good beating. The audience goes crazy as they witness the physical strength of a necromancer being at such a terrifying level. And among them, we see Tang Lan, who seems to have been looking for Chao until now. Meanwhile, Yanhang watches the sight of our boy moving towards him with pure fright. Chao lands a ridiculously strong final blow to Lu, and that reduces his HP to 1, thus defeating him. The audience is still trying to process the fact that a freshman who just entered college, a low-rank necromancer, won a one-on-one close combat against a junior mid-rank heavy-armored warrior. Yu walks out of the fighting pool, and as he enters a place where no one can see him, he coughs out blood. Our boy had to take a few punches from that guy in order to stack the Wrath of the Mechanical Empress skill to its limit. He finds the skill really powerful but life-consuming, and now he's way too exhausted to even stand. The berserk state is deactivated, a mysterious side effect is triggered, which is immobilization for 1 hour. Chao collapses and his body is about to hit the ground when Tang Lan shows up and holds him. Our boy recognizes the scent, but before he could react or resist, he's knocked out by the wood mage. Later, Yu finds himself in a luxury bedroom. He remembers fighting Lu and then being knocked out by some weird woman. The 2 maids present there are glad to see him awake and refer to him as young master. Our necromancer is confused about what's happened. He tries to run away while the maids tell him that he can't wander around without the young miss's permission. He asks them who the young miss they're referring to is. This question surprises the maids as they wonder how come he doesn't even remember her. Nonetheless, Chao rushes to the door, and upon opening the door, he's welcomed by none other than Tang Lan, whose goal all along was to get out of the arranged marriage. Yu immediately recognizes her, and Lan instructs the maids to leave them alone. After they leave, our boy asks her what she wants and she tells him not to rush. With that, she grows out a flower from the seed implanted in Yu's neck, and the seed disappears as she does that. Our necromancer strictly asks her about what is going on and why they're calling him young master. That's when the wood mage reveals that she's the eldest daughter of the Tang family, and Xiao Yu is her husband. Hence that makes him the young master. Xiao is taken aback as never in his wildest dreams did he expect this to happen. She lashes out on him, saying that he has the nerve to say this when it's all his fault. She questions him if she would have kidnapped him to be her husband if he hadn't ruined her plans. And it's Yu's turn to lash out on her, as he justifies that even though he ruined her plan, that was for his own survival. Besides, he adds that still doesn't explain why she kidnapped him. At last, Lan reveals that her family has a rule, that if they don't reach high rank before 25, they'll be used as tools for political marriage. She confesses that she could have reached it with the ritual at the Lake of Purification, but he ruined her ceremony. But, if she can find her true soulmate, she won't have to go through with the arranged marriage. She lets Chao know that her original marriage partner might be extremely furious, and they might vent that anger on him. Our boy is in utter disbelief that he's being set up to bear the brunt of their anger, while Lan just shrugs her shoulders carelessly. He walks towards the door in order to leave, now that she's taken the wooden seat out. Tang Lan asks our fella if he's really ready to leave like this because now the entire Tang family knows that he is the new young master of the Tang family. She further adds that she also told her dad that she's pregnant with his child. Hence, if he leaves now, not only will her arranged marriage partner come after him, but the entire Tang family will also come after him. Chao shuts the door loudly and admits his surrender when Tang Lan walks toward him, grabbing his arm. She asks him if being her husband is such a bad deal since others would have loved to, but she wouldn't even look at them. Our boy yanks her hands away and tells her to stop, knowing that she just doesn't want to be in an arranged marriage. He offers to help her with the arranged marriage issue, and in return, he tells her to let him go and be strangers from then onwards. It is then she proposes a deal as well. She wishes Chao to pass the Tang family's test, then deal with her arranged marriage partner, and once that's done, she'll be free, and so will he. Chao has a feeling that he's fallen into her trap and realizes that her goal, all along, was to get out of the arranged marriage. Tang instructs Chao to take a good shower and make himself look handsome. She informs him that she'll come pick him up for their Tang family banquet. As she's about to leave, Yu traps her against the door and himself, making her nervous. She asks him what he's doing, and he believes she shouldn't care about it since he's her husband. Tang Lan covers herself and warns him not to try anything, reminding him that it's her Tang family home. Chao pulls his head back and headbutts her, leaving her feeling furious. In the evening, Tang comes to pick our boy up, and our boy walks out, dressed all handsomely in a tuxedo. The wood mage feels shy and leads him the way to the venue. As they both enter, all the maids greet their young mistress and master. Lan instructs Chow to say less, do less, and just follow her lead. He assures her not to worry, and as they walk forward, they're welcomed by Tang Lan's mother, Kong Yun. Lan introduces Yu to her mother and he greets her while also flattering her. Seeing him act so informal with her, Tang wonders who gave him such liberty. Her father sees Chow's sweet talk and flattery and finds it foolish and nonsensical. Our boy approaches him and believes that he must be Lanner's grandfather as he greets him. Tang interrupts him and lets him know that he's her father, Tang Dingshan. Our necromancer apologizes and lets out that his eyesight is terrible since he thought he was her grandfather. Dingshan feels like slapping him dead with one hand if only he wasn't the father of his unborn grandson. Lan grabs our boy and whispers to him to behave himself while letting out a forceful smile. Chow assures her not to worry while he's actually doing this intentionally, and decides to show her how he ruins her family's banquet. Just then, the Tang family's head, Tang Wumu, shows up and everyone bows their heads out of respect. Yu gets a feeling that this old man is not simple, and Lan introduces him to her grandfather, the head of the family. His aura makes everyone go quiet and he suddenly starts laughing out loud. He calls Chow a truly young hero for being able to withstand his aura and compliments him that he's got some of his old Tang style. Tang Lan apologizes on Yu's behalf to her grandfather and explains that he hasn't attended such family banquets before, hence he might have been a bit disrespectful. Wumu thinks it's fine and tells her not to be formal and be seated. After a while, we see Chow munching on the meat loudly and then burping out loud in front of the whole family. He wants to test how long Lan can tolerate him while she just feels embarrassed. After finishing their meal, Wumu orders everyone to leave except for our boy, since he wants to have a private word with him. Tang Lan and Dingshan hesitate to leave the two of them alone, but the old man tells them to do as he says. As they all leave, he informs Yu not to be nervous as he means no harm to him. The old man judges that Chow was brought here by Lanner. He rants that Lan has been spoiled by them in the Tang family since she was young. Hence, it's normal for her to be a bit willful, but her nature isn't bad. Our boy recalls Lan's previous acts and doubts Wumu's words about her nature isn't being bad. The old man lets out that he's kept him here alone to ask for his help with something for their family. He reveals that the younger generation of the Tang family is lacking, and currently, only Lanner is presentable. But, every year in the capital, there's a family gathering to decide the new 4 great families. Only those under 25 can participate, and he's hoping that Chow can represent their Tang family. Our necromancer instantly refuses and asks him why he should meddle in the Tang family affairs. Wumu reminds him that he's their son-in-law, hence he's qualified to participate. He lets him know that they won't let him help for nothing, and that he can make an exception and let him enter their family's ancestral grounds, inside which lies the secret of how their family rose to power. Chow, as he hears the proposal, believes that there must be many good things in those ancestral grounds since the Tang family is one of the 4 great families of the capital. Wumu lets Chow know that he really doesn't have any other options. And if they fail at the family gathering, the Tang family will surely fall from its position as one of the 4 great families of the capital. The old man can't watch his family decline under his leadership, at least in his lifetime, thus why he had to make such a request. Our boy wonders how he can be so sure that he can help the Tang family, and Wumu tells him not to underestimate their family because, since Lanner chose him, they've naturally investigated him, and his achievements speak for themselves. Chow decides to be straightforward and lets him know that he can participate in this family gathering, but he'll only do his best and not risk his life for the Tang family. The old man believes that's enough, and on behalf of the whole family, he thanks him and tells him to make himself at home in their family. Yu walks out and Tang Lan rushes towards him and bombards him with questions. She asks him why her grandfather wanted to speak with him alone and what he said. Chow informs her that he said he's cutting off his grandfather-granddaughter relationship, and from now on, he's her grandfather. Tang Lan gets furious and questions if he's asking for death, threatening him if he believes that his corpse won't be thrown into the sewers tomorrow. Our boy requests her to turn him into a corpse, but he tells her that it's best if her grandfather doesn't find out. The wood mage feels enraged and then an idea pops up in her head. She clings to Chow, begging him to tell her, and his nerves spike as he finally reveals the truth that her grandfather has just asked him to represent the Tang family at this year's family gathering. Lan is taken by surprise as she hears that and asks him if he just agreed to it like that. She implies that since he was brought here against his will, he shouldn't have agreed to it. This makes her wonder if he agreed to it because of her, but he tells her not to overthink it, since it has nothing to do with her. A few days later, at Chuanling Mountain, the 4 great families of the capital are gathered. The Tang, Qinji, and Xiao families. The Xiao family head, Tiance, mocks the Tang family that they surely have a big ego, arriving last for a grand entrance. Both the family heads are busy arguing when Qin Qianshui spots Yu's back, and it looks familiar to her. She shrugs it off, assuming that she's seeing things since she believes there's no way Chow could possibly be mixed with the Tang family's group. The family gathering judge, Jin Yixiu, announces to begin this year's family gathering, now that everyone's here. He asks the elites from each family to step forward, and that's when Qin sees Chow and realizes that it's really him. As they're about to begin, Tiance raises a question and lets out that he suspects our boy isn't actually from the Tang family. Wumu declares that this young man is his granddaughter's husband, hence he assumes that he's qualified to represent their Tang family in this gathering. The head of the Zhao gets furious and questions if he takes him for a fool. He believes that the Tang family grabbed just anyone to make up the numbers. The others butt in and start raising questions as well when they see the so-called husband and wife standing so far apart. The old man of the Tang family requests Chao to get closer to Lan in order to shut them up, but Chao refuses, since he only agreed to participate in the family gathering and now he's asking him to sell his body and soul. Wumu gets nervous and asks him what will make him agree, to which he puts forth to be paid more. And after this is over, he wants the Tang family to do one thing for him, with no questions asked. The old man instantly agrees and Chao starts acting all romantic and lovey-dovey with Tang Lan. Tiance observes them and discovers that our boy is an early-stage necromancer. He questions Wumu about it, to which he asks him if early-stage cultivators are not allowed to participate in the family gathering. The head of Xiao starts insulting the Tang family when the judge shuts him up and instructs everyone to leave the teleportation platform except the participants. The judge reveals that this gathering will be the same as the previous years. There are claimed to be 4 ghost eyes on Ghost Mountain, and the families who obtain the ghost eyes will become the new 4 great families. Chao observes that there's only one middle stage player while the other families have more. Just then, he realizes that the judges said something about the ghost eyes. The Ghost Mountain instance opens and all the participants are teleported there. The rest of them monitor the hunt through Yikshu's divine artifact. In the Ghost Mountain, a participant named Tanger is exterminated while her family mourns over the fact that she had the potential to reach the last stage. It seems that before the ghost fog dissipates, anyone who enters Ghost Mountain dies. People are surprised to see that the Tang family has already gathered 4 people so quickly, and Wumu is glad that the heavens are still looking over their family. Just then, he witnesses something that makes him anxious. Through the divine artifact, he sees Tang Iotian, the only mid-level player in the Tang family, and 2 others cornering Chao Yu. Aotian tells our boy that he'll be listening to him in this Ghost Mountain since securing a ghost eye for the Tang family and maintaining their position among the 4 great families is their top priority. And as the only middle stage cultivator, he believes he's the strongest and the highest DPS. Hence, naturally, he takes the responsibility of giving orders. The girl interrupts, saying Brother Aochin is their family's #1 genius. Therefore, no one will listen to a freeloading son-in-law like Chao instead of him. Our boy obediently agrees to listen to them and declares that he'll be hiding behind them. Wumu, on the other hand, feels enraged because he told his players before they left to follow Chao's lead. Aotian is in a hurry to obtain a ghost eye before anyone else as he leads them the way. As they're walking, Yu is busy contemplating what he should do because he needs a ghost eye to restore his memories, and the Tang family needs one too. But there are only 4 ghost eyes. They come across an NPC from the Ghost Mountain instance who's sleeping, and they decide to approach her quietly without provoking her. As they pass through her, the NPC wakes up and lets out that the living beings keep out from the Ghost Mountain hell or enter, and they shall die. The girl asks the old lady what she means, and she just laughs, saying that she won't tell them anything. And the only thing she tells them is that on Ghost Mountain, there are real ghosts. Chao pulls out his spear and draws it against her neck, threatening her to tell them what she knows. This catches the 3 players of the Tang family by surprise, including Wumu, who asks Lan if Yu has always been this brave. The lady keeps her mouth shut and our boy punches her in the face, and when she still doesn't listen, he's left with no other choice but to give her a good beating. At last, the old lady agrees to talk and Yu releases her, saying that if she would have cooperated earlier, she wouldn't have gotten beaten up. The NPC reveals that the legend says that Ghost Mountain is the intersection between the underworld and the world of the living, and countless vengeful ghosts reside there. Unable to reincarnate, they can't enter the cycle of rebirth, and are forced to wander Ghost Mountain for all eternity. She reveals that the ghost fog on Ghost Mountain is where the vengeful ghosts hide, and as soon as they sense the presence of the living, they'll swarm out and attack. Xiao goes into a trance where the vengeful spirits are calling to him and the queen wakes him up from it. Our boy did not expect the Ghost Mountain to be able to affect his mind from so far away. He realizes that this place is more frightening than he manifested. He asks the old lady what else she knows, and she begs him to spare her, claiming that she doesn't know anything else. Yu asks her where the ghost eye is, and she stutters as she speaks. Tiance objects if this is allowed, and if Chao can find the location of the ghost eyes this way. Wumu, on the other hand, is skeptical why our boy is using a knife when he's a necromancer. Yu threatens to use the knife on the NPC, and she stops him by telling him that she only knows the location of one ghost eye. She reveals that the ghost eye is on the ghost monk, and if they can kill the ghost monk, they can obtain the ghost eye. The old lady further reveals that the ghost monk was originally an enlightened monk who vowed to deliver all the vengeful ghosts on the Ghost Mountain from their suffering. One day, he bathed, burned incense, donned a golden kasaya, and holding a lapis lazuli Buddhist staff, he resolutely stepped on the Ghost Mountain. For a moment, a radiant Buddha light shone upon the Ghost Mountain, manifesting a giant Buddha, as if a true Buddha had descended. But not long after, the golden Buddha was swallowed whole by the ghost fog. Later, when people saw the enlightened monk again, he had become the ghost monk. The NPC lets Chao know that the ghost monk is always at the ruined temple on the Ghost Mountain. Our boy turns around to leave, claiming to trust the old woman and go to the ruined temple and investigate. As he does that, the NPC tries to attack him, and it seems that our boy already predicted it. He knew she wasn't being honest, and that being said, he slices her body in half. As he defeats her, his golden dragon crescent blade's deathly energy increases by 1 out of 100. It's revealed that when the deathly energy reaches maximum, the golden dragon crescent blade gains an additional enhancement effect, called the Ghost Slayer. Our boy discovers the way to gain the deathly energy while his teammates seem to be intimidated by him. The girl, Tang Long, asks Aochin if Yu is possessed by something unclean, while he just warns him to avoid doing anything reckless. Xiao gives them an evil smile and reminds them that they're all teammates. Hence, why would he do something like turning them all into deathly energy? This leaves the players of the Tang family stunned, and Aotian, in order to ease the situation, introduces the 2 others to our boy. He reveals the girl to be Tang Long and the other guy to be Tang Hu. With that, he suggests that they keep moving now that there are no other objections. As they're walking, they hear weird noises coming from inside the trees, and that makes them feel uneasy. Eodian, as their leader, instructs them to ignore those sounds and just pretend that they didn't hear anything. The people observing the hunt through the divine artifact find the middle stage player of the Tang family to be quite capable, even though he's a bit arrogant. Aodian believes that passing by without provoking these lesser ghosts is easier and better. The audience is all busy observing them when they spot Chao doing something at the back. Our necromancer appears to be hunting ghosts down in order to increase his deathly energy. The so-called team leader tries to stop him, saying that if he angers the lesser ghosts here, they'll all end up dead and dismembered. The ghosts appear and leap at Yu while he lacerates them at an insane speed. His deathly energy is maxed out in an instant, and the Golden Dragon Crescent Blade is rewarded with enhancement and receives the title of Ghost Slayer. The players of the Tang family are left shaken once again, while Wumu is impressed by Chao's strength being far beyond what he imagined. Our boy continues to chase a ghost, when Zhang Erhe, a Zhang family Taoist, burns them all with his treadfire. Chao is furious to witness his source of deathly energy being frittered like that. Erhe asks them if they're all right, while the viewers are surprised to see him. It's revealed that he's a crucial NPC in the Ghost Mountain, and getting his help lowers the difficulty by a whole level. They find the Tang family to be lucky that they ran into the Zhang family Taoist. Meanwhile, Xiaotians is concerned if the Tang family will retain their position among the 4 great families again. Aodian thanks Zhang Erhe for his assistance, and he warns them about how dangerous this place is. The team leader explains their situation to the Taoist, and reveals how they must ascend this mountain. Erhe understands his point and instructs them to follow him up the mountain. However, he lets them know that they still need to be careful since there are so many of them. He can't protect everyone. Therefore, in critical moments, they must rely on themselves. Tang Iodian is truly grateful for him, as he believes that with his help, he's finally not afraid of Chao messing things up and dragging them down. As they're progressing forward, Tang Long gets frightened, as there's no path around them. She asks Aochin if he's sure about going up this mountain, and he just reassures her that he's here to protect her. Chao gives them a look, as he doesn't want them to be screaming for help later. With that, he effortlessly slices the trees blocking their way, and seeing such dense, deathly energy in his knife, Zhang Erhe couldn't help but ask Yu about what he does for a living. Our boy lets him know that he's a butcher, but this doesn't convince Taoist, who even gets more curious about him. As Yu cuts down a few more trees, they uncover a path, leading Aochin to realize that someone has already reached Ghost Mountain ahead of them, and that they need to pick up the pace. Just then, Erhe signals them to stop, and as they're wondering what it is, their eyes catch the sight of dead bodies of people from another family. This disturbs Long even more, and she's baffled as to what's on this ghost mountain. The Taoist preys upon the dead and suggests that they keep moving. As they are about to progress, they spot what seems to be a ghost devouring a human body. This catches everyone off guard except for our necromancer, who dashes towards the entity, not caring if it's a human or a ghost. He slashes it in half, and after seeing his boldness, Erhe finds him quite formidable. Long pleads to the team leader to go down while he tries to explain to her that they have to find a ghost eye first. Suddenly, they hear someone singing opera, and they all look around, only to find themselves in water. They're busy contemplating what's happening around them when Long spots a ghost behind Aochin, who's busy comforting her. The ghost disappears as he looks behind, but Long insists that there's a female ghost here. The Taoist uses the heavenly eye to take a look, and as he does that, the invisible female ghost injures his eyes without him being able to see her face. Chao looks around but doesn't find any ghosts, while Erhe utilizes the 7-kill ghost god order to attack the ferocious ghost. The female ghost is provoked by the attack and leaps towards Zhang, who can't believe that she's able to move even after being hit by the 7-kill ghost god order. As she attacks him, he summons the 9 heavens responding Yuan, Thunderclap Universal Transformation Heavenly Lord, and lands a good blow at her. Aodian is quite impressed by his powers as he assumes that the female ghost is dead. However, Chao realizes that's not the case, and it's revealed that she's still alive. The opera continues, and Zhang Erhe senses the impending danger, alerting everyone to run. He figures that this female ghost has gone through a lot in life, and her resentment is like nothing he's ever seen before. As they all start running, the water still follows them, and Aochin realizes that it's no use, and they can't escape. Hence he decides to fight her, and the female ghost hides as he tries to attack her with his spear. He uses the heaven-piercing spear technique to strike her, but she vanishes and then appears behind him. Eodian is unable to move and his body turns cold, and while he's immobile, the ghost tosses him away. The Taoist plans on using a secret move if nothing works, and that's when he senses a ridiculous amount of deathly energy from Chao. He advises Yu to run away and stop wasting his energy, since this female ghost's resentment is way overwhelming and her power astonishing. Our necromancer confidently remarks that times have changed and plans on showing him what it means to break 10,000 spells with one force. With that, he sprints towards the female ghost and strikes his spear at her, but she vanishes again. She appears behind Yu, but contrary to Eotian, he questions her why her face looks so pale. The female ghost is enraged, and that's when the silver lion helm is utilized. Our boy uses his gale boots to attack her while she's weak, and at the same time, she's hit with the dragon roar combo. The lady ghost runs for her life while Chao aims his spear at her, trying to hit her at least once. The audience is taken aback to see that our necromancer is the one chasing the ghost, and that makes them ponder what kind of a monster he is. Yu chases the ghost and tries to hit her, but she manages to escape. Zhang thanks Chao for his help, and Chao is thankful to him too, for weakening her. Eodian couldn't help but thank him as well. Meanwhile, Xiaotians questions Wu Mu if his son-in-law really is an early-stage player, doubting him. The old man of the Tang family gives him a glare and asks him if he needs to explain himself. Tiance realizes that Wu Mu has already reached the realm and is taken by surprise. Xiao's underling asks his patriarch if they should postpone their plans against the Tang family, now that it's revealed that Wu Mu has reached the realm. But Tiance doesn't feel the need as he believes that old man may have advanced. Inside the instance, we see Tang Long acting all clingy around our boy. She clings on his arm and pretends to be scared on this ghost mountain, wanting him to protect her. Lan, who's watching this, gives off an irritated look while Chao yanks Long away. He tells her to get away from him or he'll punch her. After our boy bluntly jerks Tang Long away and warns her that he'll punch her, she freaks out because this was totally unexpected. In the meantime, Aochin notices her anxious face and calls her out. Cunning Long clings to brother Aotian and reasons that she was just bewitched by the ghost, adding that he's the best to her. Shortly after, Zhang warns them of strong yin energy ahead and also hears the sound of fighting. He can't tell if it's a friend or foe. As the Taoist looks back, he freaks out when he realizes that Chao Yu is missing from the scene. Well, it turns out that our guy's fighting spirit is through the roof, and somehow helping others is the root of happiness for him. But he's actually eager to acquire deathly key value. Chao excitedly glides through the air, declaring that he's an expert in exorcising evil ghosts. Just then, he jumps down the cliff, making an iconic entry, finding Xiaozun of the Xiao family and the painted skin ghost there. When the Taoist witnesses the ghost, he looks terrified and opens up that this creature peels off people's faces and wears them, eventually transforming into that person. Just then, Xiaozun requests our hero to help him subdue this evil ghost. But when Chao realizes that it's the Xiao family he's talking about, he straight up refuses. Our fella bids farewell to him, but Xiaozun stops him and agrees to pay him if he helps them eliminate the ghost. Well, when it's about money, Chao shamelessly turns back and bids higher. Our greedy hero states that he wants at least 5 million since brother Xiao is being so generous. Surprisingly, the deal closes with Xiaozun agreeing without any thought. This raises suspicion in Chao's mind, assuming that it might be a trap. That's when our boy proceeds with the spell, 7 Killings Ghost God Decree, and Zhang appears confused because originally, that's his spell. With that, our necromancer strikes the painted skin ghost with his spear, and Xiaozun is taken aback. Even the 5 of them couldn't handle the ghost, but our boy is suppressing it alone. After that, Xiao Yu calls the Xiao members for help, and all the swordsmen join him to kill the painted skin ghost. Just after slashing that ghost, multiple red eyes begin to materialize. Smirking, Xiaozun clearly knows this feeling and discovers that this painted ghost has a ghost eye on it. The boy gets ahead of himself and believes the heavens truly favor his family, but it turns out that someone else is also intrigued by the ghost eye, and it's Chao Yu. Our boy is the one who truly feels favored by the heavens. Just then, the Xiao members leap toward the ghost. Xiaozun commands them to rip open the painted ghost's skin since he needs to confirm something. They rip the ghost open, and the blonde confirms that the ghost eye is inside it. Xiaozun gets delusional and daydreams that if he brings back the ghost eye, he'll become the family's main focus for cultivation. It is then that the boy requests Chao Yu to help him kill the painted skin ghost, and even agrees to pay him 10 times more. Our fella goes first to cover for Xiao, who invokes his wolf to attack. Xiao's wolf attempts to bite off the ghost's head but is smashed away. That's when the ghost eye becomes apparent to everyone and clouds over them. The ghost eye is now exposed, and it ominously begins to expand its aura. Zhang and Xiaozun have a bad feeling about this while watching through the screen. They assume the worst, thinking that the Zhao family members and the Tang family's son-in-law have been pulled into the ghost eye space. The bronze mirror cannot see what is happening inside the ghost eye space. Everyone anticipates that the Xiao family members are likely in danger, given that the ghost eye space is filled with rampant ghost energy. Inside the ghost eye world, Chao Yu finds himself in a strange place when suddenly a woman approaches him. This beautiful woman finds the place truly eerie and asks Chao Yu if he is willing to escort her to a safe place. Our guy agrees, but he asks for something in return. While our dude wonders what kind of trick she is trying to pull, the woman bluntly reveals that she has nothing to repay him with except to offer herself. She clings to Chow, expecting a passionate romance, but our fella surprises her with a forceful punch. He justifies it by saying he couldn't resist slapping her. The woman tries to seduce Chow and wonders if the young master doesn't like damsels in distress. Then that concubine changes into someone else and appears more appealing, flaunting her body. But our boy still doesn't show any interest, and the concubine is curious to know exactly what is hidden in Chow's heart, considering he likes neither young girls nor mature women. The concubine guesses that he has someone very important in his heart, which is the only reason he can ignore these carnal temptations. Abruptly, that woman's hand pierces through Chow's chest because, in the ghost eye space, she can control him. That woman looks inside his heart to see who exactly is hidden at the bottom of it. That is when the concubine transforms into Zhu Yu. She didn't expect Chow to be a lolicon and assumes that this girl is very important to him. Chow boils with anger and believes this woman has a death wish. The concubine is too confident that our boy cannot hurt her and that he won't hurt her in that form. Smirking, our guy wonders if the concubine noticed that there is someone else hidden in his heart. To be exact, it is an existence even more terrifying than him. That is when the mechanical empress walks out of Chow's body and looks scarier than the ghost. The concubine gets scared as fuck and runs for her life. However, the empress captures her on the spot and asks Chow Yu to hurt it now that it is in its real form. That woman takes her real shape and our boy strikes her with the deathly key value. With no more than one attack, he acquires the ghost eye. He then asks the empress if this ghost eye can unlock his sealed memories. The empress nods and mentions that the ghost space hasn't collapsed yet. Chow then leaves that to the empress and hands her the ghost eye. While Her Majesty uses the ghost eye on him, our guy gets a bit scared, thinking it might hurt. The empress brutally stabs the ghost eye into his eye, stating that she doesn't know what pain feels like. Our poor boy groans in pain as the ghost eye settles in. It is then that the memories start pouring in, the memories of the pseudo-dungeon. There is a glitch in his memories, and he can see them only in fragments. Shortly, the ghost eye becomes ineffective, and the empress regrets to inform him that the seal on Yu's memories is stronger than anticipated. She explains that a single ghost eye is not enough. However, she assures our boy that there is more than one ghost eye. The empress also tells Chow that he has gained something from this misfortune. His eyesight is greatly enhanced, and the ghost mist has little effect on him. Shortly after that, the ghost space shatters. Chow comes out and Xiaozun asks him to hand over the ghost eye, not knowing it has already been used. Xiaozun desperately asks for the ghost eye. As strange as it sounds, Xiao reveals that his family disciples who came all died in the ghost eye space. He looks insane and asks Chow to hand over the eye, promising that he'll get his reward once they are out of here. Our boy acts naive, pretending not to understand what Xiao is saying. Meanwhile, Xiaozun warns him not to force him to resort to drastic measures. He tells Chow to stop pretending and believes the ghost eye is in his hands. Xiao commands his Wolf King to attack and bite Chow to death. But with a single spear slash, the Wolf King is annihilated, leaving Chow wide-eyed. Our fella gains deathly key value by killing the ferocious wolf while Xiaozun mourns his wolf's death. Now that the Xiao family is no longer a threat, Chow leaves quickly and wonders where the Tang family members went. On the contrary, Xiao Tianzi simmers with anger and calls out that old bastard Wumu for harming his family like that. He intends to fight the old man to the death. Yang Wumu simply justifies that once the dispatched individuals enter Ghost Mountain, their fate is in the hands of destiny. He wonders if Xiao is trying to be the first to break the rules established by the four great families, Xiao, Tang, Qin, and Ji. It sounds more like a threat, but the head of the Zhao family gulps his anger to avoid the consequences. Deep down, Tang Wumu presumes what Qiao Yu is planning and feels like the boy is slipping out of his control during this trip to Ghost Mountain. Inside the mountain, Qiao scampers to find the others and calls out Taoist Zhang and Tang Aotian. At that moment, our boy hears a strangled voice and assumes that it is Tang Long. He follows the voice and finds Long brutally killed. Xiao agrees this woman was opportunistic, but she still didn't deserve to die. He didn't expect that her end would be so painful. Our hero plans to eliminate the monsters in the mist when he abruptly witnesses an energy outbreak, identifying that it is Taoist Zhang. When he follows the energy burst, Qiao finds Zhang and Tang Aotian. Our boy asks where Tang Long is, when suddenly Aotian starts to sweat profusely and suffers from an emotional breakdown. Aotian confesses that it is his fault, revealing that they were walking through the thick fog and Long was behind him. But she suddenly cried out and then disappeared. The fog was too thick for him to dare to venture in rashly. Tang blames himself for letting her down, but Zhang affirms that it wasn't his fault. He believes the one who killed Miss Long must be a painted skin ghost in the mist. The guy elaborates that the painted skin ghost is one of the most terrifying types of vengeful spirits. They are ugly, so they especially like to lure those who are good-looking. The bone-chilling fact is that when humans lower their guard, the ghosts peel off their skin. The painted skin ghosts desire to wear the human skin, but in the end, they are just ghosts. Moreover, since the humans' yang energy is too strong, the ghosts suffer terribly when wearing the skin, so they turn the humans into lanterns so they can permanently keep the beauty that doesn't belong to them. Upon hearing this, the guy appears terrified and assumes that Tanglong's skin might already be scratched by the ghost. To which Taoist Zhang sadly explains that Long has already been killed, given that she was separated from the group and alone. Suddenly, lanterns begin to materialize and the guy warns Qiao Yu to look behind. Numerous lanterns float in midair, while Zhang immediately casts spells to destroy them. As Zhang gets all the deathly key value from damaging the lanterns, our guy asks him to leave some for him. Qiao Yu jumps in to take the rest of the chi value, and the Taoist warns him to be careful since these human skin lanterns are just a minor trick. The truly terrifying thing is the painted skin ghost hiding behind the scenes. Well, to everyone's surprise, the horrifying creature ends up lurking behind Qiao Yu, who senses a deadly intent. That is when a giant arm ambushes him. Our guy is terrified by that sneaky bastard, the painted skin ghost. Shortly, an ugly-looking creature with a human body emerges and wants Qiao's skin. Since our boy stays silent, the painted skin ghost takes that as a yes and proceeds to take his skin. Enraged, our fella tells him to get lost and strikes with his spear, cutting through the lantern-shaped face. An even more hideous form of the ghost comes out. The ghost goes on a rampage and curses the humans. It complains that it kindly asked for Qiao's skin, and he was not only ungrateful, but even damaged the human skin lanterns it painstakingly made. That freaking monster desires to eat our guy's flesh and aggressively rushes toward him. Qiao fights back with the staff and discovers that only Deathly Key is effective against the ghost. But the realization soon hits that he cannot defeat this ghost without entering rampage mode. Just as Qiao Yu is activating his rampage mode, a glacial barrier topples from above, halting the ghost's attack. It turns out that members of the Qin family have come to his help. The little sword god of the Qin family, Qin Hao, also arrives, and our boy is low-key impressed by his high attack power. Qin Hao and the others fight the monster with good coordination, not to mention the timing was perfect too. Qiao Yu wonders if they encountered the ghost before, and speculates that they are here for the ghost eye, because there is no way they would help their competitor. Just then, Taoist Zhang mentions that brother Aotian has gone missing and suggests to our boy that they should leave first. But Qiao tells Zhang to leave first, affirming that he'll catch up later. He then witnesses the team fighting, admitting that they are indeed strong. No wonder the painted skin ghost tried to escape from them. Qin Hao, the swordmaster, spectacularly slashes the painted skin ghost and commands the other members to attack together and not let it open the ghost eye space again. With that, all the members strike together and successfully kill the ghost. As one of the members obtains the ghost eye, in that split second, it vanishes. Well, it turns out to be our cunning fella who runs after stealing the ghost eye while the others chase him. Our boy successfully acquires the second ghost eye and believes that the Ghost Mountain instance is inherently a competition. Also, they plotted against him first. Qin Hao tosses his sword toward his teammate, and that sword helps him catch up to Qiao Yu in no time. Our guy freaks out when he witnesses that the sword can even do that and stops running. The Qin member warns our dude not to escape and plans to hold him back until brother Qin Hao arrives. Right at that moment, we see two masked figures standing at a distance with their weapons. The anonymous group surrounds Qin Hao and his members. Qin questions the masked assassins, asking who they are and calling them out for breaking the rules of the Ghost Mountain instance. Deep down, Qin Hao observes that all these people are mid-stage, and if they attack together, his team is dead for sure. Tang Wumu and the others notice the masked group lying in wait in the mountain to ambush their juniors. It is clear that their behavior is no different from provoking all the families in the capital. On the contrary, Qin Hao asks the masked assassins what they want, to which they reply that they wish to spar with the Qin family's little sword god. Qin, assuming it is a one-on-one spar, challenges that guy to fight him. On the other side, Qiao Yu and the other Qin members are also ambushed by two assassins. The guy reminds them that he is from the Qin family and warns them of the wrath of his family if they dare to attack him. The assassin bluntly claims that they are here to kill them. The Qin guy has had enough and scampers to throw a punch at them. He activates the Qin King's tyrannical fist and relentlessly throws punches at the assassin, who keeps dodging effortlessly. After a few punches, that assassin calls the Qin dude trash and counterattacks with a painful smash, banging him into the ground. That is when Qiao Yu, witnessing the fight, notices that these assassins are not humans, given that their hands are covered in strange patterns. This feels somewhat familiar to him, and after those assassins beat the crap out of the Qin dude, the fellow assassin reminds his partner of their main objective. They ask Qiao Yu if he wishes to surrender peacefully, or if they should beat him half to death and then drag him away. In the next moment, things take a surprising turn when the assassin stabs his hand through his fellow teammate, killing him on the spot. The guy utters the name Lin Lang, who apologizes for his inexplicable actions. Lin Lang turns out to be one of the assassins, and while Qiao Yu tries to question him, Lin recalls that they were once classmates, hence he will not make things difficult for him. Lin warns our fellow that a group of black-robed people in the Ghost Mountain are all after him. He then signs off, saying the next time they meet, they will be enemies. While our boy processes all this, Qin Hao and his family members arrive at the spot only to find their teammate beaten to death. Well, poor Qiao Yu is now in a tough spot since he cannot clear his name no matter what. Outside the mountain, the rumor spreads, and the Qin family patriarch, Qin Changtian, calls out Tang Wumu and divulges that his son-in-law has killed his family's junior. He demands that Qiao Yu be handed over to the Qin family. Meanwhile, Qin Qianshu is left in disbelief, wondering how he could do such a thing. The scene takes us back to the Ghost Mountain, where Qiao tries to make them believe that he didn't kill their Qin member. But they don't seem to believe a word he says, and that forces our fella to activate the corpse ancestor's ring. Qiao thinks it is best to run away, and he escapes. Qinhao follows him with his sword, drawing energy, and asks our boy to stop if he hasn't killed their teammate. Our hero keeps scampering and manages to hide in a tree as the Qin group loses track of him. Hiding, Qiao Yu blames Lin Lang for putting him in such a mess, and he manifests that when he leaves the mountain, there will be an uproar. He is reminded that Zhang is still waiting for him, and decides to get the ghost eye first to restore his memories. The scene then takes us to Taoist Zhang, who reaches the temple to find his sect's lost Dharma artifact. He decides to go on this journey alone since it is too dangerous, and apologizes to Qiao for leaving without saying goodbye. Nonetheless, Zhang enters the temple and witnesses a giant Buddha statue holding the lost artifact of his sect. He easily finds the Taoist sect's artifact, and the moment he touches it, a dark, ominous aura emits from the statue. To make things even more terrifying, that statue starts to speak, and wonders how many years it has been since a Taoist was able to reach this place. Meanwhile, Zhang is rendered speechless by the strange occurrence.